Welcome along this Saturday's Racing Post Live, perhaps the most anticipated Racing Post Live of the current year, 2021. It's back, the Grand National. That'll be the final race that we provide for you at 5:15 this afternoon. Whether you're flat or jumps, or whether dog racing or harness, let's face it, this is still the greatest day that horse racing can provide anywhere on the globe. We'll be being watched all over the place, and what a place it is to watch the action this afternoon. Myself, Dave Orton, delighted to be in the studio giving you all the action. Real-time analysis and reaction. You're going to get all the comments. We've got men on track. We'll be showcasing the Betfair Exchange, of course. They are our sponsors. Delighted to have them along the way. Barry Orr back from Dublin. Let's go straight to Barry, shall we? It's the hat trick for you, Barry. You've joined me all week.
I certainly have, and it's the best wine to last, isn't it? What a fantastic card we have in store, and the Grand National itself, full complement of 40. Facing the starter of 5:15, and you know, plenty of betting opportunities in there, and plenty of opportunities today to showcase the functionality of the Betfair Exchange, and hopefully try to win a few quid for charity. That's what we're all about, and fingers crossed we can manage to do that.
It's Greatwood this month, isn't it, Barry? Of course, for the retired and the retraining of these great horses. Many national winners and horses have gone down to prosper from that. If you're having a good time this week, if you're a few quid up, show them a little bit of love. It's been a great start to the month again. In fact, 2021 for the charities, it couldn't have gone much better, mainly thanks to Barry Orr and his trade. So that's the protocol before every race. We'll get the market up on the screen. We'll go to Barry. He'll do his trade if you're new to the show. If you want to play, get along. Have some fun this afternoon. If you just want the fun, safe gambling, that's what it's all about. You don't have to play in every race. Aintree is one of those meetings, really, isn't it? A little bit. Horses over the top, fresh. You know, we all think about Cheltenham, don't we? We don't have to go all the way. But we'll be giving our selections if you want to go that way throughout the afternoon. Great to have Barry Orr back 3 days in a row. Ross Brierley, talking to people that are coming back on the panel. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. It's nice to see you. I've moved seats as well. I've requested specifically to be closer to you, Dave. So
you're caught in controversy as well, aren't you? Because you've got the Balco de Flow.
I was going to say,
and Potter's Corner colours on.
Big announcement. You two can own 0.05% of me and my performance in the Grand National today.
0.05 sounds pretty steep
pretty
to
good,
me,
actually,
to be honest.
You get a toenail for 75 quid.
I've got the Paris Pike colours on. What about Keith Melrose, betting editor of Racing Post, that comes back almost Ballydoyle-like over there, aren't you?
Magna, isn't it?
Magna, oh, well, I suppose so. Yeah, Sue in the corner over there. Happy days.
Or string as well, you'll notice.
Well, of course, quite right. Yeah, as for the cap, well, April the 12th, come quick enough, dear boy.
Cannot know.
So great, listen, this is our panel this afternoon. We've got the Lee brothers in the studio in the gallery. Millwall were 1-0 down, so if it goes astray and silent for a little while, it might be because they've scored. I'm hoping they do. Wow, Watford last night, my team, 2-0 against Reading. That means I've got 1 foot back in the Premiership. Oh, my goodness gracious me. I'm buzzing for today, basically.
Dave Orton 2, Tom Siegel 0, wasn't it?
Yes.
Of course, if there's a Racing Post...
Quite a few people at the Post support Reading, actually. Anyway, so look, we've got the Masters this weekend as well.
I'm very jealous.
This is actually a great sporting day, though, isn't it? It used to be, you know, the grandstand was the thing, wasn't it? That was the show over here, wasn't it? And all the different sports that were on during this day. You know, there's good football on, there's golf.
It could be Masters weekend, FA Cup and Scottish Cup semi-final weekend.
Used to be the boat race.
It used to be, I think. Another one that used to be on
the boat race as well, wouldn't they? In fact, they moved the boat race because they weren't getting the limelight they wanted.
It's the springtime Boxing Day, isn't it? Essentially, in terms of your, you've got everything for.
Good to have you back along, Ross. We wouldn't have looked at it like that. Absolutely not.
I've got me stuffing sandwiches outside.
Yeah. Well, we've had one race already, haven't we?
We have, yeah, we have. We had one race already, and Stuart Edmonds, I mean, has landed 2 touches in 2 handicap hurdles in 2 days at one of the toughest meetings of the entire year. Hometown boy, we were talking about the race beforehand. He'd won at Kempton before the race, hadn't necessarily worked out, but he did what a lot of people have done today over the past few days and went out, made it a test, and the horses aren't coming from behind, and despite ploughing through the last, Hometown Boy was a fairly comfortable winner. Yeah,
you've been down in the Racing Post offices all week, haven't you? You've been sitting out there with Keeley in the office basically during the afternoons watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been live, isn't it? But we do notice trends at Aintree, don't we? And certain like fresh horses it was on the first day, horses that swerved Cheltenham pretty much. That was how we got it. And the track tends to play a certain way. The first race time on the hurdles course for you, we'll be going back in the 220 over hurdles as well, the grade 1 there. It was around about what it was on the first 2 days. So the course officials have got it right, around about 17 secs above standard. So, look, some juice in the ground, basically, for you. But, Keith, it looks like a carpet as ever, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's tremendous ground out there. I would say, you're looking just at pretty good ground, maybe just on the easy side. 17 seconds over 3 miles, is still a decent time. So I don't think you would say it's slow ground in any description, but, just the easy side of good, possibly.
Can we get, we're going to tease some viewer interaction. You make the show out there, get your social interaction.
We want to hear it. It's Grand National Day because there's going to be, everybody's got a different view in the National. There's 40 runners and they're all 140 plus horses. We want to hear those.
Tricasts. We want tricasts.
We do want tricasts. Yeah, I might put one on.
We want all sorts of exotics, absolutely. So get your national selections in, basically, in between the 4:15, the race leading up to national. We've got an hour to build up to the race, but that's when we're going to give you many, many shout-outs out there. So get them in. If you don't get a shout-out, it's because time's not quite allowing, but however, don't worry, we're saving you up out there. What wins the national? What does win the national, chaps? So Ross Brierley, let's get that out there. Number 1 headline.
Number 1 in the national will be Any Second Now for me. Absolutely love his combination of stamina and speed, right connections. Just everything looks bang in place. And I mean, how he can beat a really classy horse like Castle Grace Paddy by 10 lengths and also win a Kim Muir, yeah, I think that's very impressive.
He's not far away for us, is he?
Well, he's top of my list, frankly.
He is?
Yeah, he absolutely is my number 1 selection in the race. I watched the race over 2 mile and you're thinking, this is what Ted Walsh does with his national horses. That form looked muck to me. But Castle Grace Paddy has come out since at Fairyhouse and run very, very well. And he just completely mugged him off when he beat him. It was
and it's Ted Walsh, Papillon, of course, who did it all.
I'm going to say 2000.
2000 was it? Oh, it was the turn of the Millennium Horse, was it? God, that long ago.
And he did it with Seabass, basically the same thing. And Seabass finished 3rd in a national, went off favourite twice, I think, as well. So it's just the route he takes. But this horse is, that was a 160 performance in RPRs, and given the horses behind, you would say that is absolutely legitimate. And he comes in here off a completely fair mark, just got so much going for him.
There's a lot of agreement going on. You'll all be thinking, I have to have a second look at Any Second Now. But yeah, I'm agreeing. He would be next best for me, actually. I'll get to mine in a minute. But Barry Orr in the famous J.P. McManus colours, the green and yellow silks. You also like one.
I do, yeah. I like Annabay Fly, horse that has ran well in it previously, was second in a Gold Cup, and he's campaigned differently this time round. He's an older horse now, but I think he'll go very, very well in it indeed. It's interesting. JP McManus, he's 9-4 to have the winner of the race. He's got some amount of bullets to fire at it as well, and some proper ammunition. So that could be a bit of a side bet, a bit of a side angle on the Betfair Sportsbook.
I want to stick with you, Barry, because what price is Cloth Cat? Now, I've got quite a nice docket about this chap. I think we were saying on the show, probably when we won the Ladbrokes Trophy meeting that we covered, this is the most likely national winner. It's not like me these days to have any long-range anti-posts, I've got to say. Occasionally I will do it. This is one that I've got. I was getting rather smug when I thought you might go off around about 7-2 and just absolutely hose up. There's only one way he's going on the exchange at the moment, Barry, right?
Yeah, he's 6-1 on the Betfair Sportsbook. Now, that's an each-way market where they're paying 6 places to each-way punters. On the exchange, he's 7.2, so he's only a little bit above that. So obviously the Sportsbook keen to get him because punters have been shying away from backing such a short price favourite in a race like the Grand National. Once a year, punters look at this. They see there's 40 runners and they think to themselves, they want to be rewarded for, they want something at 12, 14, 20, even bigger, because they feel that obviously, to their eye, it's such a competitive race now. It's not as competitive as it used to be, and that's reflected in the price, especially this time round with the horse being so well in. But like I say, 6-1 on the Sportsbook to 6 places for each way punter, 7.2 on the exchange. I'm very strong at that. There's absolute bundles up the back of at 7.4, 7.6 and 7.8. There's about 25 or 26 grand there looking to back them at those prices. So can't see him getting much bigger than 13-2 on either exchange or sportsbook at this stage.
Interesting. I wonder if people who thought, he's too short all week, in fact, for the last couple of weeks, guys, let's face it, maybe even pre-Cheltenham, people were like, I just can't back a 4-1 shot in the National. But now, what price does he get where everyone's like, this is silly price,
I mean, if you start to get sort of 8, 9, 10-1, he's an incredibly competent jumper. He's got the right kind of run style. He's well in. He comes, jockey, owner, trainer. Everything is in the right kind of age group. Everything ticks the boxes. But obviously, I was saying last night that there are essentially for a race like this, sort of about 5 or 6 markets. You've got your sort of month before, you've got your week before, you've got your 2 days before when the field's decided, your night before, your morning before. So you could back this horse at 5 different prices really over the course of a week. So the fact that he was so short yesterday, he's been the talking horse. Obviously, coming up to this, he's the one everyone's focused on. So the focus is going to shift to other horses as you get closer to the race. So he might go out, to an 8-9 to 1 shot, and then you've got to look at him for 6 places, haven't you?
Well, I'd be very surprised personally, barring accidents, if he's out the top 6. Absolutely. Keith, this is, if you follow 10-year trends, historical trends, 100-year trends, whatever you follow, certain ticks that previous horses have had when they win a race. Kevin Morley in your paper, in your members section, he's our doyen of the trends. We always give reference to Kev's excellent column. This is, I would suggest, the biblical trend follower race, isn't it?
It is. I remember when I was a younger man, definitely over 18 though, betting in the Grand National, the trends were the thing I used to follow in the race. And
you can come back, Keith. You can come back.
And but yeah, I would suggest that now it's maybe not so much anymore, because as I wrote in the paper today, in 2013 I think was the first year of it, they changed the fences, and it's still jumping, stamina and being ahead of the handicapper that you need. But I think the order's definitely changed in terms of importance in the last 10 years. The jumping isn't the emphasis it used to be. I don't think Tiger Roll would have won an old school Grand National myself. I think he'd have come a cropper with his low jumping style. It is definitely a race that has changed, but those are the 3 ingredients you still need, and Cloth Cap clearly has them all.
He absolutely does. And if you'd have said at the start of the season what would be the perfect recipe for Cloth Cap going into the Grand National, what he's done this season is it, basically.
I would say there's 2 concerns for me for him. One is that it's been genuinely very good ground that he has been bouncing off. And it is the soft side of good. It's certainly, in terms of going allowances, it's certainly softer than what he's experienced so far. And the other thing for me would be, he's proven himself to be a listed Grade 3 horse, and obviously he's very well in. But they've got some genuine. I think this is a really good race for horses with genuine Grade 1 and Grade 2 form. And I think the thing we were talking about trends. The trend that I look at the most now is that classy horses win it. I mean, Tiger Roll was a Grade 1 Triumph winner.
Well, the last 3 horses that have won have had a 1 next to their name. 1 for Arthur, 2017. Obviously, Tiger arrived on the back of 2 victories.
That's going to happen now because the floor's so high. You need to be 140 odd to get into it. I made the point that neither Cloudy Lane nor Comply or Die, who were massively well in 13 years ago, they wouldn't have got in any of the last 5 or 6 Grand Nationals. It's ridiculous. It's just how much harder it is to get in the race now. It's a race for good horses. And we're basing Cloth Cap's a stone well in, but at the start of the season, Cloth Cap was a mid-130s horse who was starting to look like he'd had his chance a little bit.
Well, they transformed him though, Keith, didn't they?
He's 24 pounds transformed on the basis of, the Hennessy was obviously the Ladbrokes Trophy very impressive, but the Kelso race, I mean, if you wanted to pick holes in that form, you definitely could.
Because we're talking about a horse who's now, a couple of days ago, he was 130 for Kelso. He wasn't far off the same price for the Grand National. Do you know what I mean? So at Kelso, nobody really fancied him. I mean, Tom Scudamore's got to play a big part in that. He has transformed him into a different type of horse, because they used to kind of hold him up and switch him off, and he's not doing that now.
To be fair, the Tom Scudamore 10 years ago might have got a bit excited in this position. Tom Scudamore was a much more mature. He used to be a bit like
Sky Pirate. I'm just going to say 2 words: Sky and Pirate. Talking of words, if you want a word on your national horse in between the 4:15 and the Great Big Race itself, we are going to do a pin stickers guide for you, as we teased briefly yesterday on the show. 1 word on every horse from each of the panellists. We will be going round. As you can imagine, it's caused quite a bit of mischief pre-show when we were warming up. We're all looking forward to whatever the words are. Whew. So that will be great fun. And keep your viewer interaction coming in. You'll be getting shout-outs as we go. But we must carry on with the show, because we've got another Grade 1, a novice hurdle coming up at 2:25. There's the market you can see for the Mersey, over 2.5 miles. Warm race, we've been thinking all the way this week, Barry. However, there is one punter that stands to win a lot of money on My Drogo. I've heard about this. It's all running up on him, basically. And also, the rest of the public seem to have just backed one horse.
Yeah, he was very obviously put away after he won the Novice Hurl in Ascot. The temptation to go to Cheltenham never really entered the Skeleton's mind. He went and won last time out in Kelso very impressively, and he's been smashed up. He was 9-4, Dave. He's into 258, so he's 6-4 now on the exchange. Was matched at 3.2. Ballyadam 4. The Real Deal 7.8. 16 Manila Drama 25 Bar Dem. A couple of horses I like in here. Ballyadam, I'm a big fan of the horses now. I backed him in the Supreme. I back him every time he's round bar his first 2 wins this year because he was too short. But he's bumped into appreciated a couple of times now. He was still travelling well in Cheltenham. He wouldn't have beaten Ballyadam, or he wouldn't have beaten appreciated regardless. But he did make a very bad mistake. He would have been a lot closer to him. He did get within 3 1/4 lengths of him in Leopardstown that day. I think the step up in 2.5 miles and the better ground is really, really going to suit him. I like Guard Your Dreams in it as well. He's an old horse of mine. I thought he was going to go for the County Hurl. He went for the Coral Cup instead. And it's interesting to see they're keeping him at this trip. He's rated 135, so he's got it defined on ratings. But I think he'll be thereabouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back Ballyadam. I think the favourite's just way too short for me now. Potentially I could have laid the favourite, but I like the Ballyadam angle. I like that he's stepping up in trip. I think it'll help him jump a little bit better because his jumping has been very novice-y at times. So we're just going to kick off with a very simple win bet on Ballyadam. Happy to be a price taker, 4.0, which is 3-1, and we'll have 50 quid on him to win the opening Grade 1 Novice Hurl over 2.5 miles.
Love it. Thank you very much, Barry. Or first trade of the day goes in then. Ballyadam. He's basically always second favourite, this horse, isn't he? You know, it's sort of what he does. But, you know, Royal Bond winner, you know, he's got a Grade 1 in the bag. And the step up and trip on decent ground, it's just, you know, he was a little bit flattered by that second place of, well, I think we should say flattered, actually, shouldn't we?
Yeah, he should be third, shouldn't he?
He should have been third in the Supreme Novice, the opening race of the Cheltenham Festival, but the horse in front of him fell. The horse that finished right in front of him was already past the line at that point. However, I mean, he's very hard to keep out the frame, Ross, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit Henry de Bromhead-esque in the sense that Henry often takes his time to step horses up in trip, but actually they've gone, you know, up to 2.5 here quite quickly.
I like that angle, though. I mean, let's not mess about. You know, he's probably vulnerable to a very good sort of 2-miler, as we know, don't we? Now's the time, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just unlike the. I mean, we were saying about Notebook yesterday. Sort of, he'd been running over 2 miles for 2 years, and they thought, let's go up to 2.5. And I think he's got to have a leading chance. Obviously, Ballyadam. He's going to be Ballyadam, the bridesmaid. I think again, personally, as I do think the favourite is a bit of a monster. Obviously, you've got the Irish angle in the sense that they have, you know, dominated these races. So My Drogo has to be by far the best British novice hurdler to win this. But he clearly is. His form's rock solid. His speed figures are very good. The track should suit. The ground should suit. The yard is still in pretty good nick as well. Slight concern that Harry Skelton took a bit of a pearler yesterday, and he's going to, was it yesterday or the day before? He's going to be...
Remind me.
Midnight River.
Oh, yes, of course, yes, in the novice hurdle yesterday. He has finished fourth on Ashdown Lad, hasn't he, in the first?
Yes.
My Drogo got a big boost, Keith, didn't it, yesterday, when Do Your Job finished second in the top novice hurdle, so it's all there, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely is, and I think that's the Irish have dominated among the novice hurdlers this year, but the British have been basically keeping their best back, I think, certainly when it comes to the speed horses. And Ballyadam got his Royal Bond. He was sort of out of the traps and running to mid-140s levels at a very early stage of the season. That's good enough to win you a Royal Bond. But then when the big boys come out, that's not good enough these days in novice hurdle divisions. So once those horses came out, he started being a bridesmaid. And I'm with Ross. I've put up My Drogo here. He is another horse that's clearly better than mid-140s. I think he's going to put up a big performance here.
He looks gorgeous as well. We can see him going out onto the track.
Isn't he?
He's a gorgeous looker. He's Kelvin Hughes, isn't he? And they only have very good horses. I'm just going to. I don't want to bore you with pedigrees, but remember My Petra, his mare. Yeah, she was a real sort. She was for Nicky Henderson.
Not an out-and-out stayer, to be fair. So next year when he goes over fences, maybe just keep it on.
She's by Midnight Legend, so any drying of the ground I think will suit this chap as well. Look, he's going to be very hard to beat. However. Ronan McNally has a Dreal Deal in here. I always want to call him Dreal Deal, but it is Dreal Deal. And he has been nothing short of an absolute revelation this season. And they hoped to get him into the Supreme. He would have been fancied by some shrewdies there, I think, but he had a bit of a hold-up. On figures, he ought to be... I just think he's the each-way bet of the race. And... I might even see him really putting it up to My Drogo. So, having thought that My Drogo was going to win this all week, I'm price sensitive, as you well know out there, and 5-1 looks fair enough to me.
My only slight concern with Real Deal was what has he beat? Because a lot of these horses, front two in particular, all their forms worked out.
It hasn't worked out great, but Ross, this is a horse that has just absolutely turned himself inside out. Let's get some social interaction on the screen. Opening the show, Chris Timms, good to have you back, Chris. My Drogo's look very good so far. I think he'll take some beating. CT then going all in for the fav here. OK, fair play to you, Chris. And Michael Walker comes out and says, "Manana drama in the next each way." Keith, I'll back this over to you. Consistent animal.
Certainly, as he's been running at that sort of high 130s level all the way through, it can be difficult. He's obviously been running mostly in the north, and it can be difficult for northern horses to really stamp themselves as really good. This is a sort of race Donald McCain runs his best novice hurdler in, but what level is Donald McCain's best novice hurdler these days? Might he be, reaching a ceiling in the mid 140s? And if that's the case, a place is on, but I don't think he's going to be winning. You've got to really up your game against these horses to go above that level.
If we're mentioning another drama, I do think My Drogo will win, but the horse I've backed at a big price is Llandenarbo Lad, who has form tied in with. Did you like the pronunciation?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
He's got form tied in with My Drogo, and he's also got form tied in with Manila Drama. And he's got My Drogo's got the two best speed figures on my figures, and he's got the next two, and he's 25-1.
Right.
I think you can put a line through his disappointments, in particular at Haydock when Manila Drama got beat by Favois. There was a real scrimmage on that bend, and he almost came down, and he lost his position, and the front two had kicked by then. And he did a hell of a lot of running and Ascot when he split Soaring Glory and My Drogo, and he went way too soon. Richard Johnson burst him, I think, coming into the home straight. But if he's ridden like that here today on better ground, I don't think he's a 25-1 shot at all. And we've seen a lot of horses
first two on the market
kick on. Yeah. What is he? 4 places, Barry?
Sorry, what was that?
Llandenarbo Lad. What price in the 4-place market?
Lad, 4 places is currently 3.9, so just a little under, or just nearly 3-1. In the win market, though, they're smashing up My Drogo 244 and money for Ballyadam. He was into 375, which is 11-4. The Real Deal, an interesting one, like you say. He traded at 220 last day, 220 in running before getting up to beat Ganapati in the Moscow Flyer. He's a very, very intriguing horse in this, but according to the market, it's all about My Drogo into 240 now.
You can see, obviously, in the bottom, what is that, left-hand corner? Is it a right-hand corner for you as you're looking at it? I should say. There's a spotlight verdict. Steve Boo has done them today. Ballyadam is a spotlight verdict there. We're giving you all this free content, aren't we? All you members sections that already have it. But that's the great thing about this show. It's free Racing Post premium content pretty much coming your way. Live all afternoon, then 5 beauty races coming your way. It's Grand National Day, everyone. Let us know what you're doing out there. Any garden parties going on? Any screens out there? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. But good luck wherever you're playing in this opener. I'll tell you what, talking of spotlight verdicts, taking risks, the spotlight nap, Keith, of the day, he's been absolutely whacked.
Yeah, I read on the train I was on the way down yesterday, and Richard Austin put up taking risks. He's massively overpriced at 40s, and I thought, they never back that horse. I'll get 40s when I get the chance. And he's now 14, 16
He's
to 1.
shorter than when he won the Scottish National and the Great Yorkshire, all that sort of thing. So.
And the rehearsal and the Sky Bet.
Yeah, the power of the spotlight nap. And there you are. You can see them then basically down in the social corner whenever you don't come up on screen. And away we go then for the opener. 2 mile 4. It is the Mersey. Over to Ross Brierley for the call.
Oh, there we go. I wasn't expecting that to come through for the first race. But they're off racing at Aintree, and Llandenarbo Lad is keen to get on with things, but quite a few of them are. The only one who isn't, really, is Real Deal, who is held up out the back. But Llandenarbo Lad goes on from Pipe Smoker, and then on the inside we've got Adramel as well, who didn't get home in the Albert Bartlett, but is back down in Trip here today. On the outside of those, we've got Manila Drama going very wide indeed. And they don't seem to be going a mad gallop here, which I'm more than happy about, as mine is in front here. My Drogo, bit keen out the back, and he's got a lot of running to do from there with Guard Your Dreams. On the inside, we've got Straw Fan Jack being tracked by JBY. Other horses we haven't mentioned. Ballyadam is in a lovely sit right in the van between Adramel and one of the outsiders striking a pose.
I would say Ballyadam's a little bit keen here. Obviously, a horse going up in Trip, you're looking for that, and he is still just throwing his head a little. He's
getting a typical Rachel Blackmore ride, though, isn't it? Just stalk the leaders basically, and then pounce The real deal doing what he does under Dennis O'Regan on Annabelle Fly in the National is Dennis right out the back. The faster they go, the better it will be for him. I've got a friend who always says to me, you always talk about how fast they're going, and then I look at the TV and it always says 32 miles per hour. Well, no matter what they're doing. So we just say they're going 32 miles per hour, but actually they've just dipped under that, Ross Brierley.
Well, that's hopefully that's good, because it means they've slowed it down in front, and that's exactly where, like I said, Flandern Honourable Lad is. And we were saying he was 25-1 as they jumped off. He's shortened in now. Adramel's on the inside. He's not taking him on, which he definitely he paid for taking on Vanillier at Cheltenham, and it didn't do him any good. So
what's Drogo doing here, guys? Because he had a bit of the action at the top. Do you think he was a little bit keen and Harry's pulled him back a bit?
Yeah, he's just running up the back of horses, really, trying not to.
I think he's trying to get him covered.
Yeah, he's just trying to cover him up. That's what really used to be happening. Ballyadam's not got any cover now, and he's going up. He sits in second now. So we've got, I think that is evidence further that you've got a field that's a pace that's not very strong, and that we're going to have to see some moves down the back, I suspect.
It's an overcast day there. We were expecting some sunshine to come out, weren't we, at Aintree? Maybe it will still do that for the National, of course, but it's great to see these horses running up there. Someone said to me this week, it's like the glorious Goodwood of the jumps season. This, it's just slightly after Royal Ascot for Cheltenham, all that sort of stuff. Massively enjoyable, all action, but slightly refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a bit of a different feel, isn't it? It is a bit of a different feel. But Llandon Honourable Lad still in front then. Ballyadam is moving up now to challenge. My Drogo is coming very wide here and still has a bit of running to do, but they are bunching up and there's not much between the lot of them. The Real Deal is held up dead last at the moment, though. Llandon Honourable Lad, Ballyadam, Lucky One. So again, on the paper, there were a lot of front runners in here, and a few of them are starting to come through. My Drogo's making a move now as the speed
few moves being
up.
made, isn't there?
Looking for Dennis O'Regan on the back on The Real Deal.
He's the latest to just make a little creep up, isn't he?
He's remarkable. He's like a Sir Mark Prescott horse, isn't he? Just 1-1-1-1-1. Okay, what have we got going on here? Whoa! Okay, but as you can see, a bit of drama there. Horse and rider up. Okay.
Striking a pose who've come down, and I don't think they hampered My Drogo. He managed to skip over.
The Real Deal was like John Travolta there, just all over
he got
that.
lucky. The Real Deal got lucky. He missed the carnage.
Yeah,
There's a lot travelling here. Ballyadam from Strawfan Jack.
Pipe Smoker coming into it. Llandon Arbo backing out of it. Ross Brierley.
Yeah, he's just gone, hasn't he? He got a lovely toe into it. But My Drogo now looks to have been given a nice ride and he's coming into it with every chance. Pipe Smoker, Manila Drama, The Real Deal is in there as well. But still Ballyadam in front from Strawfan Jack.
Sheila Lewis, the hairdresser.
He bolted up here earlier in the season. But the market principles are coming to the fore now. Ballyadam, Strawfan Jack, My Drogo, The Real Deal, JBY, Guard Your Dreams, Manila Drama off the bit, Pipe Smoker off the bit. My Drogo still on the bridle and swinging along. Manila Drama Y, Ballyadam coming off the bit and it's fading as well. My Drogo goes on. Guard Your Dreams, who's been running on in handicap hurdles all season.
He'll have a say, won't he?
Has gone, surely. My Drogo.
Classy, guys.
McCain's is still there. He's not going away.
This is gone. This is gone.
He's going to stay on here. My Drogo. My Drogo is
hello.
clear of Manila Drama.
Hello.
Guard Your Dreams. Strawfan Jack. Ballyadam left for dead. But My Drogo comes up to the...
he's banged it.
That is the final hurdle, isn't it?
Yes.
For a second there, I thought it was the second last, but My Drogo is absolutely powered clear, and a crack of the whip, a rather unnecessary couple of cracks of the whip. He's absolutely 3 cracks of the whip. I don't really think he needs those, as Guard Your Dreams is running on, and Manila Drama is in third, but My Drogo has taken this field to pieces. And the good thing on day 3 is the good thing.
A clap already from Keith Melrose. My Drogo, then the good thing does indeed win the second. That was very, very classy indeed. I mean, some horses maybe didn't turn up. Ballyadam was a bit keen. The Real Deal, that setback before Cheltenham at the break, he flattered to deceive, didn't he? And I think... When you were saying, oh, hello, I thought you were going to break into a sea shanty or something there, Keith.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's a sea shanty.
That was absolutely... But I could see you doing that. But that was very impressive. Let's go to Barry Orr then. The opening race, the 225. What was the story of the market, Barry? You said beforehand he was being whacked up all over the place. Did he go big in running?
Yeah, no, he didn't at all go big at any stage. He's 2.48. The biggest he traded was pre-race at 3.50, which is 5-2 for a score. Like I said, a Betfair SP at 2.48. He's 8 from 16 for the Marsh, and he's 14 from 33 for the Arkle. So which of those do you think he goes for?
Ooh, that's a very, very interesting question. It's a game that we like to play here, me more than most. I like to get the programme book out, as you know, and we say, where does My Drogo go?
I would think almost, given the yard, that the Arkle might well be the angle. And
Ooh, really?
yeah, and also I wonder whether the few cracks on the run-in were because he was worried he was, coming to the end of his tether a bit or losing his interest. And
I thought the horse's head looked up, didn't it? I thought the horse was just maybe wandering a little. I think he's doing it to keep him focused as much as anything.
yeah, maybe you're right. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because he's obviously got stamina, but he travels like a dream, doesn't he? So
He does.
it's a tough one because people used to say you want a 2.5 miler for the Arkle, didn't they?
Well, absolutely, but he's a big beast, isn't he? And I guess if you look at the breeding, my Petra, she wasn't slow at all. So yeah, Arkle, interesting. Barry,
Why do they need to go to Cheltenham? They very successfully ducked Cheltenham this year. Why would they need to do it next year?
yes, and it's a firm that talked about not going to Cheltenham with a few horses, didn't it? It didn't really work out for them that year. I wonder if that puts them off a little bit. They've had success
I think they just thought he was a bit immature, didn't they? They just wanted to give him a bit of time. That's what Dan said after Ascot that day. He very clearly said Cheltenham wasn't undermined. He didn't think mentally the horse was in a good place that they would want to take on the challenge like that at this stage in his career. Just be patient with him. But I'm sure all roads would lead to Cheltenham next year for a novice chase.
I'm with you, Barry. I'm with you all the way. I think also, if you remember, I was chatting to Paul Keeley about this week when we were talking about this chap. He wanted to get the Sydney Banks into him, didn't he? Which would a well-known prep race for a novice hurdle at Cheltenham, and it was called off all over the place. And when they were trying to find races for him, the ground was just against him. Rightly so. Really good training and race planning. I think not running on that horrible January stroke ground, where it's winter ground that's drying up, basically slow. Some horses absolutely spit the dummy out, can't handle it whatsoever. Went to Kelso, came here. I think Cheltenham, it will be very hard to avoid. Personally, I think. Especially if he keeps going on this upward trajectory. That was a wonderful performance, wasn't it? He jumped really well.
He does get hampered there by that follow. And we know it was lucky one, Harry Cobden rode him, and he was walking away gingerly after that. So keep an eye on that, because Harry Cobden is due to ride Give Me a Copper in the big race.
Yes.
He's okay.
Okay.
So just a quick word on the way that
Harry Cobden did take a bab, and I'm just hearing that now. Rob Lee in the studio, in the gallery, is telling me. Both walked into the ambulance. John Joe Jr. looked okay. So again, let's have a word on that. I mean, Tom Scudamore sort of wrapped himself in cotton wool, hasn't he? Pre-cloth cap. He hasn't taken that many rides as usual.
He only had two, I think.
That's it.
Joe and Cateson.
Yeah.
He rode a couple. He rode one at Chepstow the other day. I think it was also. He rode a couple elsewhere to keep him ticking along. But yeah, only two at Aintree, and both, perfectly good rides and perfectly good performances to keep him ticking over. But yeah, it must definitely be in the back of his mind. I was going to say just a quick word on the way. It didn't look like they were going a mad gallop out in front, but My Drogo's come from second last. Guard Your Dreams has come from last. Manila Drama was up there, but rather mid-division throughout. And actually, the horses on the speed. Ballet Adams finished absolutely legless, which isn't the first de Bromhead horse to do that over the past week at Fairy House and at Aintree. Barry, there's been a bit of a hangover from Cheltenham.
Yeah, Keith was saying it yesterday, or we were saying it yesterday on the show, that his horses just don't seem to be firing on all cylinders. I think he's only had 2 winners out of his last 38 or something was the last time I looked. But yeah, it just doesn't seem to be firing on all cylinders off the back of after Cheltenham. But what would you do with Guard Your Dreams there, lads? Does he want to step up and trip, or would you drop him back? I'm not sure he wants that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Bo, because I was going to throw that to you. He's become sort of your horse, and viewers will know. He was the whopping eye catcher in your Betfair hurdle, wasn't he, at Newbury. Couldn't knock the eye out that day, and then we thought that he would repeat the feat maybe in the Coral Cup, but as we know, Tristan Davis at Coral Cup, I don't know. He's one of those, isn't he? He's going to want to be one of those unknowns. I'd say it's a certainty he goes over the bigger obstacles, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, possibly. I think
got to.
The main thing for me was his 2 wins have come in soft at Bangor in November and heavy at Sandown, and I don't know whether maybe they're going a bit too quick.
I bet he ends up in a good handicap chase next year.
Yeah, I just wonder whether they're going a bit too quick for me on this ground, and actually the pace that they go in soft ground enables him to get into a bit more of a rhythm.
He's getting left a reasonable amount to do, isn't he, as well?
Yes.
In races that maybe aren't being quite as well run as you expect big handicaps to be. And this was another example of that, really. He was held up quite in a race where I don't think they did go hard. So, we've got a horse there that might a big field handicap where they go really hard.
He's a 5-year-old as well, though. Again, there's a lot of 6-year-olds here, so he's got time on his side.
Yes, indeed he has, absolutely. And as Keith alluded to, he's been on the go a little while, hasn't he? So listen, Tristan Davis fresh next season. Guard your dreams, Barry, I would say. Let's see what you made of my Drogo out there. Who's coming on? Mally Draycott, good to have you back on, Mally. And that's why the Skeletons are looking after him. He's going to be one hell of a chaser. Yes, he is. I'll tell you what, we could be in for a serious treat next season, guys, couldn't we, over fences again. Of course, we've got the best novice chaser coming up in the next race, but we've got another. Hugh Masson, good to have you back on. You. Marsh, he looks bang on 2.5 miler. It will be one of these raging debates then, guys, I think.
It will, and nowadays with the Cheltenham, there being options at every trip and whatnot at Cheltenham, you can pick and choose sometimes according to the opposition. Just find the easiest race is often the thing to do. The Skeletons had some fighting talk with All Mankind and Shishkin, but it isn't necessarily the most sensible thing to do. It was okay with All Mankind because he's an out-and-out 2-miler, but you've got a horse that you can run over either or trip. You want to just pick and choose.
Well, I wonder whether, I was going to say, that might have a decision. You've got an out-and-out 2-miler in All Mankind who doesn't get up the hill at Cheltenham. You've got a 2.5-miler here who will absolutely devour that hill at Cheltenham. So
yes, he would. He'll probably win the Knoll Novices chase. He'll probably win that at Ascot. His dam's form was all at Ascot, if you remember.
Yeah, quite.
She had loads of form.
And of course, he won the Kennel Gate there, didn't he? So,
and the Yard are a proper Ascot team, aren't they? So
yes, absolutely. Look, so what a pleasure that was. We've seen a worldie that's waiting to go over fences, and in the next race, well, you might be worried about how we're going to play it. There he is on your screens, Shishkin. Before we give a shout out to him and Barry Orr's trade, welcome along if you're joining the party here on Racing Post Live. It is Grand National Day. Great to have you out there. We've seen great viewing numbers this week. Awesome feedback. Wherever you are, let us know. We'll give you a shout out along the way. Don't forget, in between 4:15 and 5:15, everything social coming in. We'll be doing our pin stickers guide, a one word on all the 40 horses in the National. My goodness gracious me, perhaps you'll have a word for all of those characters out there. But that means we will give everything a shout. I think it gets quite annoying, doesn't it, when you just mention my horse, I just want to know about my horse. There's a queue of social comments coming in, so we'll do our best. If you've got any in mind, don't tease it, don't reveal anything, Ross Brierley, but...
yes.
No. Very good. My family are all watching this actually. The in-laws are out. They've got a screen. They've got the drinks out. My son Sebastian, he's mad for it. 5-year-old hasn't.
What's his tip?
Any second now. He's all over it.
Is he?
Absolutely all over it.
Judge, get him on.
Good judge. It's possible. You think I'm loud? Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So look, let us know where you are. It's Grand National Day and. It's a little bit easier to watch now over here, Barry. We're allowed out in gardens and stuff like that. We are sympathetic to our Irish friends. You're going to open up a little bit later, aren't you?
That's the plan, yeah. Fingers crossed. It's a fine day here, though, and there's plenty of people out in back gardens, and everyone watches the Grand National in Ireland. So my phone's been hopping since about 7 o'clock this morning from relatives I thought had passed away from COVID. Thank God they haven't. It was good to hear them, but they're looking for tips for the Grand National. I only hear from them once a year, so glad to see you're all still alive out there, and hopefully we'll put you into a winner.
Not a man for Christmas cards then, Barry.
No. He sends betting slips, apparently.
No, the Grinch that is Barry Orr. Okay, let's stick with you then, Barry, because I'm seeing 1 to 9 out there on the track at the minute. It's there must be a way to play this race, though, right? Away from Shishkin.
Yeah, there is. There's several ways you could do it, but obviously Siskin very, very short, and you just admire him for what he is. He's a fantastic horse, and hopefully he gets a clear round, and we look forward to him next year before he's wrapped up in cotton wool. But he was 1 to 5. He's into 7 to 1 on now, so there has been plenty of money for him. Obviously, but to every layer or to every backer, there's a layer. There's only 270 grand matched in the race at the moment on the Betfair Exchange. I'd be considering more than that over the course of the next 15 or so minutes. But you've each way you could bet here. You've got the place markets then. You've without the favourite, and you've match bets A versus B, and you have forecast as well on the Betfair Exchange. But I'm just going to play in the without market here. I know you think there's going to be a bit of a burn up pace-wise. Funball, Savola and Gumball will go off in front. I'm not so sure that Fanamble Savola has to make all, and he's going to be my play in the race. I don't think he will be able to lead Gumball anyway. He's such a tearaway Gumball. So what I'm going to do in the without market, we're just going to have 50 quid on the Charlie Deutsch runner. He's currently trading at the last time I looked.
We've got 3.3 here.
3.3. Yeah, I'm happy to be a price taker there at 3.25 around that 9 to 4 mark. We're going to have 50 quid on him. I think Gumball will go off in front. I think he'll sit behind. Siskin will do them all, but I think Funball Savola should stay on best of the rest and could finish a clear second. I really liked him that day. He beat Monsieur Lecroc in the 3-runner race in Ascot, although the second horse came down that day, but I just like the way he goes about his business. He's a nice jumper and he's an uncomplicated sort of horse. So, him in the without market for me.
Yes, I'm sighing, Barry, because it's obviously got to be in the without market. Listen, tell us what you think Shishkin will do next year. Will he go on and dominate the 2 mile division? Or is this a horse that they can have a bit of fun with and do maybe what the horse who he's looked so similar to so far in his profile, Altion, could go up in chip? I don't know, we'll see. It's Nicky Henderson. We're expecting him to dominate the 2 mile division, aren't we? And win?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I remember sitting in here I was sitting somewhere, and I said to someone, what was he before the Arc and what is he for next year's Champion Chase? And he was sort of 4 or 5 to 1. And I thought, how much of my savings account should I transfer over to that in terms of a year-long investment? And interesting that you say about up in trip. You look at the Supreme Novices, every horse behind Shishkin has improved for a step up in trip.
He's like a milk jar horse, isn't he? And I call him a milk jar horse because the extremely successful point-to-point trainer, Alan Hill, and some of you out there will know what I'm about to talk about here, and the opening point-to-point meeting of the year, around about, I don't know, just as the point-to-point season was ending, he would give you a horse from Mollington, in the opening maiden, he would tell you the horse, the milk jar horse he used to call it, the jam jar horse, whatever, that you put a £5 in each week and turn up at Mollington and back his horse that will win the first. Shishkin could be like that for a lot of people, couldn't he? Just a little £5 every month, put it in, and then come Cheltenham. Hopefully you'll be able to go and put it on next year.
Yeah, come Cheltenham. You've got to take the milk jar to the bookies, then, haven't you? I guess.
I know, but I genuinely know people that actually still do that.
So go in and go, this lot, please.
Absolutely. Hide the spare change from whoever partner you've got.
Hammer out and just tap away.
Exactly, absolutely. You're walking in like that sort of thing. Oh, those days we miss them, don't you? When you used to walk out with it in your socks and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely great. So, but listen, that's Shishkin.
You can from Monday, can't you? I guess.
So listen, have we tipped Shishkin? Should we just get this bit out of the way?
Yeah.
One word.
One word.
I mean, a couple of angles. Barry's saying there's loads of angles to play it.
There are.
He's 11 to 10 to win by over 12 lengths, I think.
Ooh.
Sprinter Sacra won this.
Yeah, he is 2-1-4.
Yeah, he's 2-1-4. Sprinter Sacra was 1 to 7 in this, won by 13 lengths from a 1-4-3 horse. Duvan was 2 to 13, won by 14 lengths from a 1-5-1 horse. Apart from him, it's a 0 to 150 handicap, isn't it? So I think that's a fairly reasonable. And this track, we've seen Clanders Obo, we've seen Fakir Duderi, we've seen some good horses win by very wide margins.
My Drogo, yeah, absolutely.
Drogo, yeah.
If Bruce Millington was sitting here now, ex-editor of Racing Post, so we know he comes and joins us on this show, plenty. Distances is his thing.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, this will be the one that he would have got out of bed this morning going, I can't wait to find this market.
Yeah, and he's that kind of horse that, like I said, he's going to stay further as well. So he's going to be striding out continuously at the end of his race. And
that's a good shout.
It wasn't. I mean, I didn't even notice the market was there until Barry just said it, because I thought Gumball might be the obvious forecast play, as this is also a race that can go to horses ridden prominently. The all-new made all in 2019, and as we saw the other day, Editor Geet over 2 miles disappeared off the front. So Gumball for the forecast maybe, but I do think that over 12 lengths could be interesting.
I do agree with the Gumball for the forecast part, actually. I think that's the one. And also, I mean, I play the HWPA tipping competition and I'm way behind, so I've had to put up something that's not Shishkin and did Gumball, because really Shishkin not getting round's the only way he loses, and if it does that, Gumball, who's going to get out on the front. He's best formed at Cheltenham, but everything about him says a flat track will be absolutely grand for him and just getting out and pinging those fences.
Are you absolutely sure he's going to get out in front, Gumball? I'm not at all. I think Fernambel Civilo's got one way of running, and that is, or certainly of winning, I should say, and that is from the front, basically. He did bounce off that ground, as Barry alluded to in his last race, beating Monsieur Lecoq at Ascot.
Gumball's going to go a certain pace, isn't he? And it's up to Charlie Deutsch whether he goes faster or slower.
On paper, there's only one horse that you should be looking at here, in my opinion, in the without market, and that is Conor O'Farrell's mount, Elvis Mail.
You think he's going to pick up the pieces?
That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to play pick up the pieces. If only Dennis O'Regan was on. He's going to play pick up the pieces, basically.
Conor O'Farrell's pretty good at that as well.
Oh, he's had a great season, Conor, absolutely. And I think that what will happen is this. I'm telling you what's going to happen in this race.
What happens if it doesn't happen?
Then,
Telling us what happened.
then
We're
I
going to
shall
make you
be...
commentate, Dave. We're going, so you can
warm in the car seats. Yeah, okay, maybe I will commentate this one. But I think what will happen is this. I think that Gamble and Funambule, they've only got one way of going. If anyone, I think that Civallo will win the battle for it. I think he's that quick. He is the epitome of nippy, this chap. And Gamble has to lead to win. I think we can agree. Well, I think pretty certainty that's what has to happen. Funambule has to lead to win.
Do more than lead to win.
Shishkin will come up to them off the home turn, maybe 2 out, he'll wait 2 Niku, and he'll break them, their hearts, that is. And then Elvis Mail will just come along and say, thank you very much. I am, who's the horse that ran second to Shishkin?
Oh, it's
I
Eldorado
always forget
Allen.
his name, Eldorado Allen. If you watch back Shishkin's last race, there was a horse in it for the Coddington's Odd Yard that sat out the back, Harry Cobden. We hope you're all right, Harry, by the way, waiting for news on that after his spill in the previous race on Lucky Story. He's going to come up. So I'm all of a sudden.
You're suggesting the horse is not going to run on its merit stable?
No.
It's going to be ridden for a place.
You've got to be very careful when you say ridden for a place. Let me tell you, I've had leading trainers. I once wrote that in a Group 1 analysis, and David Menusier was not happy. We're mates now. I'm happy to tell you, but I'm not really on Twitter. And the next morning, Thundering Blue, if you remember, behind Roaring Lion in the Judd Monte, was ridden for a place. Was it Fran Berry, I think, at the time, who was still riding? And I said it was a great feat. You know, he's proved himself. I flattered the horse, and connections were livid. I think 2 bottles of champagne in the car on the way home probably helped David in his tweeting. But I woke up that next morning and Graham Dent, who was still pretty much running things here in the analysis departments, etc., went, you might want to check your Twitter.
You might want to delete your Twitter.
Well, and it turned out that there was all sorts, and Racing Twitter got on David said, that's disgraceful. And he basically said, are you suggesting that I wasn't, we were there to win? But come on, David, I was like, look, you're ridden to pick up the pieces, surely. That's kind of what I meant. I did end up amending it slightly because he put a very coherent case to me. But ridden for a place, as Barry's right to pick up on, there are people that aren't happy with that.
Well, it was ridden to achieve the best possible placing is the actual wording of the rule. And
here we are.
Ridden for a place, there is a distinction there if you want to be pedantic about it, which obviously I generally do. And so I can sort of see it, but I think you've been a bit hard done to there. But there is a very slight difference between being ridden for a place and being ridden to achieve the best possible placing.
Often the best way to ride your horse to be out of the places is actually to go too quick in front as well. So coming from last to second is it's the obvious thing for ridden for a place, but
yeah.
And also prize money's gone up for places, so,
Well, it has. Let's not go down that road. OK, let's get a social interaction again coming up on the screen. Who joins the party? Daniel Richardson. Welcome along, my friend. Gamble, place lay. Now, I'm liking this. We'll finish last against Shishkin. Run out of gas will happen again. Yeah, exactly. Listen, I think this is kind of it. Now, we've said this during the week. We've said this during previous shows recently. Jockeys used to read the spotlights in the weighing room. We've had jockeys on, this week, Charlie Post and Matty Batchelor. Like, yeah, we used to sit there going, apparently you're supposed to be leading. We're all going to take each other on. And it doesn't play out what you think will happen. Pace mats, for example, aren't often trustworthy in certain types of races. But these horses, they're exposed enough now that we know pretty much what they need.
Yeah, but I guess the difference is when you come into a race like this a little bit, like you said, the psychology of it comes into it a bit because you're not riding Gumball or Funambule Savola necessarily thinking we need to get out there and we can win this race. So the whole psychology of we need to get out there and should I try and take you on? Because if I do take you on and then go finish third and we know he's going to go past us anyway, and should I maybe switch off a little bit? You wonder whether they start to overthink things a little bit and how many races, particularly on the flat, but also over jumps, do you sit in here and you go, oh, there's a pace burn up in this.
I know.
And it never happens.
No, and it doesn't really happen.
So many of these things are decided in the weighing room, aren't they?
That's what my point is, absolutely. The spotlight riders, the great spotlight riders of old, used to try and influence races thinking, I know the jockeys are reading these.
Yeah.
And then they would think, right, I'll just back the one that's going to sit in last. And
what you would do if you
just come through.
The quotes in the paper today from Philip Hobbs now say we're looking for the place money today. So that is. But at the same time, they're not going to put him...
I've got the wrong Elvis Mail here. I've got Gumball.
What Tom O'Brien should really be doing, not to try and do his job for him, but he shouldn't be really right. If Shishkin goes past him, go, oh well, that figures, and he's riding to beat Funambule Savola. He's riding Gumball to beat Elvis Mail. he's not riding him to beat Shishkin necessarily, because he knows if Shishkin goes past him, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to catch Shishkin, are you? If he goes past you, you're not going to get him.
No, absolutely. Listen, we are looking at the best novice chaser we've seen in many, many years. Some people saying, well, I think actually, should we talk about that a little bit, Keith?
Well, there's that, but I'm going to talk about the distances as well, because I wouldn't have thought this track, because the last relatively close to the line, I wouldn't have thought this jumps course at Aintree was one for massive wide distances, but it must be that big run from 2 out to the last. Yeah. That's where it's about 3 furlongs.
No, I think so.
That's what happened with Landers Oboe, didn't it? The other day, you suddenly went, oh, this is going to be, oh no, he's gone. Yeah, he's absolutely gone.
20 lengths now. And it is, it's between the last 2 that they make the distance horses rather than from the last. And that's why it would be so. But he could, if he does that and he wins this by 20 lengths, he could, what's he rated up to now? 172 we've got him on, 174 we've got him on. That's very, very high. It might be one of the highest novice figures we've seen, possibly. And, if he wins this by 20 lengths again, that is about, I think it's about £1, 1.2 pounds per length. It would probably be an even bigger performance if he wins by 20.
We're hearing that that some unfortunate news for Harry Cobden. He had a terrible Cheltenham Festival. Nothing went right for Harry, did it? And he couldn't have had much of a better week up until the top at the Mersey novice chase, because that horrible fall that he had, was it unlucky story, or he has now been stood down. It looks like Sean Bowen might be your rider if you're on Give Me a Copper in the National. So that's confirmed. Thank you, Rob.
That's
Lee,
confirmed,
in the gallery. Thank you, Barry Orr. So breaking news, you get it here. That's what we do here on Racing Post Live. If it's out there, we will break it. We're hoping to go to Lee Mottershead, our senior writer at Racing Post. He joined us yesterday on the show. That was a lovely segment, and we're hoping that Lee will give us all the quotes and all the breaking news and the vibe before the National at around about 4:30. If you'd like to tune in for that, do so. But how far away are we from Shishkin? The Shishkin fanfare, are we calling it? I mean, what I was going to say.
7 minutes to fill, Dave.
We've got 7 minutes to fill. It's all good. But so now's the time to give you your National 1, 2, 3, 4s. Keep them coming in.
We've run out of it in this. We're going to save ourselves to react to Shishkin, because that's what you do with Shishkin.
Usually you got Matty Batch here. So I would love a story.
Oh,
4 anecdotes. Yeah.
When I was riding at Plumpton,
hanging on for dear life. I'll tell you something funny yesterday. Wasn't it a wonderful sit, by the way, on Master Tommy Tucker's Twiston Davis yesterday? Yeah. Did you see that yesterday in the Melling Chase? That was absolutely lovely, wasn't it, to see? And we were sitting here, weren't we, going, Matty is going to heap praise on him, because it was nimble, it was pirouetting, defying gravity, all that sort of thing. And Matty just goes, it's amazing what fear does to you.
clinging on for dear life.
He had no idea what he was doing. Natural senses just kicked in. You can watch that.
I think what happened with that is there was only one way he could possibly fall that gave him a minute chance of staying on, and it did, and he did remarkably well to actually get back and get his 2 stirrups back within about 20 yards. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. It was a dramatic race, that, of course, wasn't it?
I think Paul Keeley, literally as they approached that fence, he said, I said, he should be well in front. He said, don't worry, he always throws a bad one in, and then bang, straight away. So.
Okay. We've seen. What's the performance of the week so far? There you go. There's another one for you out there. We'd love to give you a shout out. The team of experts here can give you a review on that. Was it my Drogo? My goodness gracious me. I think back to Montmiral for me. Oh my lord. How good is he going to be?
I think this has got to be Clandes Obo, isn't it? In terms of just strict figures.
Ooh, we haven't. That's a game that we like to play pre-show, isn't it? We
got 177 back.
Sad chaps that we are.
We got 177, 178, won't we?
Quizmaster, come on, give us the RPR in your head for Clandes Obo.
I'll go 177, and I'll look it up just now. You give me a guess.
And can you tell me the one for Fakir Dudaries as well? Because we guessed that. You said it would be a career best of 170, didn't you?
I think 173 for him, but I'll have a look.
Wow. And Clandes Obo, we're hoping goes to the Bet365 Gold Cup, by the way. Curtain.
178.
178. Oh, it's disgraceful how he gets these in all the time. Literally, if it was like a crossbar competition, he'd be hitting them from the halfway all the time.
I mean, that's good. It's good to know, though. I'll just go a pound higher than what you say every time. That's fine.
As long as a BHA man does the opposite of that, then
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, of course, you can check out all the RPRs in the members section of the Racing Post. Check out, historically how the race was. That's the best way to generally judge winners against each other. Shishkin, then, what sort of figure are we going to get in here? That's interesting, isn't it? Let's look back at Nicky Henderson. He's 2 from 2 in this race. His 2 most latest winners. Finian's Rainbow. Was it sad to hear of his passing away the other week? And Sprinter Sacra, the greatest 2-mile chaser of all time? I don't know.
Duvan got 176 for winning this, and I should say that Shishkin should be able to match that, I would say.
How did Sprinter Sacre only get 170? We need to revisit that one, man, don't we?
Didn't matter. He'd already won the game spirit and by 10 lengths, hadn't he?
He beat
Tubab.
He beat Tubab.
Well, that's why he got 177.
That's why, because
The three races, 135, 143, and 145 were his rivals, so it was significantly worse than this in terms of this is actually quite good in comparison, the rivals.
I wondered how we were going to fill that 7 minutes, and we've gone down the RPR line. But I'm delighted to say that Shishkin is out on the track. Barry Orr, then what about that without market? Who's hot and who's not in that at the moment?
Yeah, the Fanambo Savola is the one they want in that. It's obviously they're backing it in the win market as well. It's 22 from 26 in the win market, so that's reflected in the without market. He's 288 now. Gumball 3.8, Elvis Mail, bit of support for him into 3.45 and 7.4 Longhouse Sale. But yeah, you'd have to say it's Charlie Deutsch's horse is the one they want in the without market.
Coming in with you, Barry, today then with the second race of the day here on RPR. We're hearing you're almost breaking the machine for your national 1-2-3s, which is wonderful. So don't worry. Don't go anywhere. We will be giving you a shout out and your national 1-2-3s. I guess, I don't know, as Shishkin enthusiastically makes his way to post, we could talk about what they're missing this year, in the national betting market. It used to be something called the Housewives' Favourite, didn't they? Which was basically, your £5 from the housewife or whatever. No betting shops open, of course. There's still. That's going to be on Monday, isn't it? Of course.
It's on Monday, yeah.
They just missed it.
Just in time for red car.
Just in time for Windsor.
Oh, yes.
Windsor and red, yeah, absolutely.
Red car's always
2-year-old novices and mile handicaps.
But a huge boost to the industry. There's a lot of jobs, of course, that are hanging on from furlough there. So we're thrilled if you work in the betting shops. I know a lot of you that watch this do. So really great to know that you'll be back and having some interaction again with the customers. There used to be social hubs all the time.
Oh, and I'll be able to get a nice each-way double on. It'd be great.
Actual each-way double. Yes, indeed. Rather than having to put a false beard on and
change my name.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
In I go. It's still not that easy.
Sam Brown's out the 4:15.
Who is?
Sam Brown.
Sam, because of the ground.
I assume so.
He was second favourite, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Should we talk about the 4:15 quickly? That's the race for the National, obviously. We love one in this, don't we? It's my nap of the day, Snow Leopardess.
Yeah, I really fancy her too. I love that Cheltenham run. Whether she didn't stay or wasn't quite tight fit, doesn't matter. She's running about 5-6 furlongs left.
That's good ground, not a problem with that.
The fact that she's been quite late to chasing is because she's had a foal, actually. She went and she's been into the paddocks, but she's come back as good as ever. Second to Canelo in the Roland Merrick, I think.
That's the run.
Our whole
She's
season.
a front-running novice as well, which is going to really help round here, isn't it?
Novices, I haven't looked into this. I would imagine novices have a good record in this race. Kildesart was a novice. Richard Patrick was Thomas Patrick.
4 of the past 8.
Yeah, Thomas Patrick was a novice.
Happy-go-lucky, of course, a hot pot for a lot of people out there. I know some judges that still think he's going to make amends for that. Not, a disappointing run at Cheltenham in the Ultima, but he was strongly fancied that for Kim Bailey and Dave Bass, and a lot of you following in. So exciting racing still to come. What have we got coming up after this? Oh, the Stayers Hurdle. It was at 3:35, isn't it? Devilish.
Ross's quote before was, I could back just about any of these, or something worse to that effect. I could see them all running well.
There wasn't a single horse in that I didn't have some positive for. I thought, actually, you know what? That has got either a good figure or a good performance, or the track will suit, or it'll come on for the run, or the yard.
Some good stats for that for the viewers when we come up to it.
We'll probably have less time to talk about that than we did about this.
I know, it's typical, isn't it? But I don't know. How good is Shishkin? Is he better than Altior? Is he better than Sprinter Sacre?
I'd put him in between the two at the moment, personally. I think he might be better than Altior, but Sprinter Sacre is probably the best jumper I'll ever see, I think.
Ever?
Yeah, you'd be doing well to find him any better than him.
I think the fact that he kind of... It's the they never come back. But he came back.
Well, he was the comeback of all time.
He was still a stone off what he was at his very best. When he beat Sizing Europe, he got 20 lengths clear on the bridle from Sizing Europe, who was
to come and win it at that age and everything. Only the greats.
Sizing Europe was a dead reliable 170-ish horse, and he just cruised away from on the bridle. That was an absolute monster, that horse.
Flag is up though. And it is the second race of the day here, the Shishkin Fanfare, I've been calling it, but of course it is the Maghull Novice Chase. And Ross Brierley, you're not trading today. You're sitting in the middle there, man. I'm hoping that your in-running trade's already on, because away you go with the call. I've
simply backed Shishkin to win by over 12 lengths, so hopefully that will happen as Gumball, Shishkin and Funambule Savola come up to the first, and Gumball pings it in front. From Shishkin in second. And again, what did we say before? Oh, there's going to be a pace duel every time you say that.
And Funambule Savola has backed out of it.
He's backed out of it. With Elvis Mail back in last Longhouse Sale is just before the Nick Alexander trained runner. And in front, Gumball's getting a fairly easy time of it. Shishkin is tracking the pace set by the Philip Hobbs runner. And it's all fairly sedentary so far.
It's very polite, Keith, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, they've let Gumball go. I mean, Gumball was only going to do sort of one thing, and it's a case of whether you go faster than him or let him do it. And getting that easy lead out in front has allowed him. He's jumped very well the first few fences, given them plenty of respect, which at Aintree is exactly what you want to be doing. You know, if you have done him for the forecast, then you've got to be happy with that so far. But really, it's all we've learned from these early furlongs is that we're not going to get that pace burn up that we thought.
Okay, we should mention Longhouse Sale, of course, in the race for Harry and Dan Skelt, who loves this sort of ground. And on figures, not that far behind them, so perhaps he was a big price, but he comes in after a dreadful run. Is he probably more of a summer horse? Probably is. But now this is an interesting move, Ross Brierley.
Yeah, Shishkin has put it up to Gumball a little bit. And I was going to say, obviously Shishkin, so impressive in the Supreme, so impressive in the Arkle, both races that will run up very strong gallops. Now he's having to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, but you go back to the Wayward Lad over Christmas, when he won
clearly in the lead
Christmas meeting. He had to do a lot of the own work of that day, and he was uber impressive, wasn't he? He's just a horse you could pretty much do anything with. However, the comments when he won the Lightning at Doncaster pre-Arkle were, he was jumping out a little bit to each side. Nico said it wasn't until he heard the other horses getting a slap that he really went into overdrive.
Well, I mean, he's making the running now. Gumball said, OK, fair enough, you take it up.
That's odd, isn't it? That is odd.
Well, he doesn't want to race Shishkin because that's the end of him if he races Shishkin.
And this is your classic. We're playing for place money here on Gumball, isn't it? I'm not going to react to this. I'm not trying to beat him.
Again, the psychology of the jockeys in behind now. They go, was anyone expecting this?
Yes,
because
absolutely. What do I do? Yeah, Elvis Mail isn't jumping as well as I'd hoped.
He's been the one that's jumped the worst of the five. Isn't
he is the smallest of the five as well. Looking at it, I think.
But Ambule Silva's not very big.
Yeah.
But given the demolition job a couple of horses have done, kicking down
14 to 1 on now.
14 to 1 on, says Barry. And I guess if you have played the distances like Ross, you're hoping that he just sets off the turbo. So this is where the without market, those of you that have played in that, it starts to get very interesting indeed.
Yeah, it would be interesting because, like I said, he's going to have to do something a little bit different, Shishkin here. But he's still in front from Gumball, Funambule Savola, Elvis Mail, Longhouse Sale, is right out the back and is getting a crack of the whip and somewhat unsurprisingly is being outclassed. Shishkin, though, is in front. Funambule Savola has been the one ridden for the place, or if we're allowed to say that.
He's loving the ground, Funambule, I think, isn't he?
He is, but Shishkin, interested to see what he does here as he jumps that quite takingly. Funambule Savola, Gumball, Elvis Mail. Gumball did not jump that particularly well. Shishkin now going through the gears. But Charlie Deutsch throwing down a bit of a challenge on Funambule Savola. He might think he's got an upset here. Shishkin jumps that nicely. Is he going to go through the gears here, Dave?
Oh, Elvis Mail has finally taken the toll. That was 2 out, wasn't it? This huge run between 2 out on the last. Shishkin's just idling out in front, I think, with Funambule's service.
Good for the distance.
Running the race of his... Not good for your distances, Ross Brierley.
Good for the distances,
But Barry Orr, providing they all stand up over the last, has got this in the without market. He knew. Yeah, he ran down a little bit, Shishkin. I tell you what, we're not going to have a burn up here, are we? No, surely not.
Shishkin's pulling out a little bit more, obviously. But that was, it was a fairly strange race in the end. Shishkin's done his own donkey work out in front. He's beat Funambule Savola, and I mean the distance from second to third was.
I would imagine Gumball's not been ridden from the halfway to 2 out. Well,
Gamble has had his ideal position stolen off him mid-race, if you like, which is a bit surprising in Nico. Do you think that Nico de Boinville and Shishkin just thought they're not going quick enough for me? Because he obviously hasn't been at his most enjoyable, happiest self up front.
His first couple of starts over fences, he did get a little bit keen, and he's obviously just thought, well, I can either sit here and pull, or I can go to the front.
Yeah.
Tom's not going to stop me because he knows that's death for him. He knows that's the end of him if he does that. So it suited everybody for Shishkin to make the running from there on.
Yeah.
I think we saw with that mistake at the last. Maybe there was a brief moment where Fernando Silva maybe went 3-1 or
It was
something.
an aye from Barry. We didn't think we were going to get that at one point, did we?
We'll see what he went to, but Shishkin's extended again after the last. He's won that doing as little as he could possibly get away with, really. It wasn't impressive, but let's not pretend he was in any real danger there.
The runner-up, we should concentrate on him a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know about that. What do you think? Absolutely. But he's run an absolute blinder. And Barry, tell us the story of the market first and foremost. Was there any spike at any point?
Well, somebody thought he was in danger coming to the last, or just after jumping the last, should I say, when it looked like the runner-up was going to get on his girth. Anyway, at one stage there, at 1.49, so 1 to 2, there was 558 quid matched on Seskin. So he went as big as that, and the runner-up 3.05, so 2 to 1 for 282 quid. So he's done enough at the finish, hasn't he? He probably wasn't on his best today. He's very keen when he has to take on Gumball past the stands for the lead and let him stride on. So I think that put paid to Gumball's chance. But we got our few quid for the charity.
Yeah, fair play, Barry.
Put another 2 lengths into the runner-up for a slap down the shoulder.
Exactly. That's what I think I love about Shishkin. Out of all Nicky Henderson's two milers he's had, this one, I mean, you could say Altior was like that, of course. I'm not saying it wasn't, but this one in particular, you get the feeling that the better the opposition, the better he gets. He's just... It's a different class, isn't he?
Yeah, he wants that gallop, doesn't he? He wants that competition.
Test me, brilliant horse.
Yeah, which was the problem there a little bit, because the rest of them were just dawdling. They let Gumball get on with it. Gumball's a horse who can make all the running at galloping fairly stiff tracks and just keep going and going. So the fact that I think Nico thought, well, look, I'm a better horse than you. I'm not going to mess around here. As you said, he could easily go up in trip. In terms of his stamina reserves, he is more Altior and Finian's Rainbow than he is Sprinter Sacre, isn't he? So he knew he's got a bit of versatility in him. I think there was just a couple of jumps there where he thought they're not going quick enough, the first couple of fences, and that was when he made the decision to just school him round, really. Has
Sholokov, his sire, got the best novice hurdler and the best novice chaser?
The best, is he Bob Ollinger's? Yeah, he probably does, I would have said. I
get these years of walk in the park. Do you remember he was one that always used to get mentioned, and these jump sires that do. It's just an interesting point, isn't it? I want to talk about the runner-up for Venetia Williams, Grand National winning trainer, of course, Monmoom. I think that he is a very nimble animal, this. And he does handle winter ground. But now, Keith, what's going to happen to his mark? I mean, he's just run Shishkin to within a couple of lengths, 169. He was £20 between them going into the race.
He's not going to get put up to 165, is he?
No, but you're looking at 10 there, aren't you, potentially?
Potentially, you would... What has he run off there today?
149.
149 today. I think, he'll probably get enough to take him out of handicaps, which might be about more like 7-8.
It's disgraceful if he got £10 for that.
Well, he won't get 10. He won't get 10, Barry.
That's what ruins it for connections. Like, why would you want to run a horse in a race like that? Like, everyone complains about small fields, but if he was to get £10 for that, it'd be simple. Even if he got £7 for it, like, it's obvious to my eye that Siskin has underperformed there today. That's not the true Siskin.
Well, Siskin, if he gets £10, Fernando Silva, Shishkin still underperformed by £8, £9, £10 himself.
This is my point.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting it's right or wrong. I'm suggesting what might happen.
What the BHA will tend to do, they'll probably fudge it, and they'll probably give Fernando Silva a mark that takes him out of handicaps, but only just.
OK, let's talk about the Champion Chase next season. Not just for Shishkin, but for Namble Sivola. I think wherever Shishkin doesn't go, there'll be 2 mile novice chases to win with him, but something like the Schlur, maybe something like that, I don't know.
Similar to Fanny and Destreval, isn't he, in the sense of he's in that, currently in that tough little spot between very good handicapper and we don't know how good he is graded.
I think this is basically the horse that I wish Fanny and Destreval was, because I keep backing Fanny and Destreval, but I think this is the horse that I want Fanny and Destreval to be.
Your horse, Keith, isn't it? It's been an expensive project this season.
Yeah, Tom Siegel likes him as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course.
But he doesn't jump quite as well and isn't quite as fast as Fernando Silva.
So, Barry, on the sports book, what price for next year's Queen Mother Champion Chase? Unchanged?
Unchanged, Dave, at 5 to 4. Yeah, you couldn't really do anything off the back of that. Well, looking at the race, what's in it? You've Allaho that's not going to go to the Champion Chase. He's a Ryanair. Shakan Persoir, who disappointed this year. He's a 10 to 1 chance. Put the kettle on. Yeah, maybe 10 to 1.
She's the one, I think.
Energumene.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe.
12
Yeah,
to
that's
1.
interesting. Punch us down. We'll let us know about an Ergamine, hopefully,
I
won't
don't
it?
know.
What
Yeah.
about what? I thought. I mean, given how inexperienced he was in that grade, Nube Negra would definitely.
Nube Negra, yeah, ran very well, didn't he?
Best, didn't he, in the
yeah.
Queen Mother, didn't he? Just about.
What price, Barry?
14s.
14.
Okay, that's interesting, isn't it? Another mention of the next year's Cheltenham Festival. So, 2 races down then. 2 superstars. Unquestionably, we have provided you with the racing sphere, you fans out there, on this Grand National Day 2021. We didn't have it last year. Do you remember sitting at home watching the Virtual National? The most race watched in 2020. Let's get the viewing figures going through the roof wherever you are. Let us know. Keep your social interactions coming in here on Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. Myself, Dave Orton, Ross Brierley in the seat. Back with us, delighted to have him on the panel. Keith Melrose, doubleheader it has been for the betting editor of the Racing Post, and it's a hat-trick for Barry Orr as well. And Barry, you must be on a bit of a high, so let's get the market up. There it is for the Stayers, the Ryanair Stayers Hurdle. This is a cracker, isn't it? Where's the Barry Orr radar going?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I just thought that the two at the head of the market were quite opposable. I thought Rasaka had a chance, Liz Nagar Asker had a chance, and Inforgettable. That's one that I've bet in the place market myself. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Dutch lay the two at the head of the market. I'm going to take 50 quid out of each of them. So Time Hill, I'm going to take 50 quid out of at 3.9, and Paisley Park at around 4.4. Happy to be a layer of that as well. Yeah, I just think with Paisley Park, one at Ascot traded at a high of 65 in running that day. Every chance for me in Cheltenham. I had every chance, just couldn't do it. And then Time Hill, you know, missing Cheltenham, I think is a bit of a red flag for him. Roxana, I thought she had a really big chance. She was just beaten in this a couple of years ago. It was actually if the cap fits and the mayor of
Apples Jade.
Oh, Apples Jade, yeah. The three of them jumping the last was a right old ding dong. I think she wants 3 miles now, and the flat track will really suit her as well. So I think there's plenty of ammunition in here that you could do the top 2 in the market, and getting them together at that, I'm happy.
Is the trade on, Mr. Melrose?
Yes, it is. It's already on.
Is the trade on? You know, Barry has his favourite traders, shall we say, and you're not one of the magpies, as Barry calls them. You are one. I would like to consider the Quizmaster one of Barry's favourite traders now.
Oh, that's very, very kind of you.
We won't look towards the bottom of the pile, of course, but they are on. I'm getting sent pictures through of people, myself personally, of where they all are watching the Grand National at the minute. I'm seeing a couple of parties are coming through on some of my social channels. Let us know. What are you doing today for the National? Are you just counting down? Is it nice and quiet? Perhaps it's just you and the sofa, like it has been for most of the past 12 months. We open up, of course, don't we? The hospitality on the 12th. Fantastic. Has anyone got anything booked in? Bar from, I'm hoping, the Barbers, dear boy.
Well, no, I don't know about that. I'm starting to grow.
Oh, here we go.
Rather
getting the mane.
Yeah.
Brierley mane.
Absolutely. I'm starting to think.
You went through a very awkward period.
Did I?
Now you are. Oh, you did.
What, in life?
Well, I don't know. We can talk about it if you want. There's a black couch somewhere around here.
Ages 11 to 14.
I can imagine you were a bit of a toe rag back then. But you went through a slight awkward period, didn't you? Graham Rodway, as we've seen as this show, he's got absolutely wild, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Berserk. His hair's gone.
But I've gone into I've started slicking it back now, and I'm going to start selling antiques.
You're wearing it well, my man. You're wearing it well. As for Keith, it's also sort of got there, isn't it? It went through a period.
I think it's getting worse myself, but there you are. But
Keith's looking look very academic. I think he's very scholarly.
Well, he's a quizmaster. Yeah. He's got appearances to keep up, of course.
Yeah. I feel like he's gonna teach me a seminar at university.
Sitting on the desk.
Absolutely.
Honestly, you should have heard the chat with these two pre-show. It got very nerdy. It really did. They started talking about all sorts of formulas they were going to create. In fact, two great brains together. Let's see what they come up with in the next year. Let's get some socials in there. And who have we got coming up on the show next? And it is Dennis Trusty. Dennis, welcome along. Thoughts on Third Wind? Right, yes, back to the action. Absolutely, Dennis, quite right. Thank you for letting us know. Just a message from my wife coming through. Didn't like the Housewife's Choice thing. How's she managed to infiltrate this sanctuary?
Might be a safe space, isn't it?
It's a little.
You said you're
not very 2021, is it?
To be fair.
I didn't. I thought she'd have tuned out by now. There you go. I thought she'd be enjoying the break personally. But anyway, there we are. Listen, it's a saying. It's a saying. It's not meant to be. All right. House husband's choice. Then whatever. You can see where my relationship goes here, can't you?
Do you want me to borrow that spade, Dave?
Third wind. I mean, yeah, exactly. How big is the hole? It's massive. Trust me. I've been down it for a long time. Third wind. Paul Keeley likes this. Did Tom Segal put this up?
Yeah, I think they both put it up. Both put it up, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And, if his form is absolutely good enough to be considered better than a 20s chance, it's all in the mud, and it's just a case of whether he can do it again on slightly better ground. That's, it's a question I've ducked myself. It's just there that his form is good enough to be considered better than 20s, but it's just the ground's a question for him.
Yeah, and you would think, Ross, wouldn't you, when he beat Lisnagar Oscar at Haydock in the Reynolds Town, that there wouldn't be too much between them. I have watched that back, and oh God, Keeley yesterday's. Paul Keeley, top tips to the Racing Post. He's got this theory, hasn't he? You've probably been hearing about this all week because you've been sitting next to him, and I can only imagine some of the chats and where they've gone. Keels has got this thing where he doesn't believe that a horse idles. I've sat with him on this in this studio. He's argued with jockeys about it. You're talking rubbish and all that sort of thing. A horse doesn't idle. He actually has found one that idled, and it was third wind in the Reynolds Town.
Is what he put up. So he's found a horse that idles when he wants.
He thinks he had more coming back.
Yeah.
Of course, we haven't seen him since then, have we, at all? And he skipped the Cheltenham Festival. He didn't go to the Stayers. Some people would have given him a chance in that.
It's the track, though, isn't it?
It's perfect.
It's absolutely perfect.
And he'll creep, won't he? I think, Dennis, for you out there, at 2 out, you're going to be getting excited. So, yeah, absolutely. Good luck on that. And like I say, so the best judges have put him up. OK, where we go? The DJ Tech Reviews in Ireland. OK, fair enough. Next race, lads. Diolcure. What's the thoughts? Have I got? Do you think I've got the name right?
I think Diolcure I was going with, but I liked the spin at the end. It was nice. A couple of things. Well, Noel Meads had a winner at Dundalk, so that's a bonus for him.
There's a lot of people wondering about his overall form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though Jeff Kidder won in the Fred Winter, the Buddhist one's followed up since, isn't it, of course?
Yeah, absolutely. So he might not be having numerically loads of winners, but he's having good horses win.
He ran the Galmoy, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's 7 years old, so he's on the right end of the scale because, Florian Porter was an improving 6-year-old, and it does feel like the National Hunt season this year is very much a transitional period where the old guard step aside and the youngsters come through and take over. I want to see where he runs because my thoughts on whether he's got a chance of winning this depends entirely on his track position because the race yesterday, the novice 3 mile was won from the front. Florian Porter won the Stayers from the front and at Leopardstown from the front. Vanillier won his race from the front. Albert Bartlett from the front. All the 3 mile hurdle races have actually been dominated by front runners. I looked at this race, I couldn't find an obvious front runner, apart from maybe Diolcure, who is often certainly prominent, that's for sure. So if he goes out into the lead, he could be hard to peg back.
It was a clear second in the Galmoy, Keith, when he's Sam's profile. It was a ding-dong of a race. A mother and a father have finished that. Horses were walking on treacle-like ground. He's needed that break, I would have...
Yes, and you won't be struggling at the finish here because he's obviously looked a real stare that day when he was second to Sam's profile. He was coming back at the end as well, wasn't he? So, he's another one that if he can convert that form to better ground, he is 11-1, and that is a little bit more like it in terms of the price a horse of that standard should be at. But he is more of an improver possibly in terms of what he might have left to show than the likes of Third Wind.
He's rated £10 off Time Hill, of course, and that makes him £11 off Paisley Park. Let's talk about the top 2 in the market after we get the tips of the panel. Keith Melrose.
I'm going for the horse that's probably going to sit last, actually. After all, Ross is bigging it up. I've thought for quite a long time that there is a big run in Decorio-Londe.
Oh, yes.
And, it might be completely mad, this, but how not today? Because he has a lot of form on sort of the better ground. He has been given a break after August. He won in the summer, and after that came back, ran in the... Boyne, Galmoy,
Yes, the Boyne.
And he was going to finish third in that race behind Beacon Edge and Fury Road, one of which Beacon Edge finished fourth in the Stayers Hurdle. So, that is a race well up to its standard. He looked the third best in that race quite comfortably until he just ran out of petrol. probably because he hadn't run since August. So he's got a race behind him now. He's got a bit of ground. He's got Jody McGarvey riding him. He used to be ridden by it's Norman Part. Is it Norman Partland?
Yes.
Partland? And
Noel,
yeah. He's an amateur jockey. He's a good amateur jockey, but you still want Jody McGarvey, a jockey that's won a couple of Grade 1s recently at Fairyhouse. So it's a jockey up left. It's a big long straight to run up. Basically, I've got no excuses if this isn't the day he runs a big figure that I think he might do. So that's why I put him up at a massive price.
We covered the Boyne, didn't we, guys, in the studio, Barry and Ross, and we said Coral Cup all the way. Now, of course, he did run behind Envoy LN, didn't he, at Cheltenham? I just wonder, he was, I know he's 661, but I'm not totally sure he's happy around there. I think that's probably why he didn't go for that. That's the question. He will be ridden out the back, as Keith says. So cold. You'll need him to come back a little bit. Likely pace angle in this. Time Hill won't be too far away, you'd imagine.
Well, again, I went through this and I was like, well, no. I mean, nearly every possible 3 mile front runner hasn't turned up. So
Emiton.
There's Nagar Oscar, no?
Yeah, possibly. There's a lot of horses who sit on the pace, isn't it? So one of them is going to decide, Barry, I think, to go on.
And Kohler, maybe. He's made it before.
Yeah, on the blind side, look, probably Henderson's also he's a forcer.
Yeah, but none of them where you think, you're not like a Flooring Porter, for example, where you think, well, this is the only way this horse has been running. So I think, he's potentially interested. The way I've played it is the one note I made after the Stayers.
Yes.
Was that I think the Stayers was one of the best, probably the best renewal since Thistlecrack, I thought. I thought it was a rock solid race. I thought Sire de Burley had done some spectacular times last year and the year before winning the Pertemps. You had Paisley Park, the defending champ, who come into it in tip-top form as well. I thought the 4th Beacon Edge ran an absolute blinder and will be interesting next year. So I just made a note to follow that I thought that was a good renewal. I think Flooring Porter for next year's renewal is a good bet. So I think Paisley Park is obviously the one to beat, but there's 2 horses at much bigger prices who I thought could be interesting.
Who's the headline?
Well, I backed 2. Vindication, who returned to fences back over hurdles last time out in the Stayers. That was his first run. And he just looked a bit at sea in a different kind of race.
He looked like he hadn't seen hurdles for a long time to me.
Exactly, and he barely raced over hurdles, remember, but he's a very good chaser. He put in some speed figures that would suggest he's got every chance of winning this. So I've backed him, and the last 5 defending champions to turn up in this race and run again have won the race.
That's remarkable, isn't it? I mean, you must be talking about like big bucks, I'm assuming, and those type of horses that went on a roll.
Yeah, but the last one was Whisper. So we're not talking absolute bomb-proof conveyances. Whisper came
talking
back
about Aintree horses, basically proper Aintree horses.
Exactly, and if the Cat Fits also went back from fences to hurdles, ran in the Stayers. Harry Fry couldn't buy a winner to save his life for the 3 weeks running up to the festival. Metier ran a stinker as well. It was a really frustrating week for them, but they had a couple of winners earlier on last week or the end of the week before.
In these colours, indeed.
They did, yeah. So I think if the Stayers is good, obviously Listener Groska brings his good form into it as well. But I thought those 2, 4 places, back them to win, back them both to place in the first 4, and I'd be surprised if at least one of them doesn't hit the frame.
Interesting. A lot of love for Oksana out there. I think the Barry gave her half a chance. I just wonder whether if they hadn't gone to Cheltenham, I still I don't like to do this that often and say a horse's connection should have run here instead. But I would have preferred to have seen her in the Stayers Hurdle. I think taking advantage of that £7 allowance, because I think she's better over the trip now. So that would have been my thing. And I think if she hadn't run at Cheltenham, she'd be pushing Time Hill, I think, for favouritism here. But it's on the afterthought that I've gone against her with Paisley Park. I just adore this horse, like so many people out there. And having spoken to Aidan Coleman and Emma Lavelle after Cheltenham, they think that not running in the Cleve Hurdle, which was abandoned and rescheduled to Wetherby, was the reason why he didn't quite show his very best at Cheltenham. Now, he's 1 from 1 at Aintree. He's going to come on for that run. And I see Barry Orr, he is being backed.
Time Hill.
Paisley Park.
Oh, sorry, Paisley Park, 4.4. He's steady away at that. The head of the market's quite mature now. Out of the top 3 of the head of the market, Roxanne is the one that's coming in for good support. She's 5.8 now, but Time Hill 3.9. I think, like I said earlier, I think they're readily opposable. Dal Kerr for Sean Flanagan, who rode the winner of this a couple of years ago. He's a really interesting runner. I think he'll stay to 3 miles. I think he's probably a big price now at 12-1, out as big as 12 in the exchange, 13.5. Took the scalp, if you remember, back in 2019 of Monkfish, no less, in a maiden hurdle over 2.5 miles in Ferryhouse. So I think Ascaria 10 was third in that race at the finish as well. So that's worked out quite a decent race. So that's not without a chance with a stable that's in flying form at the moment, Noel Mead.
Just having a look at his pedigree as well. He's by Marteline, who was the sire of Very Wood.
Yes.
Albert Bartlett for Noel Mead.
Yeah, of course.
Good ground.
Yeah.
Sire of Dinast, won some nice races on decent ground as well. And you start to look at, the horses that he's had 4 horses, for example, who've won over 3 Mile 1, all on good or good to firm. So it might well be that DL Curlew's looked a bit of a sketchy jumper at times, just wants better ground.
This generally is a very deep race, isn't it? I think, you called it a devilish race. And that's because you look at every runner and go, actually, the more I look at it, Thomas Darby's one I want to throw into the mix. Interesting jockey booking, Jack Kennedy for Ollie Murphy. Obviously, they knew their time together at Cullentra House in Ireland when Ollie was assistant over there. And having spoken to Aidan Coleman, as I just alluded to, about his rides at the Cheltenham Festival, of course, he won, put the kettle on. He was third on... Epatante, wasn't he, etc. The one ride he would have liked to have taken back and done again was Thomas Darby in the Coral Cup, when it was basically heaven help us leading and the rest absolutely nowhere. And he's not
given way too much to do, wasn't
he
he?
just knew after a hurdle he was beaten because it's a certain way. Talented horse, Keith, on his day. But Ollie Murphy tends to have a couple of these type of horses now, doesn't he? These horses that mix fences, have a little go, back over hurdles. And they sort of come into not sure where we are. Still young.
From the outside, it looks like horses like Thomas Darby and Itchy Feet, and Ollie Murphy's desperate to have his first really, really good horse. And they're just trying to find where these horses fit in, and neither of them have sort of really convinced over fences, and they come back and they find themselves a sort of grade 2 class of hurdler, which is what they are. They're good horses. They're very good grade 2 horses, and they've been placed in grade 1s, both of those that we've mentioned. And I think that's his horse's level. He's a mid to high 150s horse. That can get you placed in this, but it might. But whereas it might not. It's one of those. It's going to be quite a close run thing in terms of whether that's good enough to get you in the first 3.
We've got a Cheltenham Festival winner in Indefatigable. I know that Barry mentioned that earlier. We've got William Henry in there, who's gone very close at Cheltenham Festival before. Emma Tom, very talented on his day. Lightly pace angle for Warren Drayton. Call Me Lord, what's happened to him? Didn't he look extremely good? International winner last season, wasn't he?
Desperate season, hasn't he?
Desperate season. But here he is going left-handed. Let's get some more social interaction on the screen. You make the show, viewers. We know you've got loads of 1, 2, 3s from the National. We'll be bringing them to you later on. And Nicholas Halbakowski. Nicholas Halbakowski, welcome along. Says Indefatigable for me. Shall we talk about her?
I mean, I don't know which is the better name, Nicholas Halbakowski or Indefatigable.
which is the tongue tie out there, Nicholas Halbakowski or Indefatigable. It's almost like he's teasing us with that one. But she has, okay, Keith, come to you with this. She won the boys' race, as we call it, which of course is a terrible thing to say these days, but that's what we call conditional riders races.
Yes, she won the Martin Pipe last year at the Cheltenham Festival. Very much last gasp, caught pylon on the line.
Oh.
Yes.
I bet if there's one horse that was off the Christmas card list at Minehead at Philip Hobbs last year, it was Indefatigable, wasn't it?
Oh no, it was Hobbs was going to have his big winner, and that was going to be that. And
it would be bad if you beat Time Hill on the line today, then, wouldn't it?
How we would like that.
National Day. We always say that the narrative, the stories rule, don't they?
And I mean, this horse, she's peaked again really for Cheltenham. She was 4th in the Grade 1 Mares hurdle this time. But obviously last year we didn't get to see what she could do afterwards. She didn't come to Aintree because there was no Aintree. So, it could be that she has a horse that peaks towards the tail end of a season, but she would have to take another chunky step up. She's half a stone less than Roxana, so she needs to make a big step.
Barry?
That was her first run after a wind-up as well, the run in Cheltenham.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that if she was 1.5 lengths behind Roxana, if Roxana's a 5-1 shot, I'm not sure she's a 40-1 shot.
Yeah. And Paul Webber has had a bit of an upturn in his fortune recently, hasn't he?
I mean, she's more of a 2.5 miler than Roxana is. I think Roxana is probably a 3 miler these days. You said that, Dave, didn't you? And I would tend to agree.
I think she is. The problem is with her that over the 3 miles, and isn't it great to see what what we were hoping for in the Stayers division was the top 3 to take themselves on. We were hoping for that narrative, the ding-ding round 4. Roxana is part of that trio, isn't she?
But yeah, this
Andy Murray, though, isn't she? She's sort of in the big 3, but kind of not.
She's the one you rate the form through in every race, pretty much.
Yeah, just about. She's such a likeable horse, and she always, she gives her running. She runs to somewhere between 155 and about 159 or something, and that is what the race is worth.
So, Monsieur Hal Bukowski, let's hope that answers your question on Indefatigable. All the very best to you. Okay, what we got on this? Mikey B. Mikey B 86. Roxana and Decor Ilonde each way. You're liking the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through, and there's no horse here that we've been talking about that I've sort of zoned out on because I thought, well, I don't fancy that. So, but I've listened to every word in this one because I do think every horse has got a decent chance. This is the day. If Decor Ilonde is ever going to be the horse that I think he might be, today's the day he's going to show it. He has to improve maybe half a stone to be in the running for a
No
place.
pressure on him, though. I like that. You know what I mean? They can just go out the back. Noel Kelly... I don't want to say the word shrewd operator, but he's canny, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He plots his horses really well.
Everybody knows what you mean when you say that.
Do you remember when this chap won at Category?
Oh, he beat Mersey and Prince on the Bridle. That was the first day I really sort of took notice.
I was on Mersey and Prince that day, who was the chaser going back over hurdles, basically, and he went clear, didn't he? And you're thinking, there's no way that the second Fav can beat me here, and he knifed through, buttered it.
And he was easy to back that day and picked him up on the bridle.
Yeah, that's when we knew we had a very progressive horse, wasn't it?
And not quite done it since, but you can put it down to a few things. And I think 3 miles on good ground is what he needs.
2 more socials before we go to Roscoe. I can see you're itching to say something, Roscoe.
Stats.
Carl Wilkes. Okay, this looks a fantastic Stayers hurdle. Time Hill to bounce back and show them who's boss. Okay, yeah, we haven't really talked about Time Hill. Give us your stats quickly before we do that.
I was just thinking, because again, I've said that this is the year where things are starting to transition. Grade 1 hurdle races since the turn of the year, no 9-year-old or older has won at all.
Really?
So, the oldest we've had was Paisley Park. It was obviously 8 when winning, and that is it. Everything else has been 7 or younger. Sorry, Gallop Marin won one at Auteuil, but apart from that, you've got youngsters all...
You would know that, or Keith. So no wonder you're getting on like nerds earlier, yeah.
Oh, I love a query.
I bet you do. I bet you
That's my catchphrase. I found it.
That's absolutely
Snappy. Some snappy, I like it.
What's his girlfriend's come down and staying in the Airbnb with him? Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, absolutely. I can imagine that machine has seen some queries before. That's got
Some of the queries I've
probably
seen.
the senior producer's going. I can see him. He's going, get on with it, man. It's just about to start off. We've got one more. Carl Wicks. Great shout. Time Hill. Listen, he's got to come back. Is he ready? That's the question, Carl. And James McFadden, good to have you back. James says, I think we might get a surprise winner in the Stayers hurdle. On the blind side has a chance. McFabulous didn't turn up, did he, during the week? Well, everything went wrong for him. But on that Kempton form, it's been great to see on the blind side come back to the horse we thought he was.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, dear.
My brain hadn't even got there, so it took me a minute.
It took me about 20 seconds to
in the early days of this show when we weren't established, I would have probably skirted over that one, but it was too good to miss. Listen, it's National Day. It's a celebration of all things good. Who's going to line up in front here then, guys?
Well, that's the thing. So what I'm going to do is, whatever it is, I'm going to back it, and I'm going to lay it back at half the price, Barry, because so far you'd have done all right getting out of those.
Oh, dear Lord, the things that you have to put up with on live television. Okay, wonderful. One thing that is borne out here is that Decor Ilonde is indeed, Keith Miles has got this one annoyingly right. He's going to actually race in last.
He's out to 130 now, Decor Ilonde's. Yeah, they haven't even jumped off. 130.
Again, it's just, like I said, it's the
I'm should backing him at 40, and I feel very smug now. I've backed him at a third of that price.
What price is he? 5 places to never look like winning, but...
Oh, there's that. I tell you what, I'm probably going to get involved in that now, because he will have drifted in all manner. So
Barry, I'm always behind a little bit with you on the machine I've got in here, but it looks like Paisley and Time Hill are neck and neck favourites now, are they?
Yeah, they are. It's 4.0 each of 2, so 3 each of 2, 3 to 1 each of 2.
Hey, I got one right with Barry. Happy days. Usually I go to him and say, and this one looks like it's going to go favour. He goes, no.
No.
Yes. So one word. get ready for the one-word pin stickers guide in between the 4:15. That's a wonderful handicap, that 4:15 Snow Leopardess. We're all looking forward to her chances in that for Charlie Lawson and the National. That's when all your social comments will really start flooding in. Keep them coming. Great to have you along here. As you can see, we're having a good time. Quite right. In they come then. All right, here. So a reminder, Paisley Park for me. I think if he finds a length, which I think he's perfectly entitled to do on that Cheltenham form, he'll be the one to beat. And I'm hoping they go a right good gallop for him. Decor Irlandais at a flyer to pick up the pieces for Keith Melrose. 2 selections for you, Mr. Brierley.
Yeah, Vindication and If the Cap Fits, and also a back to lay on literally whatever makes the run in, regardless of form.
So would you like me to take the early call on this, and so you can
Up to the first hurdle will be nice, yeah, just so I could get that trade in.
No worries, old boy. Let me take this away. It's about time I did want to get on the week, isn't it? All right, good luck wherever you're playing then, because they are off in the stayers. So it's an absolute belter, the 3:35 at Aintree. And it looks like Emma Tom, Vindication's being woken up, surprise, by Dave Bass on the blind side up front. Yeah, we said that might be the case. Have you got your lay on, Ross Brierley?
I'm trying to work out which one it is. Yeah, I guess it's going to be Emma Tom, isn't it?
It's Emma Tom, isn't it?
Emma Tom. But,
Button pressed, resume call, please.
That's it, yes, Emma Tom. Happy to see Vindication up there. Not surprised, as you said, with the jockey in the saddle and also the blinkers. Paisley Park very prominent as well. Clearly, that's been a bit of a decision. Aidan Coleman got outspeeded by Time Hill at Newbury, and he is sitting a couple of places ahead of him here. On the blind side in a nice sit back in third. Paisley Park, Lisniger Oscar, Diol Kerr very wide for the Noel Mead stable, but it didn't harm my Drogo earlier. Then inside that one we have William Henry. And behind those, the green cap of Call Me Lord, the white cap of If the Cap Fits is a bit further back. Third wind on the inside as well. Decor Irlandais is dead last. Roxana's only got a couple behind. Indefatigable, If the Cap Fits, and Decor Irlandais. The other ones we haven't mentioned, I think that's about it. Where's Thomas Darby? He's the only one I haven't been able to pick out.
He's on his back on the outside.
Being ridden for...
Yes.
Being rid of the stamina, I think, isn't he?
Similar colours to Indefatigable.
He is.
Thomas Darby has. He's very similar colours.
You nailed the pronunciation.
Vindication's
that
got
time,
loose
Barry.
now.
Absolutely nailed it. Vindication, then, Dave Bass has said, not having this, on we go, and then really stretch them. And it's basically, the pack are just completely ignoring them, Keith, aren't they? An interesting early move, that, from Aidan Coleman on Paisley Park. Sharper track, he does hit that flat spot, doesn't he?
He does, and... he knows that if it's a very muddling race, he's toast. So that's why he's probably just thought, I'm going to have him prominent here if there's not going to be much pace. But David Bass has seen that as well and thought, no pace, is there? Well, I'm your pace man.
Exactly. The cavalry are behind me, men. I'm off.
Rat up a drain pipe is the term that comes to mind. He's seen the opportunity to make the running here and really grab it. And while the others are really figuring out their places in the field, David Bass has gone 20 lengths clear.
Yes, and we have seen front runners, as you said, Ross Brierley, not nicking these races, basically staying there. Ahoy Sinor, 66-1, but he wasn't this far clear.
He wasn't this far clear, and you were talking about speed earlier, 29, 30 miles an hour. He's managed to get into the front and go pretty much what the others were going out in front. It didn't help in the first hurdle we saw, of course, but Vindication's gone on. The race that's coming to mind right now is last year's Epsom Derby, more than anything else.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Where Serpentine was gone, but Vindication...
you can't jump like he did there, can you, and get away with it, I don't think. But Barry, I want to come to you here, as we've passed the stands for the first time in the Stayers Hurdle. Basically, what does the market do in this case on Betfair, on the exchange, when one goes all the way clear? What do players usually react like?
Yeah, well, it came in significantly. He was into 15. He had a Betfair SP at 30. He has a Betfair SP at 33. He's into 16 now. So he's halved in price, Vindication, off the back of that move. But... I can see that he seems to be slowing right up in front now as well. The favourite's still Time Hill, though, in running at 4.1. 5.1 Paisley Park, interestingly. And outside of that, it's pretty quiet. Vindication into 11.5 now, would you believe?
Yeah, it's a Vindication. It's Vindication, then a gap, then Emma Tom, then a gap, then on the blind side. So there's 3 races almost unfolding here. Behind on the blind side is Diol Kerr. The poor jumpers so far, there's been a couple of bad... hurdles by William Henry, who hasn't enjoyed things particularly. Call Me Lord hasn't enjoyed things either at a couple of the obstacles. Decor Irlandais is definitely going to run on for a place for Keith. Tony McGarvey, we were talking about ridden for a place, but this is how this horse is always ridden.
Always is. It just seems to be the way they always do it with this horse, and I don't know why. They
warms up when others are feeling the pinch, doesn't he? He likes passing horses. And
I always think with this, how do they know?
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously an
try
idea,
anything
but yeah, exactly. They've never tried anything else.
I was going to say, by the way, Vindication was 24.
7-6 Vindication.
I'm
not surprised.
I clicked on him at 24. No, 24. He's now 7.
Are you suggesting this is gone, Keith
I'm not
Melrose?
saying it's gone, but he's not had to work terribly hard to gain 20 lengths. It's an easy one, 20 lengths, this.
I agree. And
Is this a masterclass from David Bass?
He slowed it down again. He's on 20. Again, at the speed he's saying 28. So
This is a little bit like For Pleasure, isn't it? All the regular viewers will know who that is, of course. Or it tears off in front. And then at what point do you have to try and catch up? We see it in staying chases, don't they? These riders in behind don't want to start asking their horses for maximum because they're so far out.
Yeah, and the question
Who's
is...
going to do the donkey work to get the toe up to him?
Well, it's probably going to be on the blind side, Barry, I would imagine. Paisley Park being shaken up now.
Looks like.
Yeah, Dale Kerr's got a nice position, really. Like I said, he's
got to the front.
Paisley's gone right out, hasn't he? He's gone right to the back. I mean, that's a really disappointing effort
he's got
from him.
20 to 1 in running.
Oh,
Vindication
man.
out to 12 now.
They're starting to close 14, now. I think Dale Kerr's
16.
the one I like the look of. Thomas Darby might run on for a place, but Decor Elan Dave, this could be...
Something's wrong with Paisley here, isn't
Score
it?
of the year.
This is tanking, but he always does this.
Where's Time Hill, guys? Looking for the fav.
Time Hill is on the inside of the white cap, on the
He's
blind side,
perfectly
going through
placed.
the gears as well. Indefatigable's travelling well. Call Me Lord, listen to Garoska, of course, who lost his stayer's crown, but wasn't going too badly at the time. Decor Elan Day is swinging. I hope he
He's
did
going to
that
pull
4 or
up
5
Paisley
places.
Park,
You
I think.
said it. I mean, a bad time each way for
Into 12.5.
Aidan Coleman calling it a day on Paisley Park. What a shame.
Call Me Lord is on the outside, who's the one who's throwing down a challenge now. Listen to Garoska, Diol Kerr, Time Hill is going through the gears as well.
I'd say
looking
Time
for a
Hill's a
gap.
near good thing here, isn't he?
On
What's the
blind
market
side,
saying?
It's
What's in the sheepskin noseband?
Call Me Lord is swinging.
Thomas
along.
Darby on the outside. Thomas Darby travels.
Oh, he wasn't very good then.
Come on, Jody.
Here comes.
Staying on.
It's Roxana.
Roxana.
Still loads in this.
Time Hill. Roxana has kicked it.
Indefatigable's way out the back. Help it. It's not, it's Roxana, man. Nicholas Alpakowski was going mad with Barry.
Roxana and Time Hill are battling out. It's Roxana in front. Time Hill throwing down a challenge. Roxana is staying out in front for the Skelton team. Time Hill throwing down a challenge back in third. It's Thomas Darby. Roxana. Time Hill. Roxana.
Time Hill's going to get him.
Time Hill.
She holds on. She holds on.
Time Hill.
All right. Happy days. Wow, what a finish that was. I was going to say the old guard came clear. The two old rivals, poor old Paisley Park, will get you the debrief on him. Clearly not at the races today. Some ride that. Dickie Johnson departs the riding game. Tom O'Brien gets up in the saddle. Number one rider now at Philip Bobbs. What a way to announce and stamp yourself as the number one rider down in Minehead. That was an absolute cracker. I'll tell you what, Harry Skelton and Roxana must have thought he had the crown jewels at that point. Thomas Darby's run an absolute blinder. Just met the top two stayers. In third, that was Thomas Darby. In fourth, Decor Elan Day. You went a bit quiet there, man.
Yeah, who won?
Not Paisley, I can tell you that.
It was, I watched obviously the last half along with the front two, but I was watching Decor Elan.
You say what won? I mean, Barry was. I thought you had to talk about crown jewels, Barry.
I got fucking brain fart. And I said B-U-C-K there. I said B-U-C-K.
Oh, yes, of course you did. Of course you did. Listen, you're not paying the bills, man. You can say what you like. Oh, absolutely hilarious. Listen,
absolute brain fart there.
Listen, wonderful scenes. It is a celebration
today.
today.
Hit a low of 8-1 on, 1.12, would you believe, Dave? 8-1 on.
That's what you get here on Racing Post Live, real-time reaction.
And Declar Inland Days hit a low of 10.5, considering that trade at a high of 160 pre-race.
A great shout,
That was
Keith.
a nice little trade.
yeah.
I'm assuming you got 4 places.
Yeah,
because you
Time
did
Hill hit a high of 10.
10-1, Barry. When was that?
Time Hill hit a high of 10. I'd say about 4 out there. Or turning into the straight there when there was a bit of scrummaging and that, and Vindication was still holding a bit of a lead. But
I think it must have hit 10-1 when I think Barry might have laid him thinking it was the other horse.
Absolutely, the industry SP was all over the place. All right, well, let's get some social reaction on the screen, bring back some decorum. Carl Wilkes, Time Hill, I love you, you beauty. What a horse, yeah. Listen, to go missing like he did, pulled a muscle pre-Cheltenham, didn't he? They eased him off. He didn't get the chance to come to Aintree last year, as we know. He is some animal. We'll be giving him a full debrief for you and others. Carl Wilkes out there, great to have you on. Frizzy Red joins the party, says, get in. Frizzy Red, well named on National Day, of course. The Liverpudlians will still be having a great time up there, no doubt, in Aintree land. Yeah, superb, happy days. Favourite wins the Stayers Hurdle then. And the two coming clear. It's just a shame about Paisley, isn't it? And I was with him, but he just dropped all the way out. He's had heart issues before. We'll try and get the post-race quotes from the guys on the track. We're around about 45 minutes, we hope, from getting Lee Mottershead on the show, who's been up there all week at Aintree for us. We're 2 races away from the Grand National, but let's concentrate on this day at Zodal because it was a very eventful race.
It was a bizarre race, wasn't it? I mean, like I said, it was about 5 races in one because Vindication galloped on relentlessly out in front. Emma Tom had his heart broken. He's dropped out at the back of the telly. Everything else, I mean, on the blind side was sort of the third front runner of the main pack, and that horse has dropped out. Diol Kerr was the next one who came through. That one's finished nowhere. So if you got involved in any of those early exchanges, you were done for, weren't you? And Time Hill and Roxana on the inside, getting plenty of cover, and those were the 2 that came through. But Thomas Darby's run another good race. He's run an itchy feet. Thomas Darby running on for a place.
Not another one.
Angle.
Not another one for them.
Yeah, but the 2 they were buried mid-pack. The first 2, they got plenty of cover. They came down the inside of the hurdles track.
Turning in Roxana. I mean, this is why I said about Crown Jewels. I mean, he knows he's only got Time Hill to beat, doesn't he? And you couldn't at all say that Harry went too soon, Keith. But
absolutely not.
Time Hill, has hit the flat spot and just. I mean, if anything, he's had maybe a blow. Could I say that?
I don't know.
He looked beat though, didn't he? She looked like she had her measure. Yeah. Barry thought he had Indefatigable on the inside. He's absolutely gone for everything.
Was not in the picture.
She quickens real smart. What a mare this is. I thought she would have had a bit too much.
You would have thought here that she has won. I'm watching this now for the first time.
I bet they're kicking themselves not running in the stayers, aren't they? I bet they're kicking themselves.
Made a second last. She made an absolute hames of the second last, didn't she?
Yeah.
So that's cost her.
But it was always the case, wasn't it, that Time Hill was meant to be the speed horse in the Paisley Park matchup. He'd done him for speed at Newbury.
Yes.
He got caught at Ascot.
He
for
did.
Stamina.
They were on levels that day again, though, weren't they? So
you would not have expected him to come back like that on
Beautiful
that basis
animal.
purely. But he's really battled on there. He clearly does stay the 3 miles extremely well. They know next season they don't have to ride him for a turn of pace anymore. They can just ride him in the most uncomplicated manner possible because that was a performance marked by stamina more than speed, which is not something we've necessarily seen from him before.
I think the ground's got to have a huge thing as well, hasn't it?
I spoke to Philip Hobbs about this ground preference for Time Hill, and I said, "What if you could have anything going into the Stayers Hurdle? What would be perfect?" He said, "Anything but heavy, basically."
Yeah,
he's fine on soft ground, and he as we know, he bounces off the good ground. Did he win at Worcester a bumper, didn't he, on what was proper sort of summery ground, and he skipped. I know it was inferior opposition, but he absolutely skipped off that. What do we do with Time Hill?
Win the Stayers next year.
We just go for the Stayers, do we?
Hurdle, yeah, absolutely.
No temptation to send him over, do you think? He'll be an 8-year-old when he says.
Yeah,
he missed the boat a bit.
He's quite a low jumper as well, isn't he, already? So he's a habitual hurdler already.
I think we can quite
Paisley Park's pulled up
categorically
out.
Yeah, well, again, third wins run no sort of race whatsoever either. He looked like a horse that might have had something gone amiss as well. Looking out for some of the also rans as well out the back.
Vindication goes out like a light. At the Caffettes, I don't think he was ever comfortable. He was off
That's the one I'm trying to find.
Doors.
Yeah. William Henry went in snatches from the start, didn't he? Quite a lazy way of running. Dilkjær was disappointing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was disappointing. Although, like I said, I think if you look at the ones that got involved with that hot early pace, I mean, the closest any of them have finished is on the blind side, who's finished 6th. Diol Kerr was next, kind of on.
Maybe ground for him. Just looking at his profile, that would have caught him out, but maybe a touch. He's been running on hock deep winter ground.
Possibly, yeah. But like I said, I just think the closers kind of dominated, and he was, like I said, it was a new ask for him today, Diol Kerr. Yeah. It was a step up in grade for him, and he's got another year. I mean, they've got Beacon Edge, who I thought was a bit the eye catcher in the Stayers because it never seemed to run at any point. Seemed to expend its energy in all the wrong parts of the race. Yeah. So I think next year Stayer's not going to be too bad because you'll have Flooring Ball coming back. You're going to have Time Hill. You'll have your Beacon Edge, and depending on what steps out the novice hurdle form, I don't know what they're going to do with Vanillier, but
won yesterday, of course, over 3 miles.
The Lucinda horse.
Yeah,
Ahoy Sonor and
Brave Man's Game.
Brave Man's Game will be going.
Yeah, you would think so.
But
soaring over mountains.
You don't often have in that staying hurdle division more than one good horse, really. But
Yeah.
now...
No, it's nice, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's been dominated by your clear horses, hasn't it? I've watched Paisley Park was one year. Hope he's all right. Let's hear from Emma and the Velvet team. We'll be getting you all the post-race quotes later on. Don't forget, of course, 9 o'clock tonight, the digital edition. This year's national winner will be on the front page. Next year's, maybe we will have a new Tiger Roll turning up. No Tiger Roll this year, of course, but what a national we've got. 2 races away. Well, 1 race away we are now, of course, from that. We've got the 4:15 coming up. We've had 3 races so far here on RP Live. It has not disappointed, chaps, has it, at all?
No, well, in a way, Shishkin's disappointed a little bit. That's the only disappointment. The one we thought would be...
But from a spectacle, everyone thought it was going to be, turn up, giving the prize walkover. It's been an exciting day,
We had
isn't
a
it?
finish. We did, yeah. And we've seen an incredible horse in My Drogo. The opening handicap hurdle was, Stuart Edmonds landed another touch in a good race, and we've just seen an absolute ding-dong finish there. I was just having a look back at 2019. I was like, who finished in the place? And I was like, oh, of course, Roxana. Pressed to lead narrowly near finish, headed last strides again.
But that was on really, really soft ground. It took her a season to get over that. She has been, I think, one of the favourites of this season. She's danced almost every dance, hasn't she? She's gone against mares. She's turned up at Cheltenham.
Like I said before, she's the one you rate every race she runs in through.
Yes. Oh, yes.
She never runs a bad race.
Yeah. On the blind side was a little bit back there as well, so it should be a fairly easy RPR race for the handicappers to rate. Absolutely fantastic scenes here on Racing Post Live. Let's get some more viewer interaction on the screen, please. Who have we got coming up? Cormac Devine comes on and says, thoughts on Snow Leopardess?
I'm going to let you have this one, Dave.
Well, I think you ought to, because this is I have given this to Keith. And
Yes.
yesterday we were chatting about this race, weren't we? And I said to Keith, actually today as well, in the old analysis department, race form where I used to be, and we used to have our own little formulas each year and all that sort of stuff. Whatever ran in this up-and-coming 4:15 and tick certain boxes with "There's your future national horse." Don't Push It was in it. One for Arthur. Saint R second in the national. These are future national horses. These, and I really like Snow Leopardess as a mare. I followed her throughout her career. She took time to warm to fences. When she won at Haydock in that handicap, she got absolutely out with the wash and came with the run. She's as game as they come. When she pushed Canelo close, this is my tip, by the way, if anyone's guessing, so thank you, Cormac. I'm with you all the way on this. Snow Leopardess, I think this is nap of the day, very much so, actually. Good to see a little bit of money for her as well. When she was second in the Roland Merrick, Canelo, do you remember, came there absolutely swinging under Tom Bellamy for Alan King of the JP colours, and you thought, she's going to be... She gave him the fright of his life. She kept going all the way. They then roughed her off, basically. I think they ummed and ahed with a prep run before the National Hunt Chase, the big staying race for the novices at the Cheltenham Festival. And I thought she was a little bit rusty there. You're agreeing with me on this, obviously. This is your tip. And
I do, yeah.
You've heard reason and agreed with it.
Sort of, yeah. I knew you fancied her heavily yesterday, so I went away and looked at the race myself later on and thought, yeah, actually, I don't really fancy much in this race, but I really do fancy her. She was involved in that 3 mile 6 race at Cheltenham for, 3 mile and a bit. And then it was either fitness or stamina that found her out, but neither will be an issue here. That was high 150s form going on in front of her. She's running off 138 here. She was getting £7 that day, but had she finished close, had she managed to keep tabs on them up the hill, and I think it was stamina or fitness rather than class that stopped her doing so, she's run to high 140s. So she's chucked in, basically. And I think in a race that I don't fancy an awful lot in here, she looked like a really, really good each-way bet at getting on for double figures.
Yes, thank you very much, Keith. Very coherently put. So Keith goes in there as well. Ross Brierley, come on. Is this going to be a down-the-panel tip?
I think it is, yeah.
Oh.
I thought she ran a blinder at Cheltenham. She was out there on the speed, which I think is definitely going to suit in this race. She's a novice who we've barely seen in handicap company, and the 2 handicaps she has run in, she's won one and she's run an absolute blinder in defeat in the other. So I agree. I backed her at Cheltenham a bit decor irlandais. I backed her to finish in the 4. I thought she was the overpriced one, and as the 3 kicked clear, I was looking behind to see if she kept going, and she did keep going really well. And like you said, she was getting the mare's allowance, but. The horses who finished behind her were rated mid 140s. Horse in front of them rated low to mid 150s. So I thought it was a fairly warm contest. Remember, you had a couple of horses who were potentially going for other races who turned up for that, and it was a good race.
I think despite the Escaria 10 pulled up in the Irish National, I think that was, I would totally forgive him that.
Yeah.
The next destination was a horse that I really liked that finished
Brooks
second.
Trophy next year, maybe National this time next year.
They were. Just because one horse
Galvin,
badly
classy
in an
animal.
Irish Grand National, I wouldn't be marking that form down at all. I think that's good form. It's mid to high 150s form on the RPR scale.
She has run at this meeting before. She was 5th in the Mayor's Bumper on soft ground on a second start. She's been over to Auteuil. Won a hurdles race there. Listen, she had a little hold up, didn't she? That's why she's a 9-year-old novice chaser, basically. But I think if all goes well here, Cormac.
She had a foal. She didn't have a hold.
That's it. Of course, she had a foal. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. So Charlie Longsdon, Brian Hughes. She's going to come on for the run. No problems with the ground. Touchwood, great jumper. Snow Leopardess all the way. Barry couldn't make it a 4-timer, could you?
No, sorry, lads. No, I think she's just a little bit sketchy sometimes over the bigger obstacles. I like Calypso Collinage in it, win and place. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have 25 quid win on him and 25 quid in the place. I'm happy to be a price taker in both first-time cheek pieces. I know they would have liked a little bit more rain for him, but I'm willing to take a chance at the price. He's a massive price. He's 30 on the win part. Like I said, first-time cheek pieces, pulled up behind Secret Reprieve in the Welsh National. That's the only really blot in his copybook. He's a remarkably consistent horse outside of that. He's second to Lord de Mesnil in the Tommy Whittle. He was 4th in the Beechers, 3rd in Sandown, and hit the last that day. He's just a really, really consistent horse, and he sneaks in here. He's rated 128, sneaks in off 10 stone with Sean Bone in the plate, and I think he's a really decent win and place bet.
Interesting, Barry Orr playing for charity. Don't remind you, safe gambling is our MO on this show. It's all for fun, basically. Have your bets. If you're winning, all good. And Wayne Taylor comes on and says, Barry Orr mentions charity. Which charity is it, and how can we donate? It is Greatwood. Get into Google, you'll find it. It's for the retired and injured racehorses. Basically, they do a phenomenal job each year. Go if you're having a great day. I've said it. If you're having a great week, great month. Just want to donate a little bit. That's what it's all about. We've been doing really well, thanks to Barry and Betfair, with the charities along the way. So, Wayne, it is the Greatwood Institution. Go out onto Google and you will find that. Good stuff. A really nice link that was. Calypso Collange, interesting horse. Ran a lot better than the facts looked, I think, when he took in the national fences and pulled up, of course, in the Welsh National. And yeah, he's a horse that I have got a bit of time for. So, off a featherweight, I'm not going to throw that one out of bed. OK, so we're all on Snow Leopardess.
I thought there was 3 horses stood out a bit of a mile to me, and they all ran at Cheltenham. And like I said, I looked at this race this morning, and a bit like Keith. I thought, well, I really don't fancy a lot. Happy Go Lucky is the clear and obvious.
Yeah, we've got to go in and talk about him now. It's not really been the week they've been expecting, maybe the Bailey and Bass team, has it?
No, I mean, we've just seen a very strange ride in hindsight on Vindication. Espoir de Rome, had every chance of winning that race when coming down the other day. And 2 for Goal, I fancied in the top, and then the starter completely ruined that one's chances because he was lining up in front, and then he was 20th when they eventually ended up jumping off. So they've had a very frustrating week. Ajero was disappointing. It's not gone well for them at all. But this horse is potentially a really nice type. I mean, he's a 7-year-old. We haven't seen a lot of him. His handicap form is pretty good, and he travelled all over them at Cheltenham. And I wonder, I just wonder whether it was his first run since December. They kept him fresh for that, but I wonder whether he's actually going to come on for that run.
They
did that last year with Vindication, didn't they? He was safe for Cheltenham, and then afterwards they said, "Oh, actually, we left him a bit short."
Yeah, exactly.
In the Ultima, which of course is where this chap ran at the Cheltenham Festival, and he was the anti-post Gamble, wasn't he? Everyone at the start of the week was the horse that was out in that race, Lieutenant Rocco. He went into. But
why is he not running in this?
Who? Lieutenant
Rocco is out for the
season.
He's
probably got. I would imagine he's got a few muscle issues probably still, isn't it? Was it back issues? I can't remember exactly why he was out of that. Nick Mitchell's horse, but
only 3 weeks ago, of course.
Look, he's got. If you're with Happy Go Lucky here at 5, I've got no problems with Happy Go Lucky whatsoever. If we won this, we'd all go, yeah, nice horse. Very consistent. Still had that mileage as a novice. It's a price thing, right, Keith? Because he couldn't beat Vintage Clouds, veteran. It was easily beaten. So if he was going to be that Ultima that is a Vindication, that sort of graded horse of the future, he had to really be winning that for my money.
Possibly, and
no excuses, were there?
Well, Vintage Clouds was
Apart from maybe if he needed it, because it was 3 months. So that's what in the back of my mind was that his excuse. That was my.
I mean, he's beaten I Wright by nearly 3 lengths at the third. I Wright's been hard fit from running in some tremendous races in big handicaps.
Solid handicap form.
If you fancy taking risks later, the I Wright is also a big line through that form.
Absolutely. And
he's been put up £2 for the Ultima second, basically. We've got a top RPR racing post rate of 153. Look, he's a young horse, maybe comes on for it. I'm happy to think that that's high enough.
His mixed pedigree is a bit of a thing for me, going on these Grimstaying trips. Not Grimstay, but he's a 3 mile one race. He has basically...
He's a Jezza, isn't he? He's a Jeremy.
Yeah, but the dam side is probably 60-40 flat.
Yeah.
And Bishop of Cashel is the damn side.
Kindle-like debut as the Nick Lipmoden all-weather Lingfield specialist.
Yeah, that's not a pedigree that says to me it's going to keep improving as a 3 mile chaser necessarily. It's something that I don't particularly like.
A bit lukewarm on the fav at the price, aren't we?
He's got a chance, but
let's go through the other market hopefuls as well for people out there. Keep your selections coming in for this race. We've still got 15 minutes, so I think we can get them in. And of course, the teas. Don't forget, we've got Lee Mottershead coming on the line. We think at 4:30, Lee will be coming on to give us all the vibes, pre-national, and of course what's happened so far. Seen some worldies, haven't we? So let's hope that Lee gives us some pearls as usual. In fact, social interaction up on the screen. The Lee brothers are on form today. Frizzy Red comes back in and says, Spirit of the Game's in the next. Seamless, Rob. This horse deserves a big win. Skelton's horse is running great today as well. Yeah, they've had 2 winners on the week, haven't they? Two top winners. This chap is... one word for Spirit of the Games. Let's warm up for our pin stickers guide. Cliff.
Word. Soft.
Yeah. All right. So listen, Frizzy, we're being a bit.
I think we're still in the
negative.
play spot, but this horse is a real play spot horse, really. You'll travel into it, and then,
are we still in the play spot? We've had a team play spot today.
I thought we
were going the stairs. Didn't we say it was a wide open race and put half the field in and went out?
Did we not?
Didn't have Roxana?
No, did we not? Oh, anyway, we mustn't digress.
Anyway,
you could say the crushing moment when the team realises we're out of the place.
We've seen about £2 so far, but
yeah, that's true enough. But Spirit of the Game is a horse that travels into races, and he gets asked, and he goes,
"Yeah,
there's more." Yeah. And but
very versatile horse. Let's concentrate on the positives.
Absolutely.
Still off a handicap mark, and win off.
He could easily get placed in this race. Definitely, definitely see that.
And 15-2, I guess when he got a clear mark, he can in races like this often go off a little bit shorter. He'll be ridden cold. Harry Skelton will be full of confidence, having won and finished second in the 2 races that he's had so far. Oh, of course, they had the Longhouse sale, didn't they? That didn't really fire. But listen, Harry's full of himself. He's probably going to be champion jockey. Ooh, dare I say? Come on, Brian Hughes, you can get one back here. What do you reckon? Are we expecting this to just be...
He's 2's on, isn't he, Harry Skelton? And it's just... I mean, Brian Hughes has got the whole of the North. No, he's just the king of the North.
King of the North,
so,
brilliant.
Sean Bean of...
Sean. Well, that's another Game of Thrones reference, is it? I never watched that, so it's totally lost on me.
Seen Bean, yeah.
He's, I don't know who will. I think, the assumption is that the Skeltons are going to throw everything at it, but Brian Hughes can pick and choose what he wants in the North, so... It'll be a proxy war, really. They probably won't, apart from the Saturdays, they won't run against each other again.
No, he's going to be there's going to be 5 to 6, 1 to 2 shots in selling hurdles and novice hurdles and all sorts of stuff for Harry Skelton.
Yeah, that's the Jockeys Championship. Great narrative up until the Sandown meeting, of course, later on in the season. We're expecting that to be a right old tussle. Mally Draycott comes back on and says, Cloudy Glen each way if he has got over Cheltenham. Barry Orr, I want to come to you with Cloudy Glen because I've got a feeling you put this chap up. Do you remember we covered Fontwell? Was it Fontwell early in the start of the season when he came back? I'm sure you put this up, Barry, when it won. This Cloudy Glen. It was in November. It was on the 15th of November. We were doing the open meeting. Paul Keeley, Bruce Millington was sitting in. It was Cheltenham. We also went down to the Southern National Handicap Chase. If you've forgotten, I'm telling you, I'm sure you put up Cloudy Glen.
No, I did put him up, yeah, 100%, yeah. And he won doing handsprings, didn't he? It was a funny sort of ride. Charlie Deutsch rode him that day, yeah. Yeah, I did put him up. He's not a horse that's on my radar now for this race, and he wasn't on my radar for Cheltenham. I meant I'd have got up and beat him in Cheltenham, wasn't it? The horse that traded at 1,000 in running. Yeah. No, he's not a horse on my radar here at all. But yeah, we put him up that day. That was during the November meeting in Cheltenham.
I wonder if Cloudy Glen wins this in the silks of cloth cap, etc. Whether that would, people would start to get excited. Then cloth cap would probably. It's amazing how that happens, isn't it? But
I think Burrow Saint was popular this morning.
Are we looking at a future national horse here in Cloudy Glen? Do we think
he's a bit mad, isn't he? He's
a bit in and out,
a bit keen.
He's a character.
Yes,
but again, they turned cloth cap round in a season, so.
Well, suggesting cheap pieces and bouncing out from the front next year, and he'll get into a national.
Possibly.
142. Would you struggle to get a national off that in a minute?
That's really as a cusp at the moment.
Yeah,
it's on the secret reprieve.
Yeah,
Mark,
you're on the bubble there.
So win this and then hunt round for the winter to get in next year off nights.
So look,
it's always
if he's over Cheltenham, then
the best possible placing, of course.
It's fair to say
we can't be making. That's making a run for our own backs. We've got the Grand National next.
Yeah.
A lot of horses there.
Let's not have a ridden for a place in that place because there'll be about 20 of them. But Cloudy Glen, talented, probably still got a bit of leeway in that mark of 142. Sorry, if he's over it, he definitely bumped into one at Cheltenham, didn't he? Talking of characters, we've got a few in here, haven't we?
You've got one of my favourite characters.
Tell us why.
Hold the Note is a horse that there's some horses I think I instead of studying the form and having bets several days a week, I might just get a list of 2 or 3 and then have all the money I would normally bet on those other races and just have them on it to do the thing they always do. And Hold the Note always runs on to place when it's too late in very good races, as he did behind Mount Ida, where he just plugs on and on and on. I mean, I wonder, given the way he runs, whether he might be a future national horse of just plugging on, and whatever test you give him, he will just relentlessly stay on when it's all over. And I think he might well do so again here today. I think he's only 7 years old. He's been running against some good horses.
He's another Jezza, another Jeremy.
He is. It's only his 4th handicap start, and his novice runs are behind Next Destination, Shan Blue, and Happy Go Lucky. And last time out, that was his first proper test over a trip in a handicap. He got beaten 20 lengths behind Mount Ida, but I think he will. Like I said, he's 4, 5. What is he? 5 places. There's a 5-place market here. I think
there definitely will be. Yeah.
He is about 6-4 to finish in the 5.
Okay, and you think that's a near good thing, do you?
It's just what he does all the time, and he puts in repeatedly good speed figures as well because he runs in good races. So. He's another one you can kind of rate the form around, but I think, me included, have kind of pegged him as a certain kind of horse, but he still is only 7. I might have a little bit on the winning just in case he does come rattling home, but I think he had to go in the play spot, which we may or may not be in.
Which we're thinking we probably are now out of. Okay, here's some other horses to mention after some more viewer interaction. Let's have a look who we've got coming up on the screen. Time for Neil Francis to get a mention. Neil, welcome along on Grand National Saturday. Fagan, to pick their pockets, or 2. Happy days, and I'm glad you mentioned this. It's like we're in sync today, boys in the gallery. The Millwall brothers, I'll tell you what, they know me. Fagan was going to be my next horse to speak about. Alex Hales having a real good finish to the season. Came good for Alex at Newbury. It was a bridal. I bet the second that day as well. I know it so well. Who was it? Let's remember myself.
Uro Branco.
Ah, yes, Uro Branco went clear that day, did a bit of a vindication. And Fagan came there under Harry Bannister. I think it was Harry that was on that day. And he won very, very well indeed. You'll remember that this used to be a Ronnie Bartlett. It was basically Galvin, wasn't he? They aimed him at the National. He didn't get in.
He went a favourite for the 2018 Scottish National, this horse.
There you go. I wonder.
He was reserve for the actual Grand National, wasn't he? I can't remember which reserve, but he was a reserve for the big one.
He was, and Scottish National next Saturday. We think because there is certain.
Of course, yes.
So keep you posted on what's happening with Prince Philip's funeral. Of course, we're not sure exactly whether there'll be sport going ahead next Saturday or not. Keep you posted on that. Fagan, though, how much has he gone up for this, guys?
He's gone up
10.
A whopping £10.
And it was really bad ground that day, and I think he was the horse that handled it best. It wasn't even that strong a race.
He has won on good ground. He has, but he handled it in a weak race. He handled it best last time, I thought, and to get £10 for that, it puts him in it makes him have to be the horse he was and some at the age of 11.
So I personally wouldn't have him for that reason. But
What's his first win on heavy? That I remember doing the analysis comment from. That's what I wrote. First win on heavy. Well, I think he won despite the guns. I don't know. Fagan, I could see him going well. I think he'll like the way the race sets up. What have we got coming up next on the screen? Paul Hayward. Hey, Paul. Lalor to place. I tell you once again, we're in sync. It's like literally. It's like honestly. It's like Paul Daniels has re-emerged. Now then.
Now then. No, hold on. Whoa, I got darker all of a sudden.
Hang on, I got the wrong old character. Lalor.
I cannot believe you've...
Is it Lalor?
I can't believe you've exercised Jimmy Settle.
The mind went all over the place. Mind readers, whoever they are. I should have said Uri Geller, shouldn't I? All of a sudden, spoons will start betting.
Anything at all.
I think it's time for you to...
Hey, hang on a minute. I'm not the one that mentioned their machine earlier. Is it Lalor or Laylor? Come on.
I would go Laylor, I think.
Won the bumper, of course, at this meeting all those years ago, looking like an absolute worldie. He's a very talented horse on his day, isn't he? Chris Cook, in his front runner email, you members out there will get that each day. Excellent new addition to the Racing Post members section. He did a great piece with Katie Woolacott, didn't he, about Lalor, the course winner, coming back here.
Yeah, he was potentially going to be a bit of a second coming, wasn't he, for a while? He was setting off odds-on favourites for the Sandown Novices behind Dynamite Dollars. He won the top Novices here, fairly comfortable at a big price.
He won in the Arkle, something tells me he did. Because all those times, do you remember he ran in the Arkle? He pulled up behind Duke to Geneva, wasn't he?
That was the year where everything ploughed through every fence apart from the winner, didn't it?
Yeah.
And the winner
hasn't won a race since.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Although
he did run quite well yesterday.
But he's a Grade 1 novice hurdle winner here, and I wouldn't so much worry about fitness that much. Aidan Coleman's on, Katie Woolacott.
It's just age again for me a bit. We're seeing younger horses coming to the fore. And
we've tipped a 9-year-old.
He's bred for the flat on the dam side.
Fair. Harry's laughing. Yeah, he's fair. It's absolutely fair. But she had a year a bit off.
The springer in the market has been John B.
John B.
Johnny Burke in the plate.
I tell you what, everyone's a mind reader today because that was going to be the next horse I talk about, Barry. I mean, we're getting down. The list is getting smaller.
Yeah.
I'm glad you call me a mind reader and not Debbie McGee.
That's again. Okay, so John BB, or is it John? Is it John BB?
John BB?
No, John B.
John B. Just John B. Despite the fact there's two B's at the end of his name.
The silent B, the middle one.
Is it?
Yeah. One of the B's is silent. But it's your choice, which, Dave?
Okay, all right. I'll go for the end one.
Yeah.
Tom Lacey won this race a couple of years ago with Thomas Patrick, who was then heavily fancied for a Ladbrokes trophy. Paul Keeley likes this horse. He
does, and he's only just gone up to 2.5 miles sort of distance recently. I think he is more of a sort of 2.5 miler than shorter.
Yes.
Whether he gets 3 is, I would say, likely but not certain. And I wouldn't be... He was sort of one of these horses that was on the list, but even when I was looking at this race, I had a guaranteed stare that I knew was well handicapped in Snow Leopardess that was 2 points bigger. So he was never going to be top of my short list.
He's a popular horse, though, Keith, isn't he? He often goes off, near favouritism in his races, isn't he?
He does. He's a horse that I've never really got right, to be quite honest with you. So you maybe don't want to listen to me on this horse, because there's some horses that you see immediately and you can peg, but John B is a horse that I haven't managed to do that with. He has a chance. He would be on the short list, but he's not the best in the race for me.
Okay. All right. Well, we know what the bet is. Team bet, basically, across the panel. We all fancy Snow Leopardess. Barry taking on with Barry, remind us.
Calypso Clon Large.
Ah, yes. A real flyer for Ollie Murphy, Betfair ambassador out there.
And like I said, my hold the notes religious running on.
Yeah, I think it's the first thing you mentioned today when you came was hold the note, wasn't it?
It's just something about these horses that just do the same thing over and over and over again, and you just know what you're going to get from them. And
you went straight to the place market.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the Barry was saying the functionality of the exchange. There's always an angle.
Yeah. What about A versus B markets? We've not mentioned this, have we? What's the A versus B's in the match bets, Barry, in this race?
Yeah, it's top notch against Cloudy Glen. So top notch 4-5, 11-10 Cloudy Glen, and the second A versus B market is top notch at 11-10 against Spirit of the Games, who's 10-9 on.
He ran a belter last time, top notch, didn't he?
He was the one at Cheltenham. I think it was about 2 from home. I think I sort of went top notch, like the top notch.
It was in the Shunters race, wasn't it? I think we all did that.
It was a bit like, oh, wow, OK, fair enough.
Could be a boost for Farclas running in the National, of course. The former Triumph winner running in the National.
Well, the form's not the thing with Farclas, is it? You know, if the National was decided simply on form, Farclas should be 8-1.
Yeah, fair, yeah. He's running to a Grade 1 horse in handicap. The last time Top Notch ran at Aintree, he ran on to lead in the last 25 yards.
I was with him that day.
And he beat Roxana.
Of course. I was with him that day. And he has run at the festival here before, over fences, as a novice.
He miled me.
Oh, it was the mild, mate. Oh, where is it? I'm looking for it. Pulled up behind Min. He's definitely...
He's got beaten...
Hang on a minute.
He got beat behind Flying Angel in the manifesto.
Oh, yeah, OK, that's it. There you go. That's the one I was looking for. Absolutely. Yeah. So, look, he's a wonderful little horse.
He's practically a Grade 1 horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, for a horse with... I love these 4-year-olds that come from France and they show so much as a juvenile, you know, your Defi de Soys, etc. And they stay and they keep giving. That's one of the great things about jump racing. Henderson's so good with these horses. And Luca Morgan claiming 7. The fact he's keeping this ride shows you that we've got another exciting talent in the saddle. Right, we are an hour away from the Grand National. Unbelievable scenes here on Racing Post Live. 40 runners going to post for the National. Here we have the Cool 13. We're hoping Snow Leopardess comes out on top of the 4:15. After this race, we'll be giving the debrief, post analysis, story of the race. Hopefully celebrating a winner or two for you out there. And of course, we will then be going social mad. We will be getting viewer interaction all over the place after a call from Lee Mottersett and the one word pin stickers guide. Let's hope I haven't bigged this up too much, guys. Do not disappoint.
Definitely
me.
have.
I definitely have. I definitely have. OK, good luck wherever you're playing in the 4:15. That's the other thing. We're going to take a bit of the National each to call, aren't we? But until that, 4:15 with Ross Brierley.
They're off on racing then as they turn into the home straight at what looks a fairly good clip as they try and settle down for early leaders. Kilfillan Cross jumps across a couple of them. Out the back we have the White Cap and the Hemming Silks of Cloudy Glen, who... I think if Cloth Cap is lined up where he is, there'll be a lot of punters who are disgruntled later on. John B is on the outside of Kilfillan Cross, then Fagan, then Top Notch. Hold the Note on the inside. Spirit of the Games plough through that one, and Cloudy Glen doesn't look to be on a going day at all, unless this is the plan. Hold the Note, remarkably, if he runs on like he normally does, he'll win by off the track. He's in third. Behind those, we've got Snow Leopardess on the inside of all the gin joints on the outside of that one. Mr. Whipped. And the favourite, Happy Go Lucky, is also in a nice position, although didn't jump that particularly well.
I don't like the position of Snow Leopardess at all from Brian Hughes. I think I don't know what the plan is. I mean, it's very Brian Hughes-like, isn't it, to go quietly on the inside. It's a novice already. She's been crowded, and I don't know, what's she gone out? She must have gone right out.
Yeah, he's had a look down. He's had a look down at her, but she's still trading at 9.8 on the exchange.
Yeah, okay.
The two round at Cheltenham who've got solid form, like I said, Happy Go Lucky and Hold the Note are in lovely positions. They're not going a mad gallop. Laylaw and Kilfillan Cross are out in front, taking each other on a little bit. John B is 3 wide, then Fagan, Mr. Whipped.
We haven't mentioned Mr. Whipped, have we? That is a really interesting horse.
For 2 years.
No, but he was due to run, wasn't he?
Days.
I think Graham Rodway put him up in the training section of the paper. He was really keen on him on his comeback. So interesting debutant that for Brian Addison and Grand National jockey, winning jockey Ryan Mania.
Yeah, but these two, Kilfillan Cross then and Laylaw, are eyeballing each other, or at least they would be if Kilfillan Cross could see Laylaw with that headgear on. Out the back, Cloudy Glen just hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. Spirit of the Game's doing what he normally does and switches off and will run on as well. But Kilfillan Cross, who, of course, is a regular in the Kim Muir nearly every year. He's got there's a lot of Grand National form that has his name in
Milan native, any second now.
Yeah. So Kilfillan Cross, he's quite a hard horse to get past on his day, and I think he's sort of 25 to 1 in running. He must have been a lot bigger at the start, Barry.
Yeah, he's a Betfair SP of 45. He's traded as high as 60 pre-race, Ross.
Yeah, so he's shortened up a little bit, but Kilfillan Cross, then Laylaw, like I said, Cloudy Glen out last, and Hold the Note and Happy Go Lucky are sat in nice positions.
Yeah, Happy Go Lucky's the big shorter, Ross. 3.25 now, has a Betfair SP of 4, but seems to have the box seat there, the favourite, doesn't he?
He's tanking along, Keith, isn't he?
It's where you choose to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. But is he doing a little bit too much? I mean, if you're on Fagan, you're happy that you've got that target, haven't you, to aim at, who's right behind him as well. Lalaw's gone really well, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I like to see that on a horse that's coming back. Don't meddle them about out the back. Get them a good sight. Let's see what they've got.
Absolutely, and so far Lalo's answered every question. At the back, Calypso Collonge didn't jump that particularly well and is just ridden to keep up with the ones immediately in front of him. Spirit of the Games of all the gin joints. As so far, it's been fairly uneventful.
He's going all right of all the gin joints, one of the bigger outsiders.
Yeah, he's a massive horse, and he's a horse that might have a bit more to give next season. I thought this might be a bit too competitive for him. The 4 miler at, or the old 4 miler at Cheltenham certainly was, but I think this horse still has a bit to give next year.
Well, of all the horses, you look down the field and you see his gleaming coat, and he looks like one of the best lookers in the field. But Happy Go Lucky is in the perfect sit here. Like I said, you said to you earlier that this is the horse who's a rock solid favourite.
You can't. You're happy, aren't you? I think at this point, if you're on that,
running.
The market is obviously bearing that out, Barry. Or he's around about the 2-1 mark, right?
Yeah, 296 at the moment now. Lawler is 7.6. Kilfinnan Cross 17 now. With your favourite very very strong at 2 now on the exchange. Into 7-4 as I speak.
Spirit of the Games. He's just been not having a cut, Keith. If you have a look, that means he's been fiddling his fences basically.
Yep, he's a couple of them. He's got into notably tight. So yeah, it's not. You would think off the back of that he'll do well to get involved actually.
Okay, all right, then back to Ross Brierley. Then we're on the far side.
We are indeed. I'm just reminded again. Happy Go Lucky. I said he had a perfect sit at Cheltenham, and he was beaten by a front-running veteran in the shape of Vintage Clouds. So far, he's got a front-running veteran to aim for, Kilfillan Cross. However, Laylor is making him go through a few gears here as they up the speed. And Kilfillan Cross just steadies into that one a little bit. Not his greatest jump. Happy Go Lucky is still jumping soundly. John B is ridden to keep up with the pace. Top Notch still going quite well. Hold the note plodding along at his one solid gear, and Laylor takes over. Happy Go Lucky, Kilfillan Cross might well have done his running, although he has come back to the front now. Spirit of the Game's travelling ominously well. Cloudy Glen's never been travelling. Snow Leopardess switched noticeably wide.
Good move that by Hughes.
To get out of the ruck on the inside.
About time.
And Calypso Collonge as well. Despite being ridden along, Barry, your big price selection here is starting to come into it.
Aye, Barry. Here we go.
This is completely up for grabs. But Happy Go Lucky, I imagine, is still one favourite.
Favourite into 11-10 now, Ross. 7 Top Notch, 8 Spirit of the Games, and 6 Lawler.
Yeah,
not discount Snow Leopardess. Now she's been switched. Is it too late for her? Perhaps. Okay, hold the note. He's going backwards, Ross. You didn't want to see that. Okay, Layla, what's he got? Is he fit or not? We'll find out.
Spirit of the Games has come right into it.
Yeah, and of all the gin joints, has got to have a chance as well. Travelling very well into it for the Tizzards, who could do with a winner.
Calypso Collonge, Barry's absolutely cruising.
Barry's screaming for this. Happy Go Lucky is in a terrible position. As
he put down.
That wasn't a good jump. Of all the gin joints, it's a big danger. Here comes Top Notch. Happy Go Lucky has had a perfect run through and now gets the gap. Happy Go Lucky, this is his moment. Will he go through it and take on Top Notch? He should be winning from here. Happy Go Lucky jumps it next to Top Notch.
Of all the gin joints.
Calypso Collonge and Spirit of the Games running on. But Happy Go Lucky looks to have plenty in hand. John B is still in front though. Happy Go Lucky. Dave said he might not be the stayer that he looked on paper. Is he going to go through with it, or is John B going to outstay him? Spirit of the Games running on for a place again, but Happy Go Lucky has hit the front. Lovely jump there.
Can't keep a good man down, David Bass.
And Kim Bailey has his winner as Happy Go Lucky streaks clear to win fairly comfortably in the end. John B is coming back to narrow the margin. Spirit of the Games is holding on for third. Calypso Collonge, is he going to get there for a place? He finishes fourth. But Happy Go Lucky has pretty much hacked up there.
It was eventful, wasn't it? A messy, tight race, and then class just came to the fore. Listen, lots of people, Keith, looked at this horse and they thought, what am I missing here? What am I missing here? It was a price thing. Congratulations if you just kept it simple. You're having a great day today. If you have been following the market, that was an impressive finish. Yeah, every favourite.
Every favourite as well.
Every favourite so far. Wow. Cloth cap coming up in the National in around about an hour's time. The omens
Barry,
are there.
Do the sportsbook result, does that affect how much does that affect you? We're talking about the exchange here, but I mean sports.
I'm all right. I'm all right, thankfully. Rather, I'm not dependent on that for a living.
1-1-1-1-1 then so far for the favourites. It's Grand National Saturday. You are probably thinking this game is simple at times. And he got the gap, Keith, didn't he? He was saying the engine was there. Luckily, he's had a non-stayer, I think. Well, not a non-stayer, but a doubtful stayer up against him at the last. And he's just come away and
barely got home, hasn't he, John B?
Created at 6-4.
Yeah, because he's off the bridle down the back. And then I think it's because it's been the test of sort of speed to really get those positions. It's suited horses with that little bit of pace, which have been John BB, flatbred Happy Go Lucky, and you've ended up those two have gone clear, and horses like Calypso Collonge have stayed on having been outpaced and made that mistake, 3 out I think it was. I was watching all the gin joints. He got a couple of shouts up the straight. I think that horse might get his wind done over the summer and come back and be quite interesting in a sort of Class 2-ish level type handicap in the autumn, because that was quite an eye-catching run.
Oh, he's gone, considering he was a bit rusty and he had stamina to prove, it's a bigger run than yeah.
Your head was a bit high as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his wind done.
We'll have a W next to his name, says Keith Melrose. Can I see that?
Of all the gin joints, yeah. I mean, we talked about how poor a season the Tizzards have had. I mean, next year they're going to have a lot of well-handicapped animals.
We said that last night, didn't we?
Yeah.
They're going to be a lot of horses. If they have they could have a really good autumn.
Of course, Colin retiring at the end of the season, handing over the reins to son Joe, who's been assistant for a long, long time down there.
That's the present you want, isn't it? If you're taking over, you go, can we have a nicely handicapped stable?
Lots of back class, please. Yeah. But of course, Mr. Malarkey, who goes for them in the Grand National, has been, one of the gambles of the week. So certainly the last couple of days as well. So it all is not lost. Certainly not. Absolutely okay this season. All right, great stuff. That was the 4:15. Have we seen a future Grand National winning horse? Could he be the ace in the pack for next year? Do you think they'll be tempted to go over to Jumper's fine, didn't he?
I think the way he travels and the way, I don't know. I think there's a lot.
Is it going to be Ladbrokes Trophy at the start of the season for him? Vindication, cloth, which Cloth Cap took, massive prize, second season chaser, decent ground, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a hell of a lot of good races at 3 to 3 1/4 that he could be very good in, because he's got stamina, but he's clearly got quite the engine, hasn't he?
Yes, I would be looking at the Kempton race actually as well, the 3 mile race. But whether they can do something in the meantime.
I mean, he's got really good Cheltenham form, and now he's got really good Aintree form. So he could just come back for the next 2 springs, and
it's easy to they basically saved him for the spring this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
All right. Well done. If you've stuck with the favs today, it's been pretty good. If you've got any multiples going on, let us know. What's the? Have you got them running onto the National? Of course, we've got the bumper to come later on, haven't we? We'll be off air by that point, of course, but lots of action still to come your way. But now it is all about the Grand National. There's a result then. Spirit of the Games, well done, by the way. Our social viewers out there that put him up as an each-way shot. He crept into it again, didn't he? Spirit of the Games.
It was a very spirit. We talked about holding out, doing what
that is Spirit of the Games.
That is what Spirit of the Games does, isn't it?
Okay, all right, great stuff. Okay, time for the Grand National coming up. We've got Lee Mottershead on the line shortly. Let's start getting these 1, 2, 3s going then. My phone's been buzzing something left, right and centre. My brother's annoying me. Okay, so listen to this. This is the 3 from my brother's household, right, which says, I said, give me a 3, all right, and I'll give you a readout. His daughter Hannah's gone for Mr. Malarkey, so I just mentioned that to Gamble. Carly, his oldest daughter's gone for Give Me a Copper, now ridden by Sean Bowen. And my mother has gone for Any Minute Now.
Yeah.
Oh, I think runs somewhere in the Scottish National next week or something. Any second now.
To be fair, Any Minute Now is 60 times the horse that Any Second Now is. So I can understand.
Very good indeed. Sharp as ever, Ross Brierley. The Orton household basically pinning a lot on Any Second Now coming up. So,
I mean, just the thing is when everyone fancies a horse like this,
something's.
One seat at the first.
It'll do a snow leopard test. We should give a quick debrief.
He get wiped out. He got wiped out in the Paddy Power in 2019, didn't he?
Yeah.
He basically was still going well there, about 4 out. Something fell in front of him, and that was that. So that'll happen again.
I need one of these group horses to go right, because Snow Leopard Test was just a quick mention about that. It was a wee bit disappointing, wasn't it?
He did. I don't think he ever looked happy with her. She finished 6th in the end, by the way.
Is she one of those horses that she?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, right, well. One of those horses that it's sort of like if she doesn't get to the lead, she sulks. It seemed a bit like that.
It did have that sort of faint whiff about it, didn't it? It's certainly now on the possibilities list. And next time I watch it, I'll be looking out for it.
Okay, listen, I'm delighted to say that waiting for us on the line up at Aintree is Lee Mottershead, senior writer for the Racing Post. Good afternoon, Lee. I've just had Lee's ready. I thought that was he's calling in 2 minutes. Sorry. And there's all the mind reading gone wrong. We were on a perfect par. I did say 4:30, so there are probably some people that have gone off to make a cup of tea or whatever and come back, or if you're in the garden, flip the barbecue. Lee, are you with us now, Lee Mottershead up at Aintree? Lee, can you hear me out there in Aintree World?
I can hear you up here in Aintree World.
Marvellous, old boy. You've been up there all 3 days so far. It has been really, really exciting. Every favourite's won today, Lee.
He's thinking about it.
He's thinking about it.
Counting them up.
He's having a thought about it. I can see the boys in the studio.
Just checking the results.
He's checking the results, yeah.
Lee, can you hear us? Are you there?
You are back.
We are back.
You are back.
Is it a bit windy up there, Lee?
No, you know, it's perfectly still, but looking overhead, there is what looks like an enormous, great northern rain cloud that looks like it might be about to descend somewhere, but as yet it isn't. But aside from that, it's very sunny, pretty nice temperatures, it's not too cold, and even though there aren't that many people here, there is a bit of an atmosphere, and you can tell within the hour something pretty fabulous is about to happen.
Oh, yes. Has everyone just been back in favourites then, Lee? That was the line that you probably missed. All the favourites have won today.
Yeah, they have. I have to say that this Racing Post correspondent has not been backing all the favourites. So it's not been a massively successful financial day so far. But yeah, no, I mean, if you're a supporter of Cloth Cap, albeit seeing the horse drifting through the day, hopefully you're gaining a little bit more encouragement. Although the way things are going, you could see taking risk or Mr. Malarkey starting favourite. It's a very strange Grand National market. Although every year, don't we say the Grand National market is very strange in the hours leading up to the race.
Of course, it's great to hear there's some sort of buzz up there. No doubt the people of Liverpool and indeed throughout the country, indeed throughout the globe are enjoying this race wherever they are. Lee, let's talk about some of the performances we've seen so far this afternoon then. I might get some of the guys to ask you a couple of questions as well. Ross Brierley and Keith Melrose sitting on the panel with me as well. What about my Drogo? My goodness me.
The way he tanked into that race, I thought was enormously impressive. You know, we came away from the Cheltenham Festival with a feeling that all the good young hurdlers were trained in Ireland. But I think what we saw this afternoon is that Team GB has at least one very good one, although that was his last start over hurdles. Dan Skelton, Harry Skelton, they are bubbling with enthusiasm for this horse, but they are adamant as well that he is a staying chaser in the making. He'll start off next season probably over 2 miles of fences, but he will definitely be going over fences. But my word, he's got a proper engine.
And as a stay, you say, Lee, let's just stick with this for a minute, because Ross Brierley in the studio, you thought it might be Arkle, didn't you? And Keith Melrose is here as well. You thought it might be Arkle as well, didn't you?
I thought they could choose either or, Arkle or Marsh. But it would be whichever pragmatic was a pragmatic choice to make.
Well, he's got. I mean, he tanks into it, Lee, but he also powers up the hill. And you know, you think of your Altiors and your Shishkins, for example. You know, having that speed and stamina is a nice Arkle mix.
Yeah, well, listen, Nicky Henderson often joked that his best 2 milers could run in a King's Stand stake. I quite fancy my Drogo in one. The pace he showed whizzing round Aintree. It's interesting. I say Dan was adamant that he sees this horse as a staying chaser, but he was also clear that he would start next season over 2 miles. And I think the key word that you used there, Dave, pragmatic. I think that's what Dan Skelton is. There was a degree of pragmatism behind the decision not to go to Cheltenham this season, but equally they were looking at the horse's long-term future. He didn't think Cheltenham was the right place for him this season, but I think they will be pragmatic. I think they'll see next season again as part of the one of the building blocks for this horse. I'm sure they'll be training towards Cheltenham next season, but as you say, I wouldn't be surprised which of the three you went. If I was betting now, I'd say Marsh.
Yeah,
but
you
listen,
go.
Who knows? The good thing is he's a good horse.
He's a serious animal. And talking about serious animals, of course, that takes us seamlessly onto Shishkin. What did he go off at about 1-9 in the end? We all thought it was going to be a fanfare, just crown his novice season, but it wasn't without the odd scare.
No, it wasn't. And, there have been times this season when he's been a little bit like that. There were a few moments at Donny when he won, when you wondered quite what he was going to do. And ultimately at Cheltenham, he won very impressively. I think he's just finding it all so easy. That was certainly Nicky Henderson's opinion after the race, and Nico de Boinville. I think they just felt he was dossing. He wanted a bit of company. He wanted to be entertained, enthused almost. But he's clearly got one hell of an engine. They were adamant he wouldn't run again this season. Someone suggested, would you go to Punches Pad? I think Nicky Henderson is still scarred from having taken Sprinter Sacra to Punches Town, having run at Cheltenham and Aintree. They're also saying is he a pure 2-miler? And again, their viewpoint was very much, certainly Nico's viewpoint was very much, that while he's doing so well over 2 miles, why would you think of doing anything else? And of course, we know from Altior last season what happened when he went up in distance, and I suspect that N. Henderson will be loath to do anything similar for now with Shishkin. So Shishkin, you imagine, will be geared towards the Queen with the Champion Chase next season.
Yeah, well, those people looking at the 5-4 then on the sports book for the Queen Mother, rest assured, that's the path we think he's going down. And Lee, that was a more exciting finish than we thought we'd get in the Novice Chase, but of course they saved the best finish for the day thus far. What a finish between Time Hill coming back, beating old rival Roxana.
Yeah, an absolute humdinger. Roxana, I thought, looked all over the winner from the final flight to the line, and Dan Skelton thought she was all over the winner from the final flight to the line. He was gutted for her that she was beaten, but great for Time Hill, and I think particularly good for Tom O'Brien. Yeah, he's a guy who has been in the shadows of Richard Johnson for so long, doing a fantastic job as number 2 there. He'd been brought into the number 1 position, a little like Paul Townend was at Willie Mullins Yard after Ruby Walsh's retirement. And I think a win like this, a big win on a big stage on the yard's biggest horse, was really important to him. And you could see that when he crossed the line. He punched the air. He knew what it meant. As for the horse, again, the obvious question with him is hurdles or fences next season. He's not the biggest, but Philip Hobbs is adamant he will jump a fence. But the way he was talking here today, it sounded like his viewpoint was, if we think this is the best 3-mile hurdler in Britain, why would you not keep him over hurdles?
Yeah, I think that's the way that the panel were thinking here, Lee, as well. He'll be an 8-year-old next year, of course. Great stuff, Lee. Thanks again for joining us. Magnificent wrap up there, old boy, and some great quotes. We're looking forward to reading the reports later. Just remind us again, the headline tip from Lee Mottershead in the big one coming up in 45 minutes.
Very, very boring. I'm a cloth cap man. I've also backed 2 or 3 others. I've backed Manila Times, Discorama, and Milan Native. But Milan Native is just about, I think, the only horse in the Grand National field who's taken a significant walk in the market. So bookmakers know. OK, thank you very much, Lee Mottershead. Sterling stuff as ever. Safe journey home, Lee. Enjoy the big one. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the National. Brilliant. That was great as ever from Lee.
Monmouth went from 33s to 100s and won the Nationals.
Let's not worry about a drift then,
basically. Let's not worry about a drift.
Yeah. Remember when Monmouth crossed the line and I thought, that'll have been 40s, that. I've been backing him all year and I thought, that's one, is it? He'll have been 40s. Pretty much what we thought then from Lee, and again, you'll be reading your quotes and Lee's excellent work from about 6 o'clock this evening. But maybe Arkle, it's not the thing for my Drogo. That would be the thing, I think, wouldn't it? So, but they will choose the easiest race at Cheltenham. Well, you said about pragmatism. It depends what. I mean, for example, does Bob Ollinger go hurdles? I think that'll win the Arkle, won't it? That's a very, very fast horse. Well, that's what I mean. So you might, and then you've got your appreciate it, and are they going to? What's going to happen in that division? Oh, it's not let us down this jump scene, has it? It has not let us down today. All the favourites are winning so far. We're not far away from Cloth Cap, trying to make it 5 on the day, 6 on the day. This will be, of course, won't it? Yeah. Oh, Cloth Cap! Can you believe it? All right, before we go into Barry and see what's going on in the national market, let's, as promised, get these social media comments coming in. Viewer interaction all the way. Who we got? Brendan Coburn says the winner of the Grand National is Burrow Saint, Irish Grand National winner as a 6-year-old. I'm slightly worried about the inexperience for him. Yeah, I noticed something. I noticed that since he's come over here, his form going right-handed is 1-2-3-4, 1-1-1-3-1-2-6-2, and his form going left-handed is 0-5. I was just about to be bamboozled. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. Hello, Paul Daniels. Yeah. All right, okay. What have we got? Great stuff, Brendan. Good luck. Of course, Team Mullins, Live, Love, Laugh, of course, took out the Topham. Jeremy Fogel comes on and says it's Rachel Blackmore, Davey. Nearly called her Rachel de Bromhead again. Of course, Manila Times, a horse that's got no right to be, in my mind, as short as he has been all week. But it's one of these what we see in the national team. It's a Rachel phenomenon, isn't it? A friend of mine doesn't really watch racing at all. Says, "Oh, I'm backing that Rachel Blackmore." He says,
Absolutely.
"That's what I'm doing. I'm backing."
Because he's
Rachel
probably
Blackmore.
coining it in, you know.
Well, he will be if he's been doing it up to now. I'm not sure he has. But
Really lovely horse, though, at a time. Tries.
I agree with you, though. He's a horse that, if he was 20s, I'd say that was fair enough, because he's one of the few horses he's been having a right go in these big Irish handicaps. Not quite winning, they're running very well. He's been scraping the paint as well. He has been off for his life and not winning. So Grand National's going to find it even more competitive than that.
But let's put a positive spin on it. If you ran at the Dublin Festival, you tend to turn up in Britain and win, don't you? So
fair. Yeah, I mean he's an Irish handicapper, so he's got to have a chance. But I don't like horses who. He hasn't won a race over 3 miles yet, never mind over this trip.
Okay, all right, let's keep him coming in. What have we got? Thanks, Jeremy, for that. Who have we got coming in? James Diaz, good to have you back. Far Class. Okay, Big Jack to take the double champ status. I can see the headlines for Far Class tomorrow. Unlucky, wasn't he? I think we can say that in the plate at Cheltenham. Knocked about all over the place, turning in like a Dodgem car, and then sort of like hampered up the home straight. Ran on. Would he have beaten the shunter? Questionable, but certainly better than he was able to show that day.
He's one of the best handicapped in the race, isn't he? And the question is whether he stays. But I also think he jumps very low. And that would be a concern for me too. Although Tiger Roll got away with it.
We could argue he's well handicapped, of course, because Shunter's now Grade 1 horse.
He would be the best handicapped horse in the field, bar cloth cap, on evidence presented.
All right,
he could have won the race we've just watched, I think, but this one might be a bit too far for him as a 7-year-old.
He was entered in Topham, I think, wasn't he, at the race yesterday over the fence over 2 mile 5.
When I fancied him at Cheltenham because at Leopardstown I thought soft ground and that extra stamina trip, he looked like he was going to win. I thought, he didn't get home, he'll do better drop back. That was my thinking at Cheltenham. So if you'd said, he's running the National next, I'd have been pretty flabbergasted, really. Wow,
we're ramping up here on Racing Post Live, loving the viewer interaction. You make the show, and who else is coming on to make it? Ronan McGinley joins the party and said, Magic of Light, let's have it. Barry, over to you. You like the mare, don't you? Second to Tiger Roll in 2019.
Yeah, she had a nice pipe opener not a pipe opener, but she got her spot on for this in the mares behind Cool Reevy at the Cheltenham Festival, sharpened up her jumping, and I think she'll run a big race here. I also like Annabelle Fly, who's been 4th and 5th in the last 2 editions of this race, and in between had finished second to Album Photo in the Gold Cup at the Cheltenham Festival. They're my 2 picks in the race. I'm just going to have 25 quid win and place on both of them, please, Keith. And what I'm going to do, obviously in the win market, Magical Light, happy to be a price taker here at 19, and Annabelle Fly at 36. And then I'm going to look at there's 10 places here. They've standard 4. You've got 5 places, 6 places, 7 places, and 10 places on the Betfair Exchange. Nice. I'm going to look at the top 5. And I'm going to look to back both of them, 25 quid on each of them in the top 5 market as well. So Magic of Light and Annabelle Fly, they're my 2 picks.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Keith Melrose putting the trade on. You can see there exactly how the exchange works. Loving these graphics, aren't we, that joined us since Cheltenham.
It's a fascinating market on the exchange. It looks like Cloth Cap is going to go off favourite. Not that matters any in this day and age, but he's 7.2 at the moment. Any second now is very strong, though, at 10.5. Burroughs St. 12, 15.5 Manila Times, 19 Magical Light. The crazy thing here is there's no Irish horses favoured for the race, considering the Irish domination. But over 6.5 million matched so far, so that could top the 10 million before the race goes in play, and another 35 minutes.
All the narratives, exciting stuff. All right, the trades nice and early for you then. Barry Orr, Magic of Light to go one better than her second to Tiger Roll in 2019, and Annabelle Fly. He's been here before twice. He's run blinders, coming in off a fresh prep. There, Barry Trades. Lots of time to play away with them. What have we got then coming up? Mark Smith next on the show. I dreamt Yala Enki was second last night. So he has a nibble. So I had a nibble, each way. Okay, Keith, I want to give this to you because
it was like a fall lyric, that, wasn't it? It was Mark Smith, and it was like a fall lyric, that message in. It was a music fan. But no, anyway, I hope he's right.
If the E was in the middle, he'd have got it.
I think he would have. Yeah.
Or a silent B. And once again, you're very similar, you two, aren't you? The two, I don't know, Quizmaster and Next Best, I think.
Quizmaster and Apprentice.
Absolutely.
Not at all.
Okay, so
everything, Keith.
Yala Enki, you chatted this pre-show. You kept saying, I keep coming back to you. We were talking about the play spot, weren't we?
Well, yes, he is a sort of play spot horse. I don't think he'll win, but I can easily see this horse finishing in the first 5. You know, they say he wants bad ground. I think what he just really wants is...
He fell at the beaches, didn't he?
First fence, yeah, when he was trying to vie for the lead and ended up sort of falling at the first. He's generally a decent enough jumper, and the fences aren't as scary as they were. You know, he's been placed in all those Welsh nationals, going out on his sword from the front all the time. If he can hold a prominent position early, not many are going to get past him. What happens in a national now, because the fences aren't as scary as they were, you get better horses, because I think he wouldn't have run on an old national. And you get, because the fences are lower, they go harder earlier. So what you need is a horse that really, really stays and digs in. And that's what Yalenki does. So I'm not sure he's the best handicapped horse in the field. He's basically a slightly lesser Neptune Collonge, but I can see him finishing in the first 4 or 5.
Brilliant stuff. Mark Smith, I think that's categorically answered your question, sorry. I think. Have we got anything else coming up on the screen? Oh, loads of them coming in, actually. Call of Duty Hardcore Gaming. Come on, Far Class, tearing yourself away from the usual Far Class again then, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it worked. Triumph Hurdle winner goes for Grand National. Worked for Tiger Roll, didn't it? Admittedly,
indeed.
A little bit later on and a bit more experienced. I can see Far Class. If Far Class even gets around this year, he's going to have a cracking chance next year.
You're suggesting this is a sighter?
I'm not suggesting it's a sighter. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, ridden for a place.
Well, Tiger could be back next year. We hope. Let's not go. No more Tiger. No more Tiger. He's
not running.
He's on the
40
ferry on the
horses
way
who
home,
are running in the race.
Graham McKee says, Graham Mackey, I should say, says, ground drying, cloth cap, take the 6-1. Hard to argue with. It's something that Barry said just a minute ago. He said cloth cap will go off favourite. Incredible that we're even questioning that after he touched 7-2 in places last week. And the final one coming into the generics, Chloe Mary Booth. Great to have you on, Chloe. Says, too excited for this race. Oh, more excited than me. Unbelievable scenes. Unlikely stuff. We are now starting. Hopefully it's coming across conveying to you all. We're getting excited.
What I love about the Nationals, you see them circling at the start, there's 40 of them, and there's two things you're thinking. The first one is there's going to be about 3 false starts here. But also you're thinking one of these horses in 15 minutes' time is just going to be immortal. Like, a Grand National winner is always a name that people remember. As soon as you hear it, you could name any Grand National winner and it pops in your head and you think, oh, Grand National winner. And that's going to happen to one of these 40 horses in the next hour.
Brilliant. Barry, take the 6-1. Is that in danger on the exchange now of going?
Yes, I'd have to say it's 7.2 now. So, around him, any second now is still strong. Burrow Saint's still strong. Magical Light's still strong. Mr. Malarkey strong. Far Class coming in for support, 18.5. 7 million matching the race now, nearly on the sports book. Cloth cap into 11-2 from 6. But that's a each way market where they're paying 6 places to each way punters on the Betfair Sportsbook. But interestingly, Keith there says there'll be about 3 false starts. There's 5-4. There to be just 1 false start. So be interested to see if that happens.
Watch that go now. Okay, fair enough. All right, brilliant. Right, we've been asking you for your 1, 2, 3s before we do our pin stickers 1-word guide. Let's give you the 1, 2, 3s from all our viewers out there in racing land. What have we got coming up? Who's going to be the first? 1, 2, 3. The Lee brothers scurrying around in the gallery. Ronan McGinley gives us Magical Light, Annabelle Fly, and Discorama. Discorama, just quickly, we'll whittle through these, but Discorama, we put him in our place when he's now foiled.
He's basically spirit of the games for this race because he'll probably travel through, and if he gets round, and he might...
I can hear Barry laugh because I know he's not the biggest fan either, but he does trade low in his races, Barry, doesn't he, Discorama?
Yeah, and they've done his win, but he has a habit of trading low, odds on plenty of occasions, and has let them down more times than once. I think that's a good analogy, spirit of the games.
Right.
If you look at his form, though, he's finished second to Delta Work in a Grade 1,
exactly.
Third to the Conditional, second to Le Royal, and there is a marathon trip. So. It might well be. I mean, Discorama he could win this on the bridle. If he's going to win it, he's going to win it on the bridle, isn't he?
And he was, of course, an anti-post gamble for the National in the last week. Thank you, Ronan, for that. Who's coming up next? Come on, let's keep them coming in. Silvio, 42, says, my Nash dry cast. Cloth cap, Milan native and Burrows Saint. Okay, super duper. We've heard pretty much all about all those 3. Thank you, Silvio. Superb, who comes in next? Saturn's Raindrops. This is testing, isn't it? Talk is cheap. Lord de Menil and Vierley en Rouge. What would that pay?
I would pay massively, but I would have come in on Talk is cheap, actually, because I've backed this horse. And this horse, I mean, if you watch that, the Whitbread that he won of the Bet365 Gold Cup, he would have won that with £10 more in his back, no question. He absolutely dotted up. I bet your time figure was good in it as well, because they went quite hard all the way through that race. And he beat the 2 placed horses were previous winners, both of them, the Young Master and Step Back. So it's not like it was end of season Jackanory form. It was actually a good race. And going hard for a long time is what you need in a Grand National these days. So he's done that. Since then, he was aimed at the 2020 National, which didn't happen, and he was aimed again at the 2021 National. He's never been primed for a race since. This is his big day out since. And yeah, he was 66-1 yesterday. I've backed him. He's my second choice, actually.
Ah, okay. So in Keith Melrose, 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, it would be any second now. Talk is cheap. The third, Annabelle Fly, third.
Annabelle Fly. All right, there you go. All right, great 1, 2, 3s. Loads more coming. But now, as promised, where's this going to go? Okay, right. We've got around about half an hour till the race. We are going to give you one word on each horse, because let it not be said that the panel on Racing Post Live will not talk about every single race every single runner that you hope for in this race, the greatest race of all time. We can still say this is the greatest race of all time. It's the greatest race, isn't it? Despite the modifications, I know people are sort of a bit disappointed. A classy horse is winning it, and you'd be a high horse again. It is the greatest race, right?
If I'm honest, I almost prefer it since they've modified it, because you get a better class of horse winning it.
We've had the greatest race actually already, lads, because Cracking Fight did win it in Newcastle about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, he did.
Oh, there we
He'll
go.
just say the idea again. Can't play. Get over it. Right, okay. All right. Shall we go down then? Sue Smith also. Keith Melrose having a good day then, because he's betting away as well.
Not a good day.
All right, so Barry, you're going to be involved in this as well. We'll go down, and I'm just going to go down. Then we're clearing the throat, Barry. There,
ready.
clear down one word, and then we'll react to it as best we possibly can. So we'll start off with Bristol Demai, Ross Brierley.
Slogger.
Oh, that's harsh, isn't it?
Well, I would have said soft ground slogger. This is the one word, probably.
Some of these are quite cryptic actually, but not this one. This one's just meh. Because I just think he's just there. He's going to run well, but he's a sort of seventh job.
I was going to say pancake because he's flat track, isn't he?
There's a lot of words for this one word, isn't there?
Class.
He's got Barry.
Class, says Barry. Paul Keeley would agree with you.
3 Betfair chasing up in class.
Yeah.
Haydock should have been the word.
Haydock Demai, of course, as he's been called. Chris's dream, Keith Melrose.
Gasp. Can't stay, can he?
He had to go. What you think? What you think he's gonna be out on his lungs?
Barely stays 3 miles.
What? Isn't he a Troy Town winner? Chris's dream.
He is, yeah. He won a Troy Town, yeah.
In that case, my word for Chris's dream is disagree.
I feel like are we all giving one word? I thought we were just taking it.
Are we all justifying that particular word? We could be here a long time.
No. It's fine. I want you to react. All right. Barry, Yala Enki.
Slow.
Ballyoptic, Ross Brierley.
Hurdler.
Definitely red, Keith Melrose.
Bully.
Bully? Keith.
More field form.
Okay. Lakeview lad, Barry.
Wind.
Win, no chance. All right. Let's go. Let's keep this a bit more. Honestly, the guys could go all over the place.
We should have had a run through it.
Burrow Saint. All right. Burrow Saint. Inexperience.
Burrow Saint. Places.
Right.
Okay.
Hand.
Magic of Light, Barry.
Go on, Barry.
Wins.
Oh, we got a wins already out of it. Acapella Bourgeois.
Trier.
Player.
Trier, yeah.
Player.
Bobby Joe.
Talk is cheap.
Off.
He's off international. Unbelievable. Ross Brierley, 2A per me.
Overpriced.
Annabelle Fly, Barry Orr.
Place.
Oh, wow. Magical Light on top for Barry. Keith Melrose, Mr. Malarkey.
Very cryptic. I named him after the guy in the Full Monty, because you can't sing, you can't dance, what can you do? And you can't jump. Not well enough handicapped. What do you do? You always stay all day, won't he?
That's a paragraph.
One sonnet.
I was a sonnet. But the word was guy I wrote down. I thought, nobody's going to... I don't even understand that. So.
What, Guile, did you say?
Guy.
All right, okay, all right. Swiftly moving on. Kimberlite Candy, Ross Brierley.
Second.
Okay, Barry, any second now? Walsh is like that. Balco de Flo, Keith Melrose.
Expensive.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Pricey. Alpha Des Obo, Ross Brierley.
Thistlecrack. I always think.
Well, OK Corral, Barry Orr.
Duck.
Croc, possibly.
Doc.
Yeah.
Derek O'Connor.
Oh, yes. Okay, Doc. Yeah, the Doc's on. Derek O'Connor seen to great effect on him when he last rode him. Was it in the Grimthorpe? Sky Bet.
Yeah, it's a Sky Bet.
Yeah, the Sky Bet. Taking risks, Keith Melrose. Fifth. Love that. Shattered Love, Ross Brierley.
Classy mare. Without
words.
space.
Fast enough, yeah.
Yep.
Jet, Barry Orr.
Slow.
Yeah, so you could have said Cohen, I suppose, couldn't you? Lord de Menil, Dave Orton. Rain.
Yep.
Mud. Very similar.
Potter's Corner. You're getting the good ones, aren't you?
Yeah,
Keith Melrose.
Prep.
Prep.
Don't like the prep.
Virtual.
Don't like the prep. Bad prep then. Yeah, okay. Class Conti, Ross Brierley.
Unexposed?
Unexposed,
In
wow.
these kind of races? I don't know.
Milan native Barry Orr.
It's a test of feeling.
The Codfather.
The Codfather, yeah, Jamie Cod. And took a big walk in the market earlier, didn't we? Despite the fact he is a classy animal on his day. Disco Rama, Ross Brierley.
Bridle.
This is my redacted, actually. I put redacted for this one.
Did you? Oh, unbelievable. So he's redacted. Vieux-Leon Rouge, Keith Melrose.
I went Melling, because that's as far as you'll get.
He's jumped more national fences successfully, we think, than any horse in recent memory.
Something like 230 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just stamina, isn't it, for the end of it? Barry Orr, cloth cap.
Lay.
Woo!
Place
Unbelievable. Cabaret Queen, Ross Brierley.
Front runner.
Front runner. Manada Celebration, Keith Melrose.
Mark. Do I?
Windop he's had, of course. Canelo, Barry Orr.
Sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes. We were in the sweepstake, are we?
I got it.
Tear that one up then, old boy.
I went off for this one because this is a really clumsy horse, this.
The Long Mile, Ross Brierley.
Young.
Oh, yes, 7-year-old, of course. Give Me a Copper, now ridden by Sean Bowen. Keith Melrose.
I went peaked. I've had a tiny bet on this.
Again, this is a one-word thing.
Peaked. I went peaked.
Peaked. Fine. All right, peaked. All right, fine. Well, you bet it, and you put peaked.
Piqued, not peaked.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. All right.
Yes.
Peaked. Your interest, I see. Unbelievable scenes. Far class, Barry Orr. Barry Orr, far class.
Age
again. All right. Manila Times, Dave Orton. Short. Sub-Lieutenant, Ross Brierley. Tabitha Worsley, of course, has won over the national fences when it was last run, the Hunter Chase, prior to this meeting. She took it out, didn't she? On Topwood. Of course it was. Hogan's Height, Keith Melrose.
Sputter.
Tipped in a couple of places. I believe Hugh Taylor's gone for him, hasn't he? I think he loves these fences, doesn't he? Double Shuffle, Barry Orr.
Rough.
First woof. Where's the Archibald button?
We got to 38 before we got the first woof.
Oh, yeah, OK. Wow. Ami Desbois. Desbois.
Keels.
It likes him, does he?
Does like him.
Oh, that's interesting. OK, all right, fair enough. Like the ground, he's consistent and he stays all day. And the final one you'll be delighted to hear. And finally, you maybe a sonnet about Black Lion.
I'm just old.
Just old.
4 years since that run when he got sent on at the Melling Road, isn't it? 4 years.
So there you go. Look, one word about every single runner. Ooh. Unrehearsed. We weren't sure what we were going to do.
That was much tougher than
Quite enjoyed that. That. The Quizmaster was the worst at it by some way, it seems.
Keith is a...
I had 40 written down and I only got to use about 15 of them.
I know. Listen,
morning.
you can't tell everyone what you've written. You actually wanted the paper earlier, so you could just... I've got to write down my one words. Look at that. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Why didn't you just get Keith to do it and we could have gone to the toilet?
We could have had our break. Because I think, how long does National take to run? Oh, I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you did too. Some of the words might resonate with you. OK, so listen, Black Lion, just quickly before we move on to the tips, well, we know, we said at the top of the show what we're tipping, but Black Lion, this horse was bought for the Grand National from Team Justin Davis, used to love them, and Darren Yates hasn't had a lot of luck at all with the purchases he's had, but is this sneaky?
In what way? What do you mean?
What do you think? It's got totally under the radar now. 12-year-olds go well. I mean, Hello Bud running it, for a long way, didn't we? No. You watch back your nationals, veterans go really well.
They do before it became a better race. That's the thing. I mean, this is it's a class race now. It goes to younger, up and coming horses. I think he's missed his boat. But
you're not tipping him. You are tipping Ross Brierley.
I have backed 3 with a little saver at a huge price. I think was overpriced. Main bet is Any Second Now. I think that perfect blend of speed and stamina coming into the peak of his form. He's got a lovely weight. He's got the perfect connections. He's the right age. He's got speed figures coming out of his ears. He's got a massive chance. I think Burrow Saint has also got a huge chance. 6-year-old winner of an Irish National is a big display, I think, and he's got all the right pieces of classy form. And then 2 at bigger prices about Milan native, who Cheltenham jumped off mid-division, dropped into last. It was a good race. This was the target. And then 2A Per Me, who has barely raced on good ground since 2018. This horse has won 2 very good races on good ground. It beat Sub-Lieutenant in a Grade 2 at Thurles. It won the Troy Town by 4.5 lengths on good ground in 2018.
One of the rags.
150 to 1 seems huge to me.
Thank you, Ross Brierley. I asked you for a tip and you gave us a sonnet.
I gave you a TriCast.
You gave us I've got to think it was multiple TriCasts. Thank you, Ross, very much for that. Any second now then for Ross Brierley honing in. Right, in Keith Melrose, 1, 2, 3, and this year's National.
You've already got my 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that was the top of the show, Keith. Come on,
top
remind
of
the
the show.
viewers. We've got lots of
It was
viewers.
10 minutes ago, yeah.
It was the top of
It's
the
been
show.
40 words said since
Oh,
then.
no, actually, it wasn't the top of the show. You did say it. Just
So as Any Second Now was my main selection, basically what Ross said, but he's a horse that there's only been 1 target and there's only been 1 target since he won the Cumure. So this is the
followed by
Talk is Cheap, who
Talk is Cheap, the Bet365 winner.
Again, he's not.
Are you worried about Alan King's record in this race?
No.
Do you remember when Not a Chance won the I mean, that's about as succinct as you've ever been.
One word.
That's one word. The game's over, Keith. Yeah.
Cadbury Queen had that one. She had a no.
Yeah, his record in the race, when Not a Chance won the Classic Chase, was it in January? He basically said, we're not going to the National. I don't really like the National, he said. The owners don't like it either. And then I remember interviewing him on a feature show and he said, I'm aiming Canelo and Talk is Cheap at this race. Got his ground,
Well,
though,
he said, I was on that show actually, and he said basically, I don't know if he said it on air or not, he says Talk is Cheap, this is to get him qualified for Aintree.
That was in the old Racing Post trophy, wasn't it? So, yeah.
No trainer likes the National until they win it.
That's what I love about Alan King, though.
Richard Johnson hated the National as soon as What's Up Boys got beat. He never hated it until then.
Yeah, all right, OK, fine. Barry Orr, 1, 2, 3. Magical Light, I sense is on top of Annabelle Fly. Throw in a third, old boy.
Burrow Saint.
Burrow Saint. A lot of love then for Burrow Saint. OK, Dave Orton's. I've got Cloth Cap on top. I'm like Lee Mottershead. I've got a nice docket about him, but Any Second Now, I think I've got it. Look, there he is up there. What price is he? Wow, he's
been the one for money.
Yeah. Wow, OK, we don't mind seeing that in those colours. I just think it's the firm, isn't it, to give Ted Walsh and the family a second national winner, deserved second national winner. Yeah, love the prep. He's got no right.
Worry about it because Ted Walsh did this 21 years ago, didn't he? And you feel like there must be a better way now.
Papillon.
Yeah, he did it with Papillon.
That was
smashed it up.
And amazing gamble on Papillon.
Seabass was the same approach, and you sort of think, well, surely the world's moved on since then, but Ted Walsh can still do it that way.
Yeah,
he's one of the best plot trainers of all time, Ted Walsh. If you have a good stay-in chaser, you want Ted Walsh to train it because he will map out a career for that horse. Obviously, if it says stay sound, but he will map out a career for that horse for 4 or 5 years. He's just a remarkable trainer when he has the right materials to hand.
So, look, we all love a bit of Any Second Now. And if I had to have a third one, I'm with Barry, Annabelle Fly. When he turned up, was he 4th and 5th, Keith, in this, when he previously turned up? That was after running in Gold Cups and the like. He's running the Bobby Joe. It's fair to say it was an eye-catching run.
It was a very much an eye-catching run. The other horse that ran in the race for McManus in that race was the Long Mile. And Long Mile had to finish in the first 4 in the 5-runner Bobby Joe to be qualified for the National. And Annabelle Fly finished 5th.
OK, who was guaranteed a run, yeah. All right, fair enough. So, look, I like him. It's just about a case of getting too far back. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe the show. We know there's loads of you out there watching the show, breaking all the numbers, quite rightly so, for the Grand National. Myself, Dave Orton, Ross Brierley in the chair. You're going to be mainly calling this, aren't you? Alongside Keith Melrose, betting editor, Racing Post, and Betfair's big hitter himself, Barry Orr. We're having a great day. All the favourites have won so far. Unbelievable scenes. If you're watching on Facebook Live, welcome along. Keep your comments coming in. We've still got, roughly around about 15 minutes to the start of the 2021 Grand National. Can you believe that the global pandemic or not, we didn't have a Grand National. We had a virtual version last year. Of course, Cloth Cat won the virtual National this year, didn't he?
And it felt really good to not give the slightest of tosses about it. It felt so good.
I actually backed the second as well last year to Tiger Roll. It was, of course, the great James Best ride. What was it? Oh, the Beecher winner.
Walk in the Mill.
Walk in the Mill, the now retired Walk in the Mill. So I even managed to get beaten in that. So, yeah, absolutely. Bye-bye, virtual
about
national.
a loser, is there? That's what they say.
Absolutely. Great scenes. Come on in, Barry. Let's go to the market. We've just gone 5. It must be ramping up now. What liquidity are we looking at?
Yeah, 7.5 million matched now. Woo. 7.0 bang on clock cap, which is 6-1. 9.6 any second now. Borough Saint 12, Magical Light 21, Far Class 19 over on the sportsbook. Cloth cap 11-2 favourite, 15-2 any second now. 8-1 Borough Saint. They're the only horses in single figures. Outside of them, you're looking at some of the outsiders. Shattered Love, who we haven't really mentioned. She's another one that took in the mare's chase behind Cool Reevy. For Denise Foster, 33-1 from 40-1. Chris's Dreams come in for a bit of support on the sportsbook. They're just hacking everything as you expect. Overends, all about the overends now. As Keith will tell you.
Absolutely. Barry, loads of different markets then, of course. Let us know what special markets you're involved in. Best grey and all that sort of stuff, isn't there? OK, let's get some more socials coming in. You see Spotlight Verdict there. And Nap, of course. Madonna Andrews, there's a name. I got Potter's Corner. OK, so you've got Ross Brierley's Adorning the Silks.
Absolutely, yeah. You
the
can buy
fan
a
club
share
of the.
yeah.
You can buy 0.05 as well. You give a slightly better share, don't you?
I'm offering you value, Dave. I'm offering you value here at rossbrierleyclub.co.uk. So
Debatable.
Get involved.
Debatable. But Potter's Corner, Welsh national winner, ridden by the brilliant Jack Tudor, Barry's favourite rider out there. Success, nimble around the cross-country part, wasn't he? Of course, the wheels have come off a little bit since, haven't they? I remember Christian Williams, his trainer, we spoke to him just before Christmas here in the studio, and he said, it took him ages to get over the Welsh national, and we're probably going to go straight to Grand National. So I don't think he's quite had him where he wants so far yet, Christian, but he stays, he gallops, and
he's had the classic, 2 hurdle runs to get him prepped for this, hasn't he? So if he hasn't had him where he
won. He won the
virtual
national in 2020, didn't he?
Yeah.
Another mention for the race that we don't care about.
Went to the stable and interviewed him and everything after.
I know, it was brilliant. I think they gave him a trophy, actually, didn't they, Christian?
I think that's right.
Wow.
But, they wanted to run him in the cross-country at the festival, didn't he? But he didn't make it to that. First-time blinkers as well. Just some vibes from the prep that aren't the best to me. But obviously, a horse that's won a Midlands National, a Welsh National, you can't be ruling out of hand. But there's just a couple of wee vibes there. You just worry. He just felt like he'd missed the boat.
Last Welsh National winner to follow up in a Grand National, would that be
same year or different year?
No, not same year.
Silver Birch did it.
Same year?
No.
No.
That was about
and Silver Birch would have been the last one. Very good. And who was the Tristan Davis?
Binder did it the other way around. He did it national, then Welsh National.
Wow, brilliant. Unbelievable under Jim Cullity. Great stuff, Madonna Andrews, Potter's Corner. Good luck there. John Chu comes along and says, I have Canelo. OK, Roland Merrick winner. Again, I'd be slightly worried about his jumping.
In the old days, he definitely would have fallen. But now he might get round, but I think he'll blunder.
He'll like the ground. He'll like the ground.
Just an interesting point you're saying about fallers, which Tom mentioned last night about that Ruby Walsh was saying that back in the old days, you would have a lot more horses falling, you'd have loose horses, you'd have a lot of carnage going on. And what we've got to think about today as well is that kind of helps prominent runners. And it opens up the race a little bit more because there is less carnage now. There are less falls, there are less loose horses. It's not quite as chaotic as.
We have got time to talk about pace in the race, I think. So perhaps we'll do that once these social viewer comments coming in. Cheers, John. Good to have you along for the party. Who else we got on board? Let's have a look. Anyone else coming along? Just give me 2 seconds, says Rob Lee. I can fill as good as anyone out there, let me tell you. Hey, and it's up on the screen. What have we got? Any second now, says Jade Cope. Fantastic. Yeah, you're on a right old gamble, aren't you? For Team Walsh, the greatest day in racing, Ruby Walsh.
There's only 2.5 points in between the two at the top of the market now on Betfair.
Yeah.
By the way, I've also had I've laid cloth cap a place in the first 4 a little bit as well, which I'm sorry, Dave. But is there a potential that this horse isn't quite good enough?
Well, that's the thing.
The handicapper would have another stone on his back. Keith,
would indeed, but we're basing that on that Kelso run, which is. It's not the same body of evidence that Bristol de Mai has for being a 162. It's not the same body of evidence that Annabelle Fly has for being a horse of that class. This horse, as we said earlier in the show, was a mid-130s horse that was maybe starting to look like he'd had his chance a little bit. And all of a sudden, we're expected to believe he's £25 higher, which is a sort of negative way of looking at it.
He was given £4 to Aso. He was beaten 103 lengths behind Clanders Oboe the other day.
But I think he's had some very stiff tasks since Aso and probably over the top. I don't buy that.
But he was... nothing's come out apart from...
I Right is the horse who obviously he was getting a stone from at Newbury, but he beat
there's only
it
been, I think there's one winner out of that Newbury race.
But listen, this is Trevor Hemmings, Mr. National, won it,
But he's favourite. He's 6-1 favourite. So I'm just saying, is he good? Is he good?
Well, of course, the whole racing
it's
public
all
thinks
the price,
he's good
isn't
enough,
it?
man. And the handicapper certainly thinks he's good enough as well. So, but Jade Cope on any second now for Ted Walsh, one of the best target trainers of all time, says Barry Orr. Okay, what else we got coming in? 2 more coming in, I'm hearing. Charlie Kenwright says, Far Class, bidding to become the next Tiger Roll, basically. Last 7-year-old to win. Lord, it was a long time ago, wasn't it?
A long time ago, yeah. I don't even know. I think you're talking 60s, aren't we?
Yes, nimble magic fingers there that you've got, Ross Brierley. You're about to tell us when the last 7-year-old to win. Unlucky at the Cheltenham Festival, basically, Charlie, wasn't he? And a fascinating runner. One I was loath to leave out, but I'm a trend follower as well. Races like this and 7-year-old.
I will give you £1 million if you can remember the name. It was 1940.
Dear me, I don't
It was
know.
Bogscar.
Bogscar, who usually comes up when you're doing your trends and stuff.
Yeah,
at
it
the
does.
very
It's a
bottom.
name that comes up in the trends.
Kevin Morley must go, Bogscar again, our trends guru, basically.
But Golden Miller and Troy Town were 7 when they won it.
But you said if he gets round this year, you think next year he'd have a massive chance.
I think he's going to be a fantastic handicapper over the next couple of years, but it's a big ask right now.
Yeah, OK. Who's on Far Class? Just remind me. Jack Kennedy. Of course it is. Jack Kennedy. Yeah, good old Jack. All right, then, what have we got coming up? Another one along the way. And, here we go. IFA XL. IFA XL? I for XL. I for XL. That's got to be right, isn't it? Cloth cap laid, along with Ross Brierley and Barry Orr as well. So typical. Listen, we showcase the functionality of the Betfair Exchange here. It's what we do. Barry plays for charity all the way. Greatwood is the charity of choice in the month of April. If you're having a great day, if you've backed all the favourites, why don't you show them a bit of love as well? Find their website nice and easily indeed. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's what it's all about. You can see at the bottom of the screen here on YouTube. Let's get these numbers up. Record numbers we're hearing. Now, the call of the national gentleman. How are we going to deal with this?
You dibs the croc roll, didn't you?
I listen, you know what I'm like. If you're new to the show, I do tend to get my 2 outs and 3 outs wrong. And I couldn't... the jockeys that come in, there are famous fences all around the country. I can't even spot them.
I mean, this is the thing, as an in-running punter, my brain is it's kind of hardwired to know when they're coming to certain stages of it, but actually to say it out loud and what the fence is called is a whole different matter. Yeah,
I think I even to Matty Batchelor, he was very polite with me on this one. We were talking about favourite fences and famous fences, and they're all named. You could do in quizzes over the years. It's name every fence in the national, all that sort of thing. I think when I was thinking so much about what was going on with me or that sort of thing, I called the corner. What's the corner called?
Canal turn.
The canal turn. I call it the elbow.
Yes,
Which is, of course, on the running after. And Matty Batch went, like this. And we swiftly move on. But I called that the elbow. So I think if I take the beginning and the end,
well,
I think the end will all be going mad.
We'll
But
be fine with the commentary, but
you've got your map. Now,
people get paid the big bucks to be calling home the Grand National.
I've spent all year, Tony Ennis, top course commentator, that usually sits in that chair when he's in, and he calls all the races because it makes a lot of sense. He draws his maps, and I've taken the absolute mickey out of him for doing it.
And it works, though. It really does.
And all you've done is got a good old sturdy racing post. You've basically cheated all the way.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, give me a Steward's Cup. Or
You could commentate though on the tracks. I think that's fair to say, Barry, isn't it? Ross is a pretty good caller, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty smart. Yeah, and he gives everything a mention.
Yes.
Very good commentator.
It's just I'm fine with the horses, Barry. It's the fences. It's the names of the
Des
fences.
Scarhill, that was what he was famous for, wasn't it? Mentioning every single horse, not often in the right order, but mentioning every single horse.
There's nothing worse than if you back the horse and it corrected that, rightly so.
No, I was just going to say, Scal, you always knew what he bet in a race because he said something like, and sitting in behind.
Yeah, and tremendous late finish, as Bruce Millington loves to say on this show. Yeah,
but there's nothing worse than if you've backed a horse and it's sort of sick throughout and it never gets a mention because you mentioned those in front, those at the back, and it never changes position. You listen to the commentary going, where was mine? Where's my horse?
Yeah.
So you need to get everyone in.
Hugely exciting. We heard from Lee Mottershead around about 4:30, didn't we? Our man on track today, senior writer at the Racing Post, said there is a buzz, and we can see the pictures on our screen. Yeah, the owners are there. Fantastic. We're coming out of this, people, aren't we? Fingers crossed next year, back to normal. We'll all be looking at you at the National all over the place. But listen, wherever you are, if you're in the gardens with your mates and you're having a party at the moment, absolutely fantastic scenes. If you're just sat at home nice and quiet watching us, enjoying the crack, like and subscribe. Let us know you're out there still. Get your social media comments in. We'll be off air not long after the National. Listen, we've had 4 races coming up already and all the favourites have won. If you are a sentiment backer or superstitious or anything like that, and let's be honest, if you really fancy the fav in a bumper, right, say for example, and you're like, I'm not going to play the card, I'm just going to turn up for, let's say Cheps, or let's say Aintree today, and you then all of a sudden you go, but just check the results, who won, and you'll be like, oh no, I've got to be the 7th favourite to win. Even if you're on Corto Star in a bumper, you're thinking something's going to go wrong, right?
Yeah, but there's that. It's the gambler's fallacy, isn't it?
Yeah, there's actually it's the same thing. If 10 heads have come up, we can't have another heads on the coin. We could
quite conceivably can
hundreds
happen.
in a row.
This is a separate race. Do not worry about that. If you're on cloth cap, I know a lot of you will be on anti-post. We saw him in the Ladbroke Straight here on this show back in November. We said, aye, he's going to be high enough to get into Aintree. Came out of Kelso, demolished the field there. Reminder of the tips, guys. Any second now on top for all of us. Barry going for Magic of Light. Lots of love for Annabelle Fly. I've got Cloth Cap at Docket as well. Lee Motter said fancy that as well. We know you're all out there taking risks. You can see as the spotlight nap today for Richard Austin, the boss of the whole spotlights thing. But he does nap in the big races, Richard, doesn't he?
He does. Richard always does a national every year, and the nap is generally the big race on a Saturday. That's why he's put in taking risks as a nap. He did it from a price perspective, and it was 40-1, and within 24 hours. The power of spotlights.
What's going to lead? What's going to lead? Not taking risks. What's going to lead?
There'll be several that lead. What you're going to find? You're
call it. I'm going to say Yarlarenki. If he gets over it.
It's Yarlarenki, Magic of Light, Cloth
Cabaret Queen,
Mr. Malarkey, Cabaret Queen, Bristol Demai.
Bristol Demai will be up there. What else have we got in here? Manila Celebration, I want to be close.
I still can't believe you said slogger about Bristol Demai.
I wanted to say soft ground slogger because he's a proper soft. But yeah, that was a bit harsh. But I was taken aback by the
Acapella Bourgeois will probably want to be up there.
I got carried away. I've had all day to think of my word and I came out with slugger.
A couple of things to mention, by the way. Discorama is now 17.5.
Yeah, he's been punted into on the course. You'll see on the traditional market. He's
Paul Nolan sent over Mrs. Milner to win the Pertemps. His horses are firing.
I think we have to make Kimberlite
also
Candy.
Good money for far class lads, 20 from 28 as well. He's really strong. Favoured a little bit weak now, 7.8 he's out to, so heading towards 7-1. And any second now, there's been a correction there. That's out to 11-1, haven't been as short as 8.
They're just adjusting themselves in the market
now.
Here we go then. Will they let him off first time?
It's too fast.
Who's being kept away at the minute?
Corral will be behind them.
OK, Corral is the one they're keeping. Definitely Reb was being kept away. Yarlarenki up there. Acapella Bourgeois, he's got a good chance. All right, great stuff. Good luck, Reb, you're playing.
No chance. Hold up, lads, hold up.
Yarlarenki's off for a...
They're not going to let them go now, are they? Are they?
No, surely not. They're spread out.
Hang on, they're going towards... Oh, yeah, they get a a good run up. Listen, good luck. Wherever you're playing in the 2021 Grand National, whoever it is.
Let's look at the flag.
So that's not a false start because they haven't broke the tape.
Oh, God, he's settled the market. Barry's settling the market here for them.
What would constitute a false start? Do they have to set the tape off first? Or?
Well, it's your market, mate.
Fair point.
Because, of course, you can bet on how many full starts there are. That's if you're wondering why we're laughing there. Barry punted out of 5-4, just one full start. So
just a few horses, by the way. We haven't Kimberlite Candy, I think we had to mention, for example. Classic Chase form, Ida Chase form.
Second in the Beachers.
Second in 2 Beachers.
Stays on.
It's all gone a little bit lukewarm on him, hasn't it?
We're waiting.
Hey, then, the roar of the 21 Grand National. We're back, finally, at Aintree over the famous fences. 4 miles, 2.5 furlongs. Ross Brierley, who's going to lead over the first?
I thought you were taking up to the first, as you said earlier, Dave, but let's have a look as they come through.
I've done my bit.
Jet on the outside,
on the wide outside. We've lost our bet for the first one. We're in a double shuffle, surprisingly. Cabaret Queen, Yarlarenki on that wide outside.
Trapping,
up towards the first. Do we all get over safely?
Oh, no, we've lost one.
At the back.
We've lost Mr. Gray.
We should have made a note on which ones are the grey. This is why we need a
tout est permis, possibly.
The long mile.
It could well be
It
the
was a long mile. It was a JP.
That's a B, that's not a grey.
So lovely stuff, guys. As they go to the second there, and in front Jets and Yala Enki still there. The white cap of any second now, very prominent. As is Burrows Saint.
Where's Cloth Cap? He's there on the. This is going to try and make all Cloth Cap.
It was Lakeview Lad who's out of the race.
Oh,
by the way. Lakeview Lad is out of the race.
Poor old boy.
So Cloth Cap, the favourite, down the inside with Lord of Maynil. Any second now, Burrows Saint, Jet, Yala Enki makes an error there. Magic of Light.
Magic of Light's gone.
Magic of Light has gone and impeded the red cap there of.
Hogan's height.
It might well be Hogan's height.
Red, was it?
Annabelle flies last.
Definitely red was on the inside, wasn't done.
Cap. Lord of
Maynil hit that one.
Double shuffle. The blue cap, then a far class is quite prominent as well. Acapella Bourgeois, Cabaret Queen is wide. As for the rest, definitely red being hunted along.
And his second now's up there, Ross, isn't he? Got a lovely sit.
He's got a lovely sit. And Give Me a Copper is out the back.
John Beechers.
Over Beechers we go.
They're all safely over Beechers.
And just
yes, they are.
Mr. Malarkey not jumping particularly well. He seems to have spat the dummy out a little bit. And
Black Lion out the back.
So Jet takes them over Foyneven. Cloth Cap's in second. Jella Enki in third. Lord Dominio's in fourth. And Cabaret Queen in fifth as they come down. Acapella Bourgeois is in midfield. He's further back than we thought there. Talk is Cheap is a bit more prominent than we've seen before. He is in midfield along with any second now at this stage.
At the canal turn.
At the elbow. They're at the elbow. Okay, they're at the canal turn.
Got in tight at the canal turn there, but they've all got over.
We mentioned yesterday at the canal turn, anything on the wide outside, that's
Valentine's
the only disadvantage.
Fence. It's not over. The tough bit's not over yet because Valentine's a steep old fence, but they all seem to have cleared Valentine's.
Bourgeois walked through that one.
Bristol Demaya is down the field and wide. He doesn't seem to be enjoying himself particularly. Double Shuffled is prominent, and Manila Celebration is also prominent.
Loves Aintree, Manila. Any second now walked through that one. He's fine. He's okay.
OK Corral has made a big move up the inside, it looks like.
Discorama's there.
Annabelle Fly is the one who's dead last, from what I can tell. Mr. Malarkey's also struggling, as is Black Line, and also...
we lost my Burrow Saint. Is he gone? Was that Burrow Saint? I've got a feeling Patrick might have fallen off.
No, that's Burrow Saint's up there.
Who was that? Very similar colours. Taking risks?
It wasn't Burrow Saint. It
could have been taking
Manila Celebration has gone.
Manila Celebration.
Double Shuffle's down on inside and he's badly hampered OK Corral.
Any second now. Has he gone any second now?
No, he's just been badly hampered.
Double Shuffle went and he really badly hampered OK Corral.
Okay, absolute scenes in the Racing Post live studio as expected. We are then, what are we round about now? Tell me, how far out are we, guys? We're going 31 bars an hour.
Halfway. The 13th fence coming up here. There's 2 out in a circuit's time. Jet leads.
Jet from Cloth Cap, then Lord of Maynil, Yala Enki. Behind those, we've got the start cap of Manila Times, who's in a nice sit. The blue cap of Far Class has always been in a good position.
Isn't that interesting? Far Class just popping them away.
Burrow Saint's in a lovely sit as well. Acapella Bourgeois, Talk is Cheap is coming into the mix as well, as is the white cap of Alpha de Obo. Shattered Love is being niggled along at the back, and I think they're pulling one up. I think that might be Annabelle Fly.
Annabelle Fly's been
pulled up. Didn't fancy it today. Chris's Dream on the inside. Classy horse there.
Absolutely, yes.
Leon Rouge is there. Class Conti's there. Acapella Bourgeois hasn't really had a cut yet, but he's really classy, isn't he?
Give Me a Copper wasn't terribly good there, and he's out the back now. What else is out the back? That's
Ami Debois out the back. Hogan's Height still out the back.
Here comes the chair, and Jet leads by 3.
Well, given the fact that so far the 2 races over the national fences...
They're over the chair.
They've gone to the front runners. Jet is having a lovely time.
Oh, someone's got at the chair.
Is that going silks?
That's another... Is that Discorama?
Canelo's
gone
at the chair.
Canelo has gone at the chair.
The tallest fence, the worst jumper
Jet
went.
has put on the turbos and he's gone clear under Mr. Aintree, Sam Whaley Coing, passing the winning line for the final time then. OK, this cannot possibly hang on, can it?
He's been given 8 lengths, but there's a long way to go. 2.5 miles yet to go. It is the Grand National. We've got a long way to go in this race.
Currently 8-1 in running because of that front running bias. So
yeah, we've got pretty much the circuit to go, Barry Orr. Let's go to you and a market update.
Yeah, Jets into 8. I had a Betfair SP 157 to give you an indication, but Cloth Cap 11-4 now in running. Had a Betfair SP of 7.7. He's 3.75 in running. 8-8 Burrow Saint, 8.2 Manila Times, 11.5 Far Class.
Any second now been, thank you, Barry. Any second now been shuffled right back, guys. Mr. Malarkey pulls up out the back. There's also something in the cheek piece he's struggling with. Taking risks. I'm keep looking for taking risks, basically. Yeah,
OK Corral struggling out the back now as well.
OK Corral finding this all too tough at the moment. It's a searching gallop being set by Sam Whaley Coing. He fell at the first in the Hunter Chase on Thursday. He's absolutely loving life again in these famous colours over the fences, though. Let's go back to Ross Brierley then on the far side.
Yeah, he really is. He's going to be...
Cabaret Queen run the sledger.
He's going to be a very short price. Yeah, 7-1 now, Jet, for connections that are very much.
Could this have gone better for Cloth Cap so far, guys?
No, absolutely not. He's in a perfect situation. Unfortunately, he does have his main rival, Borough Saint, right next to him, though, so that's the big danger.
Another Times and Rachel there, aren't they?
Oh, Violon Rouge has fallen!
Rouge has
Violon
gone!
Rouge causes a carnage out the back.
Kimber like Candy and
Any second, has made some ground there.
Well.
Any second now, being given time by Mark Walsh to get back into this. He fiddled a couple early on the inside. Not done with at all.
No, absolutely not. But it is still Jet out in front. They are thinning out now. Cloth Cap, Borough Saint, Cabaret Queen, who
Beecher's
held
next.
on. Sorry?
Come to Beecher's now.
This is Beecher's then.
Beecher's.
Second time round for Beecher's. And he's still clear, Jet.
Lovely jump again. He's absolutely pinging
yeah,
these
man.
fences.
Having the time of his life.
Borough
He's
Saint.
into 5.7 now, Jet.
Not
5.7. Your favourite 5.4, Cloth Cap.
Not a good jump there by Cloth Cap, though, Barry. I thought
Long mile's been pulled up.
Long mile pulls up on the far side.
Jet is still 1
Borough
miles
Saint
clear.
still travels.
Yeah, Borough
Cabaret
Saint in a
Queen
great
travels.
place.
Any second now travels.
What's this coming into it in the fancy colours? It's not Balco de Flow, is
It's
it?
Balco de Flow.
It is Balco de Flow, yeah.
He's still around about, what, 10 lengths clear, isn't he, as he goes
lengths
past the
clear of the
canal
canal
turn
turn.
then?
He's having the time of
What a
his
great
life.
sight
Cloth Cap
this
jumps at
is.
second, Borough Saint third. All the
Far class going well.
Mistake from Cloth Cap there. That's he's not jumped a couple of fences particularly well here, and he might be struggling as he
Valentine's.
comes back through the field.
so much.
Any second now, Disco.
Chris's dream is
Chris's
coming
dream.
through.
Dream.
Black Lion, is that Black Lion?
Jet,
It's indeed Black Lion.
It is Black Lion. Jet is way out in front though. Any second now.
Cabaret
he's being
Queen
hunted
still
back
having a
into-
great
Call it, guys, let's call it.
I mean, they're really going to struggle to get past this so far, but it's the start.
Manila Times and
Manila Times. If he stays, he's
This
got
is
every chance.
ridiculous.
Cabaret Queen.
Discorama going well.
Borough
Saint.
Saint.
Borough
Saint for
Really
Barry.
lovely
Borough
sit.
Saint from there for me.
Borough Saint is bidding to
Who's
give the Rangers
Fav?
a big
Borough
double
Saint, yeah,
here.
he's in the box seat.
We've
isn't
got
he?
one. Chris's
Chris's
dream's
gone.
Cloth Cap went to nothing.
Cap
and it's gone
pulling up.
Pulled up. He's got to nothing.
Oh
and
no,
pulled
the
up.
Fav pulls up.
Place late lands. Jet then goes on and is still in front.
Discorama's going to have a say here, guys.
Manila Times travels any second now. Borough Saint is going so well.
Far Class is still on the bridle.
Balco de
as
Flow
well.
is
One
still
in front
travelling.
is unconscious.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jet now.
It looks like he's paddling.
Tank is emptying. Who's going to take it up? Who wants to go? We've got Patrick Mullins and Rachel Blackmore looking at each other
It's an
saying who's
Irish
going to
winner,
take it up.
boys. It's an Irish winner.
I tell you what, it looks
Black
like
Lion's the
do
best
not
big threat.
discount any second now. He's
not
coming back
discount
on it.
any
In
second
fact,
now.
he's really going for it now.
Also, his Far Class is still going. Is that?
Discorama's off the bridle.
Do we know whether that is
7-4.
number 14?
Far
That
Class is
not- that
just
Balco
pitching
de
away.
Flow.
What a finish
Balco
we're
de
going to
Flow is
have.
really in this.
This is unbelievable. And Jet gives way then. It's Manila Times.
Borough Saint,
Balco de Flow for the Racing Club.
Any second now, Far Class, Shattered Love
Balco
staying
de
on
Flow
from the back as well. But Borough Saint is still going.
Look at any second now. Does he get there? It's the last fence then, is it?
Manila
there's
Times.
one more to go.
Any second now. Will those early mistakes
Balco de Flow's
pay?
emptying. It's going to be a
Manila Times.
JP 1-2 by the looks of it. Borough
think it
Saint's
is.
not got much more.
Come on, Mark.
Final set.
Come on, Mark.
Come on, you can
Come on,
get
any
it.
second now.
Stamina to prove up in front. Balco de Flow walks through it. Borough Saint
Aye,
filling
aye.
his lungs.
This is Rachel.
Here comes
Rachel
any second.
Blackmore.
Rachel
Rachel.
Blackmore could win
Rachel
the
Blackmore.
Grand
Rachel.
National. Any second now is filling his lungs.
Staying on Discorama and Far Class from the back as well, but it could be a JP McManus 1-2.
It's going to be. She's got it.
Maybe Rachel.
Manila
She's
Times.
got it.
We've
She's
still
done
got
it.
to go. Rachel Blackmore in front from any
This is
second
it.
now.
Any
Manila
second
Times.
now.
Come on,
All
Balco de
scenes.
Flow. Any second now, but Manila
It's all
Times.
over.
It's all over as Manila Times ends that run of seconds. Manila Times is well clear under Rachel Blackmore. Henry de Bromhead beats Balco de Flow. And any second now back in third. Manila Times and Rachel Blackmore. What a year.
That is
Mother of pearl, is there anything Rachel Blackmore cannot do? So many of you took the faith, you kept it simple. Queen of Cheltenham now becomes the Queen of Aintree too. Unbelievable scenes. Wow, didn't he travel like an absolute dream? We said he didn't tick too many boxes. We thought it was the Rachel Blackmore factor. A great race, wasn't it? Massively eventful. It has not disappointed. A gallant second. We have to say that from Balco de Flow. Also, Henry de Bromhead coming absolutely. Is it 1-2 for Henry?
It is indeed.
Well, there was us worried about
Champion
stable
Hurdle,
form.
Champion Chase, Gold Cup, Grand National.
All four big ones at the Cheltenham Festival. 1-2 in the Grand National. Come on. All the dockets now are being filled out there, aren't they? All the horses going. Any second now, considering he had that mid-race meltdown almost. He's won. I'll tell you what, next year for him, I think, well, he'll have a great chance. The three of them came clear. Barrier, pandemonium here. Bring us back to some decorum. An Irish 1, 2, 3.
I'm trying to catch up
4,
with it all here,
5.
Dave. I could tell you, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
At least 5,
I would say
yeah.
it was fourth.
Farkas was
Farkas,
5th.
yeah.
Next year, Ross Brierley for Farkas. And he didn't half travel, didn't he?
Oh, he did, yeah. I don't think he's quite got home, but whether he gets home in another year will be the question. But
well, he's older, isn't he? And I don't know, he's had a fairly hard race at Cheltenham. They'll plot a different route for Farkas. Don't give up on him.
You won't see him tuned up again for a year.
Oh, wow. Incredible. Listen, that was enjoyable, wasn't it? Let us know. Did you go with Rachel Blackmore? Go on, Barry, take it away.
Borough Saint hit a low of 2.2 for 315 quid. Banco de Flo a low of 3.15. Jet a low of 4.0 for 381 quid. Cloth Cap a low of 3.3 for 125 quid. Your winner, Manila Times, your winner had a Betfair SP of 13.5 and hit a high in running of... No, my computer's decided to crash, lads. It just couldn't stand up.
I'll tell you.
It couldn't handle it. Even if Barry's computer's crashed, it was massively eventful. We're looking back now. I'll tell you what, Jet's almost running on again towards
Black Lion's going to be the best priced British runner. He's going to be 6th or 7th.
And 21, by the way, top price Manila Times. But that was quite early. I mean, it was always in a good position.
I'd say that was pre-race.
We're surprised that Borough Saint hasn't got home. I mean, he was absolutely perfect.
He tanked all the way through.
Can't wait to read the comments later on. You'll get them all from the beaten riders. Patrick Mullins will probably say...
He's finished 4th, hasn't he?
I thought I was going to win at some point. I mean, surely. Listen, another Irish benefit. It is the Grand National. But what a scene. Fair play. Honestly, this horse... He wears everything on his sleeve. We said the Dublin Festival, another huge feather in their cap, and he just tries. It turns out all he's wanted was 4 miles and 2.5 furlongs and some decent ground and some whopping fences as well. My goodness gracious me, Rachel Blackmore.
Absolutely.
Top 4 then,
Just
on the screen. Farkas was indeed 5th for all of you in the 5-place marquette. Wow, that was incredible, wasn't it? Electric scenes in here. Great call, Ross, because it was pandemonium.
It was.
We're getting the full result as we go now. We've got Black Lion in 6th.
We've got 10 places on Betfair.
Yes, we do. So 7th Discorama, 8th Jet.
Yeah, Jet's coming back.
9th Cabaret Queen.
I thought she was 8th, wasn't she?
We've got 6 and then 3.
How many have finished? Cabaret Queen was 9th. We've got Shattered Love running on late.
Love. And what's the white-capped Gigginstown?
Well, I'm hoping it's Milan native, but I don't think it is it? It's
No,
Alpha
he's green.
Desobo.
Yeah, he's green.
Alpha Desobo pulling up. We can see Give Me a Copper as well for Paul Nichols. Who's the other grey of Gigginstown? Is that 2A per me? Hogan's height completes, I think, doesn't he? What else completes? Class Conti looks like he's going to get over 2 out as well, over the last, as well.
I think one of the stories in the running was that Potter's Corner traded at 8s because nobody knew which one was
I had noted, I knew that he was the one with the patterned cap and the block cap was Malcolm.
Listen, say what you like about that racing club and whatever it is, there will be people that have had, for the price tag that they've given, they will have had one of the 6 minutes of their life or whatever.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable that was. Listen, it is what it is. Magical Light went early, of course. Taking Risk pulled up, we think. Annabelle Fly never at the races. What about Bristol de Mai? Didn't really see.
He was out the back, not having fun. Hogan's Height has got round, but he's finished. He's not really stayed, but because he likes the course so much, he's jumped round, no problem at all.
Yeah, you'll be able to get the full analysis of this race. Probably around about 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, I think. So the digital edition, 9 o'clock. We all know what the front page is going to see. Yeah, you guessed it, a 1-2 for Henry de Bromhead in the 2021 Grand National.
Written in the stars.
Absolutely written in the stars. He did the unbelievable, not the triple crown, the quadruple crown, as it's now known.
He didn't win the stairs.
No, he didn't win the stage.
He won the big
triple crown.
He won the major 3, which the stairs is always a poor relation, isn't it?
I'm thinking for some reason I'm thinking of Bob Ollinger.
And he couldn't have 1-2 in the Gold Cup and a 1-2 in the Grand National. That is obscene.
That is absolutely. I mean,
that's Dickinson like that. It's incredible.
I think it's since I interviewed him a few weeks ago, and he didn't really give me a lot of information. He's had winners coming out of his ears.
He knew he was sitting on him, Ross.
He did. He knew
he was sitting on him.
Tell me.
Yeah, quite right. Absolutely brilliant. All right, listen. Wow, wasn't that great? Okay, social interaction. We're nearing the end of the show. I'm not sure, guys, how long we've got left, but every favourite has won. And although that's not a favourite, it was a fancied runner, Barry, wasn't it? This has been some day for the punters.
Yeah, it truly has. They've had it right off today, the punters. Anyone that's backing favourites anyway has. But that's a bad result. You can bet your bottom dollar on that, because Joe Public, who has been watching the racing and the especially from Cheltenham through. I know the whole of Ireland wanted to be on Rachel Blackmore, even relations of mine who were texting me whether I fancy, and I was tipping them horse, and they've all come back to me and said, "Oh, we didn't listen to you. We backed Rachel Blackmore. That's all that matters." It's those two words, Rachel Blackmore.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. Cannot wait to read our course reporters. We've got Dave Carr there, Racing Writer of the Year. Lee Mottershead's up there as well. Do not miss that in your members section. And look at the grimace on her face, the Iron Lady.
Well, she's
So good.
She's extremely good, but she doesn't
Ginger
actually
McCain
show.
said that.
Oh yeah,
Ginger McCain say a woman would never ride a winner of a Grand National. It's a different dynamic to race back then, obviously, but I think she's broken another glass ceiling today, Rachel.
But
She's not from this planet, though, really, is she?
She doesn't show much emotion generally because, and I think I said that before during Cheltenham, part of the reason she's excelled and Holly Doyle's excelled in a way maybe the women that broke the mold for them haven't, because they're just so boring and efficient. You know, she is just in the right place all the time.
It's brilliant for her.
That all the way through that race. The reason I didn't fancy this horse particularly is because it had been in the right place all the way through its big handicaps at Leopardstown, because Blackmore put it there, and she did it again.
Yeah.
She did it again, and Blackmore is so good. She takes the Geraghty spot. I don't know if she's maybe got Geraghty's spot in the weighing room or something. She takes the Geraghty spot all the way around in races these days, and that's just keeps it simple. There's no need to be flashy. There's no need to be Bryony Frost pinging fences out in front on Frodon. Just get in the right place and be boring, and that's the way it is with modern sport generally, and she's just tremendous.
Well, I mean, even the other day on Jason the Militant, I know that horse jinked it unseated, but everyone was like, "Oh, this might unfold this way, it might unfold that way," and she went, "I'm taking this race by the scruff of the neck. I'm jumping out." At Cheltenham, there's only Tell Me Something girl who was outpaced and rattled home from the back. Every other ride, you thought, "Oh, she's got a lovely sit there," or she's on the speed.
Four of the last 6 winners have been 8-year-olds now as well.
Ride of the festival as well was her in the bumper, when she completely mugged off Townend.
Well, and she did it again on Calixios. She looked at Zanna here and said, "Well, I'm going to sit 3 lengths in front of you, and I'm going to kick, and you're all going to get
What was particularly impressive there, she gave the horse confidence, didn't she? The second last horse that wasn't a cast iron stayer that we thought was probably 3 miles at best. But again, they go a different gallop in the Grand National. Sam Whaling going ensured, however, that was a proper test. Lots of horses at the back did not like it.
Well, that was a very few got involved from the back, because you saw actually on the run, the second run to Beechers, that was where it went from the fielder bunched up, Willie Cohen got loose, and after 3 or 4 fences on that run, there was only 12 left that could win.
Yeah.
And of 11-year-olds, I think only 11 or older, there was only 2 got round in the end. So it was all the younger horses coming to
all change in the Grand National.
It's some shout for the Nallen nursery down in Clonmel in County Tipperary, isn't it? Manila Indo. They use the Manila prefix. Manila Indo wins the Gold Cup. Manila Time wins the Grand National. John Nallen and his son, who owned the hotel down there in Clonmel. Some people for Bloodstock.
Yeah, absolutely incredible, isn't it? So listen. Well done. If you've ended up just going simple, keep it simple, Rachel Blackmore. And it was Gamble during the week. We knew what Rachel was going to be riding. In it come. JP McManus takes out another Grand National. You love to see it, don't you? Okay, time for us to wrap up here then on RP Live. We've record numbers today, so we're over the moon with that. Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Next week, we're due to be back for the Scottish National. That'll be fun. It'll be a bit of flat along the way. We've got Newmarket joining the party next week. So it is a whiff of change in the air. We're coming out, aren't we, of this lockdown in Britain. In Ireland, they're not hopefully going to be too far behind us. Barry Orr, let's give the floor to you. It's been a great week, man. Done really well for 3 days. Thanks for joining us, Barry.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic 3 days. Really, really enjoyed it. Just great racing. I always love Aintree. Unfortunately, we can't be there this year, but spend it in your company. It was great, and great call by the Trees on the Grand National. Not an easy job, but you did a fantastic job. You really brought it to life for everyone, so thank you all.
Cheers, Barry. Good stuff. We'll have Barry Orr back on the show soon. Ross Brierley, lovely to have you back in the studio, Ross. What a day to come back.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And I was nearly, my shirt was nearly carried to victory down the run.
You've been able to auction it.
Yeah, absolutely. But the closest, I can't help. I mean, I haven't fancied a horse in a national that I actually had a proper bet in a horse in a national, like any second now in a while. And I think all of us, part of me thinks if those early mistakes, it could have been very different. If you nearly brought down, he's finished third, he's run a
the hope that gets you.
It is.
But what would have happened is the whole press room would have been cheering for Rachel Blackmore to hold on, and if Walsh started responding, if any second now started responding, it looked like being close, we'd have been tearing the gaff down.
Yes, absolutely.
Hoping to ruin the story. I make no qualms about that. If there's a thing between the story and my money, it's always my money.
Absolutely. And I think the big thing is, again, is race all this week at Cheltenham, Aintree. The jockeys, you just want to be in that position. You want to be in the best position. It doesn't matter what form your horse is, what kind of what's going on. She's
second, third on the inside.
perfect. She's in the perfect position. Burrow Saint's in there as well. And it's always that early track position. As you said, she's an absolute master at it.
There we go. Ross, thanks very much. We'll have you back soon, please.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you should watch the replay. Come on.
Great stuff. Keith Melrose, betting editor of Racing Post. 2 days for you, Keith. It's been good fun, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been tremendous, yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the National's always just the right way to finish it off. It's a smashing race. And yeah, it was the sort of right horse won really for the story element. But
cheers, Keith. Good to have you along. Thanks to the guys in the studio, the Lee brothers, Will Carey helping us this week, of course, and the social team as well. For myself, Dave Orton, then that was it. The National, Rachel Blackmore. We should have known.
No.